Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, right, I'm doing it this way because I've rearranged my filming room and I want it to look a little bit better. So right now, can't really film in front of the camera, though I did finish all of my, my exams. I'm sure they went well by how I just forgot the word exam. So for today's video, we are going to look at Credence by Penelope Douglas. Probably a little bit late on this considering everyone was going on about it a year ago, but I finally got round to it and I think this is going to be a long one, so strap in, strap on, get yourself a cup of tea, start doing the dishes, whatever. You don't even have to watch the screen for this one, right? It's like a voiceover only. You don't have to watch the screen. You can go and sort out your day. If I'm doing videos where it's voiceover only, because I might consider doing some of the book videos like this just because it is easier and it shaves off hours of time, not having to shift around. Doesn't matter. It shaves off hours of time. Maybe I should put some of these on Spotify. Would anyone even want that? Like book reviews on Spotify? Does that sound too much? Anyway, let me know in the comments below. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. So, you're using public Wi-Fi at a coffee shop again. Because clearly your identity theft fantasy is coming along nicely. Or maybe you're just trying to watch that one show that's totally available in your country, except it's not, because licensing is fun like that. This is where Surfshark comes in. It's a VPN. It hides your IP, encrypts your data, and makes it look like you're browsing from literally anywhere else. Japan? Done. Canada? Easy. Stoke-on-Trent? Sure, if that's your thing. One time I used it when I was in the south of France. I really wanted access to Made in Chelsea. 4OD wasn't having it. Put on Surfshark VPN. Pretended I was back in Slough. Brilliant. And unlike certain other VPNs that charge you extra for sneezing on a second device, Surfshark lets you connect unlimited devices. Phone, laptop, smart fridge, smart washing machine. Go wild. It also blocks ads, trackers, malware, and any other fun surprises lurking online. So if you enjoy privacy, security, and not having your entire digital life harvested by questionable Wi-Fi networks or creepy cookies, get Surfshark. Because pretending the internet is safe is cute, but actually making it safe, that's smarter. Go to surfshark.com/Alizee. That's ALIZE. Or use code Alizee, again with one E, at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Surfshark, try it out. Or don't. But maybe do. So Credence, trigger warning, is about a girl who goes to live with her step family, so step cousin, step uncle, and has sex with them. That's basically it. That's basically the entire story. So let's just get into it. So trigger warning for wannabe incest. And let's just go for it. Chapter 1. So we are back with another Penelope Douglas book. And this one is less romantic than watching a dog with mange lick peanut butter out of your sibling. Much like all the men say to the FMC, you have been warned. Chapter 1, POV, Tiernan. I think that's her name. Tiernan is Tiernan. Tiernan, the main character, is jealous that her father had more time for her mother than her, which is me if I was a parent. Also, paramedics and police are at her house and they find that her parents are dead in bed together. Her father had cancer and Tiernan didn't know, so her parents did a joint, He had cancer, he was going to die, mum decided to go with him. And all of this happens within the first 3 pages. And then Tiernan had to find her parents' dead body. So, he had cancer, he was dying, they knew, and my mother decided to not let him leave without her. She decided that there was nothing else without him, nothing else. Penelope, I've read several of your books now, and I know they made the right choice, and Tiernan ain't going to be worth shit. But also, wait, why? Sorry, this is a Penelope Douglas novel. Similar to Coho, the women cannot live without the menfolk. They literally have nothing else to live for unless they're with some abusive man, right? So why is it okay when the other characters do it in all of Penelope's other books, right? But it's not okay in this instance. Why are we vilifying the mother for... I'm using their logic against them, okay? Just go along with me. Why are we vilifying the mother for doing this when, if Tiernan did this to be with the love of her life who had died, Penelope would try to be like, oh my God, that's so romantic. Anyway, it did take me a couple of books to really understand what I was getting in for, but I realise now that what these stories essentially are the backdrop for those shitty fan music videos people uploaded to YouTube in the early 2000s, except turned up to 11. What is the most tragic, dramatic thing an adolescent, underdeveloped brain can conjure? Conjure? Can conjure? Cancer? Suicide? Both? Both. Get them in there. Nobody will be able to handle the sheer emo force of this story. They're all just variations of a sad emo teen looking out of a rainy window and crying until they scream. I lock my jaw, swallowing the needles in my throat. Over all the years of nannies and boarding schools and summer camps where I was kept busy and raised by anyone but them. Oh, poor little privileged rich girl. Thought she was really going to do something there and actually swallow needles, but alas, they didn't leave me a note. Even now, there was nothing they wanted to say to me. Pretty based, not gonna lie. The noise and attention made me nervous, and I don't want to hear all the phone calls Mirai has to make tonight, which will just be a reminder of all the hell that is breaking loose out there in the world and on social media. So her parents are also super famous movie stars, or stars, of course. They didn't leave a note. They dressed up, they put the dog out, they scheduled Mirai to come late this morning instead of early. They didn't write me a note. Cartoon villainry. Do you get it yet that this character is tragic and sympathetic? Her parents had cancer and didn't care about her and died. It's called literature, sweetie. Then her step-uncle, Jake, rings her. She ends up banging him. I completely forgot. Jake Vanderberg had rarely been mentioned in this house. I didn't grow up with any relatives, so I'd completely blanked on the fact that I had one. My mother grew up in foster care, never knew her father, and had no siblings. My dad only had an estranged younger stepbrother I'd never met. I had no uncles, aunts, or cousins when I was growing up, and my father's parents were dead, so I didn't have grandparents either. Sounds convenient. Turns out, as her only living relative, her parents left Tiernan in Jake's care because she's still 17. So I guess they didn't totally forget about her. Anyway, as she's still 17, I can already tell we're just going to be made to picture every inch of this teenager's body. And Penelope Douglas is nearly 50, by the way. Just saying. Jake says Tiernan can legally emancipate herself if she wants or come live with him and her step-cousins Noah and Caleb in Colorado, where they get snowed in for months during the winter with no cable, Wi-Fi. Sounds miserable. But the porn writes itself. Oh no, the snow has trapped us in this house. How will we keep warm? I keep my eyes closed, but I feel like I have a truck sitting on my lungs. I've had a great life. I have a closet full of all the designer clothes and bags everyone expects a famous star's daughter to own. I've been to 24 countries and I can buy anything I want. My home is huge. My fridge is stocked. How many people would happily trade places with me? How lucky am I? Is this Prince Harry's autobiography? Sorry, Prince Hazard. Sorry, mate. Had to be done. Had to slip that in there. Where?
So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family. You've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where?
Sorry, mate. Love you, really. Do I? I don't know. Chapter 2. Tiernan moves out to Colorado, leaving behind a random character called Mirai from Chapter 1. I assume she's some sort of nanny we will never hear from again. We hear from her at the end of the book, so it does all come together in some weird way. While I could say whatever I wanted about my problems with Hans and Amelia de Haas, I didn't want to hear bullshit from strangers. These are her parents' names. I think they're meant to be Dutch. No, they are meant to be Dutch. Vanderberg, De Haas, whatever. I know my father's stepbrother is of Dutch descent. What are the chances? What are the chances that his family is Dutch and then they adopt a Dutch kid? Did they have that in mind when they went to the orphanage or care home? Did they specifically say, well, we're Dutch, so we want a Dutch child that happens to be in America? Are there that many Dutch people in America? How many Dutch people are there? Do I have any Dutch people in my audience? Let me know. Also, does Dutch descent actually mean Dutch? Or is it like an American percentage, so it's really like 5%? Anyway, Jake is 6'2", blonde and blue-eyed, and hot if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not Hitler, so I'm not, but okay, Penelope, I see you. He pulls it off the belt, as in his luggage, and adds, and you're the only one here with Louis Vuitton luggage, so... I shoot him a look, noticing the jeans with dirt-stained knees and $7 grey t-shirt he wears. You know Louis? I ask. Personally? No, because he's dead. So, along with every other atrocious Penelope trope, we're also going to get every single city girl in the country cliche as well. Gee, I never knew people from the countryside could be ruggedly handsome and good with their hands and relatives. No, sorry, he says, shaking his head. You just look like your mother. I drop my eyes. It's not the first time I've heard that, and it's a compliment, to be sure. My mother was beautiful, charismatic, statuesque. It just never makes me feel good, though. As if everyone sees her first. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Harry Potter never felt inadequate every time someone said he looked just like James, except for his eyes, which were Lily's green eyes. Get a grip. Hopefully she gets over this later on in the story and gets to bask in how accidentally gorgeous she is. Penelope is great at logical character arcs, so I'm sure we're in good hands here. She has grey eyes as well. Yeah, right. I pick up my carry-on to help, but he quickly grabs that one too. The tight cords in his arms flexing and shining in the sun. I bet an eagle screeches whenever he unbuttons his shirt. I release the headphones and stare at the radio instead. Please let music be playing. As soon as the truck rumbles to life, the radio lights up, playing Kryptonite loudly, and for a second I'm relieved. Small talk hurts. Why is every protagonist these days inept at social interactions? Is this relatable for you readers or something, you losers? Plus, Kryptonite is just my confirmation that Penelope is a stunted teen trying to live vicariously through her own imagination. She pictures every scene in her book to these butt rock songs from 2007 as her characters fret and mope. He muses that she might run for the hills after a week because... He cocks his head, joking. No malls or caramel macchiatos close by. I turn my eyes back to the window, mumbling, I don't drink caramel macchiatos. It's reasonable for him to anticipate that maybe I won't feel comfortable with them or that I'll miss my life back home. But suggesting I'm a prima donna who can't live without a Starbucks is kind of dicky. I guess we can thank TV for the rest of the world thinking California girls are all valley twits and tube chops. But with droughts, wildfires, earthquakes, mudslides, and 1/5 of the nation's serial killings happening on our turf, we're tough too. Fist fight a lot of wildfires and mudslides, do you? Also, you are a 1%er. You experiencing a drought, mudslide, or wildfire is not the same as someone on the breadline experiencing these things, so don't even try it. I could beat you up with one hand, fictional girl. Her step-cousins, something else I'd failed to consider. They had a comfy testosterone-infused man cave, and here comes a girl they think they'll have to guard their dirty jokes around now. Okay, pick me. I dread to think what that man cave is going to smell like later in this book. Incest, shame, and Lynx body spray, the most shameful of all. I close my eyes for a moment, suddenly regretting doing this. Why did I do this? My classmates hated me because they took my silence for snobbishness. But it's not that. I just need time. That's all. Unfortunately, not many are patient enough to give me a chance. These guys are going to see me as rude, just like the girls at school do. Why would I purposely put myself in a situation to be forced to get to know new people? For the plot, of course. You're also not allowed to tell people these things about yourself. You're only allowed to stumble into easily fixed misunderstandings that spin out of control, causing you to listen to more shitty pop punk bops while you get another tattoo or similar symbol of futile rebellion. Anyway, Jake sees Tiernan spying longingly at an old-fashioned candy shop, so like any good nonce worth his salt, he takes her in. Jake also introduces Tiernan to the candy shop owner as his niece, so I really can't wait until they start banging. Anyway, she gets the gummy sweets and no chocolates because chocolates have more calories even though she wants it more, and this is going to be her come to Jesus moment when she finally eats some chocolate and stops trying to be more like her mother and instead accepts herself. Wait, that never happens. Could have so easily. Never happens. The man's eyes instantly flash to Jake, a look of apprehension crossing his face. Don't worry, Jake laughs, handing the guy cash. We'll protect her from the big bad elements. When have you ever been able to control Caleb? Spence shoots back, snatching the money from Jake. $5? Caleb is another sex offender, and look at that, I owe myself $5. They drive off until they are really secluded away from the town and get home. A huge free-floored house because thank God she's not living in some dirty one-room shack with a leaky roof. I immediately look up, seeing a couple levels of rafters, although the ceiling drops to the left and also where the kitchen is to the right. I don't know, if you look at the sentence, it just looks a bit clunky to me. She meets Noah, who looks 21 and of course is hot. I think he's actually 20 and Caleb's 21 though. This is Noah, Jake introduces us, my youngest. He takes me a moment, but I raise my hand to shake his. Instead of taking it though, he just puts one of the bottles in it and says, learn to like it, we drink a lot here. She is underage, you know. This wouldn't be a problem in England because we all learn to drink by the age of 8, but this is America, so this is a big no-no. But I'm sure we'll be treated to yet another tedious scene of her getting drunk and out of control at some point. She gets given a brief tour. Caleb's room is on the 3rd floor, he explains. It's the only room up there, so no need for a tour. It's got a great view though, lots of air and space. He likes space, he sighs, his words weighted with frustration as he opens my bedroom door, both dogs rushing inside ahead of us. Keep that in mind when you meet him and don't take anything personally. So, he's going to be a weird asshole then. Maybe they'll learn to accept others' need for space when they begin to fill the space in one another. Tiernan's bedroom has its own fireplace. Wish fulfillment. You hated my father. I turn my eyes on him, stopping him. Didn't you? He straightens and stares at me. Won't it be uncomfortable for you to have me here? Uncle Jake? If he hated my dad, won't I remind him of him? But his eyes turn on me piercing, and he says in an even tone, I don't see your father when I look at you, Tiernan. You look like your mother. He said at the airport that I look like my mother. Does he see her when he looks at me then? Is that what he means? His eyes darken, and I watch as he rubs his thumb across the inside of his hand before he balls it into a fist. I'm rooted, my stomach falling a little. And you don't have to call me uncle, he says. I'm not really anyway. Right? He's saying this because he already wants to bang her. I stand there, still, but my nerves under my skin fire. One phone call, a coach seat, and 4 states later, it finally occurs to me. I don't know these people. I'm surprised the nanny didn't kick up a fuss over this. Actually, I'm not surprised. That would have required actually putting effort in. Chapter 3. Tiernan. Penelope insults us by breaking up the proceedings with what she calls chapters. I'd call them incidents, like in a police report. She wakes up, doesn't cry over her parents still, rings Marai, who is her mother's assistant, so at least we get to the bottom of that mystery. She wants to go home, but then sees the view outside her bedroom in daylight of a mountain and changes her mind. I love you, Tiernan, she says. I pause. She's the only one who says that to me. All the memories come flooding back, except now I catch things I didn't catch before. All the time she, not my mother or father, called me at school to see if I needed anything. All the presents under the tree I know she, not they, bought for me, and the birthday cards she signed for them. All the R-rated movies that she got me into that I couldn't otherwise. And all the travel books she'd leave in my bag because she knew they were my favourite thing to read. The first pair of dangling earrings I ever owned were a gift from her. And I nod through the phone because that's all I do. Absolutely useless. Quirky travel book reading teen is quirky. I sure wish I was somewhere else. Then there's a random naked woman. But before I can grasp it, the door swings open, light spills into the hallway, and a young woman stands there, damn near naked. Her mussed-up auburn hair hugs her face and hangs just above her bare breasts. Jesus, I turn my head away. What the hell? Is she my uncle's wife? She didn't mention being married, but he didn't say he wasn't either. I cast another quick glance at her, seeing her smile and fold her arms over her chest. Excuse me, she says. She stands there a moment, and my shock turns to ire. Like, move or something? I need to get in. The difference between pizza and your opinion is that I asked for pizza, she recites. I falter and turn my head to look at her, but she's looking down at my sweatshirt. I drop my eyes, seeing the one I donned and the writing she was reading on the front of it. She chuckles at the words, then slips past me. So she's going to be a random slut, right? Because I forgot Penelope has a thing about those. She bumps into Jake and again ogles him and his sweaty muscles and sweaty hair and sweaty forehead. But then he moves closer all of a sudden and I straighten, on alert, as his chest nearly touches my arm. I'm about to move away, but then he reaches in front of me and I watch as he switches off the coffee maker. I was just keeping it warm for you, he says, his breath brushing the top of my head. My heart starts pumping harder, keeping it warm. Oh, the coffee. He left it on for me. You have pretty hands, he points out. I look down at them, wrapped around the mug. Your dad did too, he adds, and I can hear the taunt. Why does bro immediately want to bang his stepniece while simultaneously reminding her of her father? The thing that gets to me about this dialogue is that they're fictional characters. Someone had to think about this scene long enough to decide to have the character tell his sort of niece that she has pretty hands and also mention her dad, making the inappropriate predatory tension even weirder. Well, he's dead now, I tell Jake. You win. He lowers his chin, his stare locked on mine, and I see his jaw flex. I turn away and take another sip of my coffee. Regardless of whatever bad blood was between him and my father, the orphan is the last person he should be targeting with his insults. Manners are a thing everywhere. This guy's just a douche. Despite that, though, my stomach warms and I sip my coffee to cover my nerves. I feel it, the need to engage. Sure you do. I like that I don't like him. Sure you do. I glance over, still feeling Jake's eyes on me, and watch the naked woman, now dressed, strolling up to Jake with a brown leather backpack slung over her shoulders as she wraps an arm around his neck. She leans in and he hesitates a moment, still looking at me, before he finally turns to her and lets her kiss him. She's his then. I take in the smooth skin of her face, in shadow under her baseball cap, and her tight and toned body. She's nowhere near his age. Ugh, she's his then. Ugh. And of course he has a type. Half his age and -7. Lots of pop culture references so far in this too. The Wi-Fi has something to do with Cobra Kai, the dogs are called Danny and Johnny from Karate Kid, and there was some Game of Thrones shite. I don't know, gotta reference better media to make yours good too. That's the rule. Tiernan and Jake ride a horse together, sightseeing, so there's lots of angsting, as you can imagine, about him sitting behind her and her bouncing on his thighs. Like it? Jake asks. I nod. Do you like it? He asks again in a stern voice, and I know he wants me to use my words. Well, that sentence isn't heavily loaded with sexual undertones. Penelope sure knows her audience. He then teaches her how to shoot, but wait, she already knows how to and is perfect, of course. Then they have a tiff about him wanting her to cook because she can't do anything else around the ranch to pull her weight, and then there's this exchange. I turn my head towards him again. You're not my father, you know. I came here of my own free will and I can leave whenever I want. Maybe, he taunts, or maybe I'll decide that you'll benefit from some time here and that you can't leave after all. My heart quickens. At least until I see you laugh, he adds, or yell or scream or fight or joke. And all in more than nods and one-word answers, whatever. I stare at him and I feel my eyes burn with anger. He cocks an eyebrow. Maybe I'll decide to honour your parents' wishes and keep you until you're of age. I'll be of age in 10 weeks and we'll be snowed in 8. He laughs, backing away from me. Nice threat. All snow and no niece makes Jake a something. Chapter 4. He won't keep me here if I don't want to stay, will he? Whether or not he intends to actually scares me less than knowing he can. I came here thinking I was a guest, and him having power, it wouldn't... Huh? I came here thinking I was a guest, and him having power, it wouldn't even occur to him to use... Whatever, also lovely. Anyway, she's back at the house and starts hitting a boxing bag in anger about everything. Then Noah appears and Tiernan thinks he and his father look a lot alike. Oh, do a Bonnie Blue and shag them both. Get it over with. She makes breakfast and goes on hunger strike and hides in her room so she doesn't have to talk to anyone. She also barely speaks or answers anyone when they directly talk to her. And considering she complains about not being able to talk to her classmates, I'm sure this isn't related to her parents' joint death. She's just socially inept, and apparently authors think this is really interesting for us to read in every book now. She decides to check Twitter to see everyone messaging her. And another directly to me. How does a mother decide to abandon her child for her husband? I'm so sorry. You deserved better. Tiernan is boring, so, you know. Everyone is being an asshole because it's Twitter, so quite accurate. So she deletes all her social media apps. She goes outside to learn how to help Jake do handyman stuff. He reaches down to pick up another piece of wood, and I follow his lead, helping him. But then I catch sight of something on his waist. His t-shirt is tucked back into his back pocket again, and I try to make out the tattoo. My Mexico. It's in dark blue script and arch over his left hip, on the side of his torso just above his jean lines. No, not the tattoos. Not again, Penelope. Each one is more boring and baffling than the last. Why wasn't Noah helping him? He's in the garage, but this would have moved a lot faster with him than with Jake trying to do it alone. Noah's words from this morning come back to me, and the meaning behind them finally hits me now, hours later. They don't get along, do they? And I almost smile a little. I suddenly feel a slight measure of camaraderie with Noah. Alright, bet a fiver Noah has a literal dick swinging contest with his own father about Tiernan. Oh look, I owe myself another father. No, but what... Fiver. That was a Freudian slip. She gets a splinter and then Jake gets it, and this is so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. I'm gritting my teeth. Gonna grin and bear it. But as I glare up at him, the splinter is forgotten and I stop breathing for a moment. Warmth spreads up my neck as his gaze hovers down on mine, hard and angry, but kind of puzzled too, like he's trying to figure me out. His eyes aren't blue. I thought they were, like Noah's. They're green. Like summer grass. How did you get summer grass and blue mixed up, you dumb? A breeze blows through the open door of the shop. The chatter and laughter outside miles away as a wisp of my hair loose... Which just reminds me of the Brothers Karamazov wisp of toe. Wisp of my hair, loose from the ponytail, blows across my lips. His eyes dropped in my mouth and I stopped breathing, everything getting warm. A trickle of sweat glides down his neck and the hair on my arm stands on end. I'm aware of his naked chest. We're too close. He finally blinks a few times, and then he brings the palm of my hand up to his lips, the warmth of his mouth trying to suck the wood from my hand. Like, bro could have literally just used tweezers instead of, like, you know, getting off of her hand. My mouth falls open a little bit as his teeth gnaw and tease the splinter, so my skin is sucked and tickled. My fingertips graze the scruff on his cheek. You know, all of this was lost on me, though, because it mentioned him looking angry/confused at the start, and now I picture him as Roman Reigns trying to wrestle his way out of this situation he doesn't understand. Jake then warns her to stay away from... Oh, the splinter pulling scene, like, it takes like 3 pages, I swear. Jake then warns her to stay away from the local guys. He continues, if you get a boyfriend, you won't be able to see him once we're snowed in anyway. Besides, they're not your type. How do you know? Because I'm telling you, they're not your type. He shoots back. I'll let you know when one is. Well, Neanderthal, for Christ's sake. He's hitting on his own niece and I feel nothing. So he takes ages to get the splinter out. He's gnawing on her hands like a rat with a wire. Then he finally does pull it out and he sends her off to make sandwiches. I tap my fingers on the door handle as I open the fridge. I don't know. He just rubs me the wrong way, like he's enjoying his guardianship a little too much. My parents wouldn't have cared if I'd had orgies in my bedroom as long as nothing wound up on Snapchat. Yeah, right. She's making the sandwiches, then notices the fridge is leaking, so she fixes it by following some YouTube tutorials. Good Lord, Penelope, this is dull. She also realises he has power of attorney as her guardian and might keep her inheritance from her. Nothing comes of that. I turn my head, seeing Noah standing at the island, shirt off, sweaty, out of breath. Every bloke in this story is constantly shirtless. In fact, it's better to just assume whenever one of the three is in a scene, they're shirtless. Like, it really doesn't even need to be said. So, when do you turn 18? Noah asks. Why? You gonna wait? You have a pretty smile, cuz, he tells me. If you stay, I'll make you smile some more. Both her parents killed themselves and didn't bother to give her a heads up. I wouldn't be smiling much either. You got to respect the amount of shit this family has given this orphan that they want to bang. Then Jake comes in and tells her off for daring to reorganise the refrigerator. She threw away some mouldy sausages when she was fixing it. Then she goes to bed and wakes up crying but doesn't remember herself crying. Boring trope. I finally notice a sting on my arm and I look down and see 3 red half moons on my forearm and I instantly know what they are, the memory coming back like it was yesterday. I'd clawed myself in my sleep. Clawed herself is so, like, that's so dramatic. Like, she clearly just, like, dug a few fingernails into her arm. I'd clawed myself. No, you didn't. You're not a cat. Like, that is so dramatic. It's barely worth even noting. The bag of candy still sits on my dresser and I shoot out my arm, swiping the bag off the dresser and into the garbage can off to the side. What the hell was I doing in my sleep? How could I not wake up? What happens if I'm alone in LA or when I go off to college and I have to have a roommate? I shouldn't be alone. But I'm not sure I should stay here with them. My parents' death could be triggering it. Or it could be something else. Right? What boring, irrelevant problem is this now? Chapter 5. Jake. Yep, it's one of those books. Of course it is. He whinges about being a bad dad because Noah hates him and Caleb is useless or a weirdo or something. Then he mentions the naked woman Tiernan met earlier. I need to start locking the doors at night. I mean, what guy doesn't want to wake up at 2 a.m. to a 23-year-old naked redhead on top of him? But she's making a habit of it. And the sex isn't very good. I rub my hands over my face. I don't know. Maybe it is good and I'm just bored. I can't talk to her. Or the 3 who came before her. I'd say all these issues stem from the fact that you're over 40 and she's 23, but you wouldn't listen to me anyway because I am a hag who is not 23. Maybe they're just too mature for him at 23, talking about their college courses and degrees and stuff. Or ever. I'm a terrible father. I'm too old for more surprises, like a teenage girl living in my house. Gotta keep reminding ourselves of the teenage girl part for when he starts banging his stepniece. I'm not smart enough for this. People like her, who don't show emotion, are finding other ways to release it. So what is it with her? Drugs? Alcohol? Self-harm? Sex? I stop, an image of Tiernan in the back seat of some car, sweat on her face, hair sticking to her cheek, eyes closed, breathing hard, pops into my head. I let out a breath and yank my t-shirt off the chair, tucking it in my back pocket for later. She better not. I'm not supplying this town with new pussy. Insane, dehumanizing way to talk about a 17-year-old girl who has been entrusted into your care. And yet somehow Penelope will play off this dude as the height of masculinity or romance or whatever. Damn these slutty orphans. He goes to knock on Tiernan. Tiernan, it's Jake, I say in a low voice. Her smell hits me and I pause. It smells like skin wet from the rain. Deja vu suddenly washes over me and I inhale deeper. Skin with the faintest hint of fragrance, like that soft hidden place behind a woman's ear that smells like her, but also a little of her perfume and shampoo and sweat. And suddenly I can taste it. It used to be my favourite place to kiss her. God, I'd forgotten. So I thought at this point, okay, clearly he used to bang Tiernan's mum and then his stepbrother got in the way somehow, so when he and Tiernan do hook up, he'll be able to say romantic things like, oh, that's not how your mother used to do it. No, I was wrong here. Surprisingly, for once. Because then I did think, well, if he had a thing with her mum before his stepbrother got in the way, in another lifetime, Tiernan could have been his kid, which would have been even funnier. Tiernan is in the kitchen gluing a broken plate together. Is her banging all the guys in this house going to be the glue that brings the family back together? It is. I pour a cup of coffee, swallowing hard. Thank you for fixing the fridge, I say, not looking at her. I felt like an ass yesterday when Noah told me that everything in the fridge was out of its usual order because she had to empty it to fix it. A huge ass. After the surprise wore off, I was impressed. So much of the world simply replaces broken things or hires out to have it fixed, not wanting to trouble themselves to learn things on their own. Even with the plethora of help there is on the internet, she's self-sufficient. Yeah, not like the other rich girls, sure. Wow, she's so mature for her age, basically an adult, as long as you ignore her being an orphan child. Tiernan, I say again, but she doesn't respond. Jesus, it's like talking to my kids. Are all teenagers like this? Why is this orphan whose parents died recently being so difficult and quiet? She is pretty though. I'd give her parents that much. Flawless skin that looks almost porcelain, high cheekbones that the hollows rosy, eyebrows a little darker than her hair, framing long lashes and Amelia's stormy grey eyes, more piercing than her mother's because she has the same dark ring around the iris that her father had. She's more her mother though. The slender neck, the curve of her waist, the spine and shoulders that made her seem statuesque sometimes. On Amelia, it looked cold. On Tiernan, it makes you wonder how she'd bend and move in someone's arms. Someone's. I don't need her to stay. It's no skin off my nose if she leaves, but I can forbid her from leaving if I want to. If for no other reason than to burn off my exceeding supply of frustration with her father, to make her work off his debt to me, to mess up her life just a little bit, to make her... She wets her pink lips and my breath catches for a moment. If I were a worse man, go for a cold shower, go sleep in the snow. I'm not sure where the hell my mind is going, but it's not right. She's my responsibility, not my opportunity for payback. Not to mention, she's quiet, boring, and a little pathetic. I can't torture someone who won't fight back. Is bro 40 going on 14? This is literally just Jared as a 40-year-old, because that kind of character would never mature. He wants to bully someone vulnerable because he desperately wants to do a sex with them. He tells Noah to show Tiernan how to muck out the horse stalls. Noah tells Tiernan to change her shirt, she's wearing an undershirt, and wants to give her another shirt or something. I dart my eyes to her, expecting her to look uncertain, but she hesitates only a moment before slowly starting to unbutton her blouse. I clear my throat again and look away. She should be doing that in the privacy of the bathroom. An invisible hook keeps tugging at my chin, pulling at me to look at her. But I just blink a few times and charge out the room, biting hard into the apple. So of course Jake, who should have left by now, ogles her while slut-shaming her a little bit. She should be doing that in the bathroom. Sexualizing her just for changing her shirt, and she's wearing an undershirt, so she's not just like getting her bra out. Great guy. He gets a call. Hi, Mr. Vanderberg, a woman with a slight accent says. I'm Mirai Patel, Mrs. De Haas's assistant. I hold the phone to my ear, pulling on my work gloves. How does a dead woman still have an assistant? But she doesn't respond, and I almost smile because I've succeeded at being insensitive. Penelope, you do realise you're writing a 40-plus-something-year-old man, yeah? And not Maddox or Jared or Jax or any other teenage boy. Penelope will never write a man who isn't slime. Mirai wants Tiernan to come home. But at the same time, who is this woman to tell me what to do with my niece? Can't wait for but they are step siblings, so it doesn't really count as incest crowd, despite Penelope writing stuff like this. Also, nice bit of male entitlement and ownership there to a female vaguely related to him who he's never met before this. And you think you can raise her better, I ask? I think you don't know her. I do. I squeeze my fist around the phone. But that's a bit of an overreaction, isn't it? A stranger I've never met or heard of until today lays claim to my brother's child, and she thought this conversation was going to go well. Mirai did raise her. Also, here's a strange thing to note. Mirai is a Japanese word/name. It means future. Probably means a few other things too. But the one that I know is that it means future, because I know intermediate Japanese. Cheers. Yes, me big-brained. But Patel is typically an Indian surname. Now, of course, Mirai could be half Japanese, half Indian, and maybe it will come up later and be relevant to the story. Or maybe Penelope just wanted to mash random names together as usual. You be the judge. By the way, literally never comes up later in the story, so I was right. Penelope just wanted to mash some names together. So Jake then accuses Mirai of wanting Tiernan's inheritance, to which she says, lol, I've had access to her finance for 10 years. Can you be trusted? Her place, I finally grit out, is with her family. Her place is with someone who loves her. Some family, because Mirai is her real family. I better not be proven wrong, or I will see Penelope in the ring at WrestleMania 42. But then I hear her voice again and stop. She used to wake up every night around 1 a.m, Patel says, like clockwork and without an alarm. Did you know that, Mr. Vanderberg? I remain silent, unsure if she's telling the truth and hating that she knows something that I don't. If it is. You have literally known Tiernan for less than 72 hours. No shit, Mirai knows something that you don't. He has the creepy vibe of a jealous lover here. Chapter 6, Tiernan. Toss the plastic bags into the barrel when you unpack groceries, Jake tells us, still eating at the table. I'm burning trash this afternoon. I stop and glare at the back of his head. Burning trash, I repeat, searching for an argument he'll listen to. Please don't. It's bad for you, breathing it in. And it's really bad for the planet. I circle the table to face him. It's illegal for a reason. Burning leaves is one thing, but plastic and... His fork clangs on the plate and he picks up his cup of coffee. Garbage trucks don't get up here, sweetheart. We'll figure it out, I retort. You can't burn plastic or inked paper or... California girls are environmentally conscious, aren't they? Noah laughs from the sink. No plastic straws. You have to bring your own bags to the supermarket. That's fucking normal. That's, sorry, so English here, but that's pretty normal to buy a bag for life and take it to the supermarket, or forget it and then have to buy a new bag for life and then just have a cupboard full of bags for life for the rest of your life. You have to bring your own bags to the supermarket. I hear they only flush the toilet every time they go to. It's almost as if saving some of these plastic bags and reusing them would be the better option. But no, Penelope has to get their snipes in because being environmentally conscious is a bad thing. I bet Tiernan the coward thinks hunting for the sheer sexual thrill is wrong too. Also, Jake makes snipes at her parents again. I turn to leave, but I stop and glare at Jake again. And that DeHaas money is hard earned, I say. My parents made contributions to the world. People value what they did, whether you liked them or not, whether I liked them or not. I blink at the words coming out of my mouth, surprising myself. But while I had my problems with my parents, I realised for the first time that I'm a little protective over their legacy. The world will remember them, I point out. And so will I. Jake leans back in his chair, regarding me with an amused look, especially with you around. Jake doesn't know that her parents ignored her. He's basically glad they're dead because, not for the reasons that I thought, they betrayed him in a pretty bad way and he's glad that they're dead because of it. I thought it was because, the mum obviously cheated on him with the stepbrother. But my original point still stands that bro is in his 40s, not his 20s. Hey, mountain man, ever heard of therapy, or is that too LA for you as well? Enjoy your microplastics in your burned lungs, you moron. Hope climate change makes a storm that rips down your house and you have to wrangle your niece into a bed while sleeping in a tent. But he did threaten to keep me here against my will yesterday too. Oh, well, as long as the meta-narrative recognises it, I guess it's fine. I'm sure it's romantic somehow anyway. Noah and Tiernan ride to town via dirt bikes. He fastens the strap under my chin and I try to avert my eyes, but he has this lazy half smile on his lips that kind of makes my body hum. Quit your thirsting. She wonders why Noah won't leave home if he wants to so bad. He says nothing changes up on the peak, not ever. If this was Stephen King, this could be a fun horror novel instead of a step-family orgy, but hey-ho. And again, It has that child orgy, which is still better than any of this. And the fact that that's true is wild. That these two stories exist in such utterly distinct categories of skill and imagination. It and Credence. Anyway, they get to the store. It's small, but she manages to get her prescription of birth control transferred. I'm sure this will be very important to the plot. I grab a spare set of earbuds and some pens and paper, and I find the ramen in the last aisle. It's the cheap 47-cent stuff, but I want it. Who eats ramen that isn't cheap? 45p cocker noodles here in the UK are the best. She then gets accosted by a random woman demanding to know if she's one of the racers, like motocross, because motocross is a big thing. And the motocross in this story is just the loop, racing at the loop from Bully. She wants to know if she's one of the racer's girlfriends. Then where did you get that hat? My hat. I stop and turn my head towards her, opening my mouth to answer, but then I close it again. Have I done something wrong? Who is she? If you're not with motocross, she asks again, then how'd you get that swag? Tell her to F off and be done with it. I keep my mouth shut though. I'm not sure if this is a small town thing, but where I'm from, we don't just dole out personal information just because someone is an uncontrollable nosy Parker. She might think I'm rude, but in LA we call it not getting robbed, assaulted, or killed. This woman clearly is going to do none of those things whilst in this small mom and pop store town, but also it's normal not to give personal information to strangers, not some special LA thing. It's also normal to explain a scenario to a stranger so they don't misunderstand it, but this is against literary law, so I guess this whole thing has to blow out of proportion. Then Noah appears and he's buying 8 boxes of condoms, which seems quite optimistic, especially considering the snow is coming soon. Then he tells the woman to shoo. I pull a couple of reusable grocery bags off the nearby rack and drop them onto the counter too. Oh good, there's that one drama solved, unless Jake takes reusable bags as an attack on his masculinity and American freedom to poison the planet at will. CC Diggins, he tells me, taking out the cash his father put on the table. Gets real insecure when something prettier comes into town. Meaning me? Something. Lol. I frown. I don't like drama. Boring. Then some bloke is staring at Tiernan and Noah informs her his name is Terrence and he's an up-and-coming motocross star. And again, motocross is just the loop. from bully. Tiernan did know earlier that Noah doesn't have any upper body tattoos, so at least we are spared that. But still, is this going to be another lawless small town whose economy relies solely on teenagers driving around? Noah gets close, his chest brushing mine and making tingles spread from my belly, and I suddenly go blank. Who are we talking about again? He leans in, his breath falling across my face. I notice a 3-inch scar down his jaw as he gives me a wicked little smile. What are you doing? I ask. Why is he so close? B just smirks again. Rubbing it in, he answers. And then his eyes dart behind me to the guy across the street as he tightens my strap. That you're untouchable to him. Again, has known her less than 72 hours, but already the male entitlement and ownership because she's vaguely related by marriage is nauseating. And of course, Tiernan doesn't push back on this. This story is simply filled with the heavy breathing of men. I feel it on my neck every other page. And I'm just also loving the way her supposed family are treating her as an orphan. Nobody screws my cousin but me, and maybe my dad.
Nobody ruins my family vacation but me, and maybe the boy.
I start putting pieces together in my head. The little show that he just put on for the guy in town. Jake's advice that I stay away from local guys. The order to put on a proper shirt before I left today. Father and son don't get along well, but they seem to have that in common at least. Both of them are stifling. It's not entirely awful. I might have liked to see my father act that way from time to time. Really stifling is bad. A little stifling? I don't know. Kind of feel like someone cares. Penelope, you are incredibly wrong, as always. Noah and Jake do not know Tiernan. They cannot claim to be doing this because they care about her well-being. As Jake said, he doesn't want to supply the town with new... What's the word for vagina? That isn't the P word. Can I even say that on YouTube? Whatever. Doesn't want to supply the town with new pussy. And he said this about a 17-year-old, I hasten to add, whilst indulging in extremely sexual thoughts about her. They are being overbearing because they think she belongs to them because she's a woman. And Penelope, you either know you're writing this or you're subconsciously writing this, and both are bad. Every story of Penelope's features a woman with no real agency who ends up being in the scenario of, oh no, this sexy man I hate is doing a sex to me, and oh, I guess I like it, so it's fine. Oopsie, how did that happen? Anyway, they ride home, pull over. Noah starts talking at her about how he thinks she's actually sad about her parents dying, and that's why she doesn't talk, and her parents resented her for being a distraction from each other, yada, yada, yada. Mr. Psychologist here. Mr. Psychologist who, spends all his time in the peak and doesn't go to school. Sure. So they turned you over to whoever they could as soon as you were old enough, he tells me. Boarding schools, sleepaway summer camps, nannies. My chin shakes and I let it because I know he can't see me. You didn't resent your parents, he finally says. You loved them. I wonder if Penelope is pro women being forced to stay at home to look after a bunch of kids. Anyway, done correctly, most of those aforementioned things actually aids a child's socialization skills. Things like boarding schools, summer camps, even going to nursery early or going to baby groups or being at a childminders and being around other kids. It forces better socialization skills rather than them staying at home all of the time and never hanging out with anyone other than their own immediate family. Why do you think all those homeschooled, no offense if anyone here is homeschooled, but why do you think so many homeschooled kids are weird? Colleen Ballinger, weren't she homeschooled? Weirdo. Though that Christian couple that I did, that were in that Netflix documentary, and I did a book review of their autobiography together. Pretty sure they were, no wait, they weren't homeschooled, but they're homeschooling their kids. Weird. A lot of those fundamentalist Christian family vlogging channels who take their kids out of school, A, to get more content out of them, and B, to be able to brainwash them effectively from the home. Weird. You need to socialise in the outer world. It's also the kids who never, ever, ever sleep away from the family home who have huge trouble adjusting to something like university life later on because they've never had to wash their own fucking clothes. Anyway, she has another night terror that night. Wiping the sweat off my upper lip, I throw off the covers, turn on the lamp and hit the ground, digging under the bed for my suitcase. I don't have to go home, but I don't have to stay here. They don't like me. I don't like them. This is quite random. There's been no inclination that Noah dislikes her, and Jake certainly lusts for her. I'm sure a competent author could point this mood swing out to, her parents dying, but I won't hold my breath. I've always wanted to go to Costa Rica, rent a treehouse, hike with the spiders and the snakes, live among the insects of unusual size. All of it sounds worlds better than here. I fundamentally agree with her doing these things and living her best rich life though. So if the book ends with her choosing to live in this secluded woods with these dudes without using her fortune to experience the world, well, I won't hold my breath again. This book would be so much better if it ended here, with Tiernan being Matilda and Marai being Miss Honey, and they live together comfortably without a bunch of incest happening. As she's preparing to run away, a random man breaks in. A man's... Trigger warning. Sexual assault. A man steps over the threshold of the shop wearing jeans, blood running down his bare chest from the dead animal carcass hanging around his neck. I watch, my mouth suddenly dry and my heart lodged in my throat, as he walks over to the long wooden table and slings the dead deer, foot-long antlers and all, onto the table and turns around to kick the shop door closed again. I gape in horror. Streams of blood run down his back, covering his spine. Yes, of course, real men walk around shirtless at night time when it's nearly winter, covered in animal blood. What wet dream of Penelope's is this now? Is he where the deer came from that was here when I arrived a few days ago too? Again, the sentence, just look at it, just seems a bit clunky. Anyway, she realizes that this is Caleb, the older son. He rubs the water over the back of his neck and I notice a faint tattoo running vertically from the bottom of his skull to his shoulder. Some kind of script. Anyway, he has muscles and green eyes. This is very important. What flavour of garbage will this man be, do we think? Trigger warning if you don't want to hear about sexual assault. But then his loaded eyes drop to my stomach again and his chest rises and falls heavier and I clench my thighs. Instinctively, I put my hand where his eyes are and I feel it. The bare skin of my stomach. It's because her shirt ripped in the night. My breath catches in my throat and I look down, seeing I'm still wearing my ripped t-shirt, the fabric torn and exposing my belly. I cringe this whole time. But as I trail my hand, my fingers brush the exposed underside of my breast. I stop breathing altogether. I pull my shirt down as much as it will go and back up, ready to scramble for the stairs. As soon as I move, he moves, walking right for me. He approaches, droplets of water hanging from his side, and I dart towards the stair. But he shoots out his hand, grabs me, and shoves me into the wall instead. What? I gasp, fear curdling in my stomach. He presses his body into mine, taking my waist in one hand and planting his other hand on the wall above my head, then dips his forehead down to mine, looking into my eyes. The embrace is intimate, and it feels like he'll kiss me, but he doesn't. I open my mouth to say something, but his breath brushes my lips, hot and heady, and the room is spinning. He's cold, but I feel warmer inside, like I'm about to sweat. Reaching up, he takes the ribbon I'm wearing and runs it through his fingers before bringing a lock of my hair to his nose and smelling it. Then he dips to the side, running his nose over my ear, up my hairline, across my forehead, inhaling me, smelling me. It's weird, but I can't move. I shiver, pleasure at the gesture making my body react. My skin tightens. I pebble and chafe against my t-shirt, and I close my eyes for a moment, loving the electric current sweat flowing under my skin. I should push him away. I can't lift my arms for some reason though. I choke out. I don't think you should. But he reaches between us with one hand, his forehead resting on mine with fire in his eyes as he starts ripping open his belt and undoing his jeans. Whoa, what? My mouth falls open. Wait, stop. I plant my hands on his chest. You can't? What are you? But he presses himself into me, breathing harder with his teeth bared a little, and I feel the hard ridge of him rubbing between my legs. I exhale hard, my eyelids fluttering. He slides his hands down the back of my shorts, cupping my butt as he lifts me into his arms and spins us around. My stomach somersaults, and I can only grab onto him as he lands me down on the hood of a car, pushing my butt forward as he nestles between my legs. Caleb, I say, trying to push him away. Caleb. He fists the back of my hair and presses his body into mine as he comes down on my mouth, hungry and wild, kissing me and shutting me up. His tongue dives in and I moan with down low. Stop. Holy shit. He rolls his hips into me faster and faster, breathing hard as he bites and chews my lips before sucking on my tongue so hard my legs are on fire. What the hell is he doing? Have we met before or something? I finally swallow. Stop, I shout, my pulse ringing in my ears. Stop, just stop. But he comes down on top of me, forcing me back onto the car, his hot mouth finding my stomach. I shake my head, tears hanging at the corners, because it feels so good and I don't want it to. Again, it's just that, but my body likes it though. Yeah, so what? Sometimes women orgasm during sexual assault. It's a bodily response. Body and mind, in that case, body and consciousness are separate. It doesn't matter if a body is enjoying it. If someone's saying no, it means no. I don't want him to go lower. I don't want to wrap my legs around him. None of this feels good or warm, and none of it makes me feel soft on the inside like I could kiss him back. I close my eyes as his lips suck and nibble their way across my stomach, and I feel air hitting my chest, knowing it's popped out from the rip in the shirt again. I feel him pause and I dig my nails into the car because I know he sees it. Please stop, I murmur, and I know he hears me. He growls and yanks me back down to the end of the car, diving for my stomach again as he starts to pull off my sleep shorts. I grip my teeth together. Stop, I mutter. But he doesn't. His kisses only get lower, trailing over my hip bones as he eats me up. The warmth pulls between my legs, almost burning with needing something there. Stop, I mouth. He gets my shorts over my butt and pants. And then I rise up, I'm self-censoring. Growling as I slap him across the face. Stop, I said, stop. He freezes, looking me in the eye and glaring. Sweat glistens down his neck and his breathing is ragged as he digs his fingers into my hips, fisting his hands. When someone tells you to stop, you stop, I bark. Can't you understand? Are you stupid for something? He snarls, grabbing me by my upper arms and scowling down at me. A whimper escapes, but I scowl right back. His chest heaves and I can feel the heat on his breath and still see the desire in his eyes, and I feel it too, even though I hate to admit it. For a moment there, maybe longer, I wanted to do this. For a moment, I was soft again. It was hard to stop. But this is his fault. I told him to stop like 6 times, and I certainly didn't invite the attention. So his frustration is on him. I don't have to love the first person I have sex with, but I don't want to be scared either. He's like a machine. He glares down at me, not letting go, and I stare back. So Caleb is just a rapist. But a bit of her liked it, so it's fine, even though he ignored her wants and needs several times. But anyway, he's hot, so who cares? Bet she ends up with him. Noah then interrupts, pulls Caleb off of Tiernan and says he can't bang her because she's family. Dude, she ain't a townie, he tells Caleb, holding his shoulders, looking him in the eye. But Caleb's glower is still on me. I quickly slide off the hood of the car and fix my shorts, seeing his gaze fall down my body again. Not a townie? Like it's okay to treat anyone like that. That's some conviction you have there, Tiernan. How long is it going to last? How long are you going to pretend to have some moral outrage to his behaviour before ultimately rewarding his behaviour with sex because the author seemingly has a fetish for sex offenders? I love this game Penelope plays in each book, stating outright what society and the reader know to be wrong, then doing it over and over again. I wish one of her protagonists was vocally against good characterization, but the lust interest totally ignores her wishes and becomes a compelling character anyway. Just cut him some slack, Noah says. He's always starving when he comes back from being in the woods this long. Then eat. That's what he was doing, Noah shoots back, glancing at me. Eating me. Yay, objectification. And also, cut him some slack, says the man to his cousin whose parents have just died, in reference to his sex-offending brother. Also, Caleb doesn't talk and hasn't spoken since he was 4 years old. Who wants to bet he will end up talking to Tiernan and will somehow have the developed speech of an adult? Nonsense. I flex my jaw. Is he deaf too? I snap. I told him to stop. He can hear you just fine, Noah says. He's just not used to women saying no. Women like you, Noah retorts. Yeah, that's right. Tiernan is just so attractive. Men can't help but try to assault her. Okay, Penelope, you weirdo, pick me. I still see his eyes looking down at me when he pushed me into the wall and rested his forehead against mine, the way he looked at me. His mouth on my cheeks warm. Bro was out in the woods for days, probably covered in dirt, animal blood, and reeks. Ain't no way I'm pretending him being attractive would make up for all of that. I'm going to dub what I imagine the smell to be as Hunter's crotch. For several minutes, I'm lost in thought about where that would have gone if Noah hadn't come in, if I hadn't forced myself to push his brother away. Because I almost didn't want to. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Thank God all of Penelope's protagonists all actually love being sexually assaulted. Chapter 7, Tiernan. She wakes up to Noah banging a girl in the bedroom next to hers. I roll my eyes and fall back to the bed. They really are living their best life, aren't they? Must be nice to have your bed buddies come to you at the crack of dawn every morning. That makes 2 of them, including Jake's friends with benefits. I don't know any woman who would go to a man like this, traversing the wilderness to sneak into the bloke's house to have sex with them. Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but if anyone should be traversing the wilderness for sex, it should be the man. I'm still wearing the shredded t-shirt Caleb found me in last night. Memories rush through my mind and my chest starts rising and falling faster as everything that happened in the garage floods me again. Who knew I'd fold so easily? I was so ready to wrap my legs around anyone who showed me the least bit of attention. So then instead of recognizing that Caleb is a sex offender, because there ain't no way he's never done that before, she instead slut-shames herself. Okay, Penelope, we get it. Men are perfect angels and women are horny skanks. I throw off the covers and sit up. His behaviour was ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is he wouldn't have tried to get it on with a complete stranger if it hadn't worked for him in the past. He didn't like what he felt. He was horny, and I could have been anyone. And again, her issue here is she doesn't feel special to him, not that he is clearly a rapist who lives in the woods. She bumps into Jake in the bathroom and sees his friends with benefits is back. Again, ridiculous. Do these women not have jobs to go to? Why are they spending all of their time hiking for a bit of mediocre pipe? Jake himself said sex wasn't very good with what's-her-face. If it's crap for him, it's definitely terrible for her. That is just how heterosex works, Penelope. I don't make the rules. I can only speak for myself right now, but I have never had sex where it was shit for the bloke, but incredible for me. So in your face with my facts and logic. Do you have a boyfriend, Tiernan? He asks. Back home in LA, he clarifies. Do you have a boyfriend? I spit the toothpaste out, but instead of answering, I go back to brushing. Have you had any man? He asks more bluntly when I respond. Whatsoever? I slow my strokes, my breathing turning shallow. Is he asking if I've had sex? You're still a girl, he says, guessing the answer without me telling him. And you still need some raising. Big words coming from a dude who has raised a mute sex offender. Anyway, she then pretends to shave her beard to mimic Jake. I don't know, it's like, I don't know, forced intimacy, forced like familiarity, intimacy, whatever, forced chemistry. When we're done and only a few smudges of foam remain, he pulls a towel off the rack and cleans off my face. And for a moment, I feel like a kid and want to laugh for some reason. Yeah, to him, you are a kid. But then they stare at each other and it's all sexy or whatever. So she has the most chemistry/tension with her uncle. Her step-cousin clearly fancies her, and the older step-cousin is a sex offender. This is a great book, Penelope. I need Mariah to enter this house with a pump-action shotgun right now. She still hasn't packed her bags and left, even though the world is her oyster. She's rich and semi-famous. She could get with any muscled hot dude who isn't a sex offender and travel the world. Then Caleb appears to stare at her. His eyes burn my back, but after a moment, I hear the fridge open and close, then feel him approach my side. Is he going to apologise? What if I hadn't been a step-cousin? What if I'd actually been blood when he decided to ignore my protests last night? What about it? Assault is assault, Penelope. What about it? Like leather, like musky body wash, he must have just showered them. Last night it was rain, trees, firewood, and sweat. He smelled like the woods. Heat pulls at the memory. He would smell of BO and blood. Behave. Anyway, she talks at him to try to get him to respond, so she has like a reason to leave. Sure, but he then completely ignores her existence anyway. She makes pancakes and doesn't give Caleb any, but then he steals them and leaves none for her because he is such a catch, and then he stares at her legs. I wear ripped jean shorts, not too short, and a flannel buttoned up to my neck. I drift my gaze around the table, noticing I have more clothes on than any of them. Jake and Caleb aren't wearing any shirts, and Noah's tee has the sides cut out, giving glimpses of the smooth tan chest underneath. Caleb's black hair against his sun-kissed face, Jake's toned shoulders and narrow waist, the veins in Noah's forearms, and I straighten, swallow, then turn around, quickly leaving the room. I need to get out of here. Pathetic. She gets on with chores away from the cousins. A couple of women hang out nearby as others talk in the garage, and I watch them in their jeans and summer tops, laughing and smiling. How much longer will the weather be nice enough to ride? Seems like fun. Jake and I unload the hay, gripping the wires and hauling each bale over to the stable. One of the girls smiles as I pass. None of them wear makeup, no fancy manicures, and no stylish clothes. But they don't need it. They're pretty, dressed to play, and for a moment, I want to be one of them. Another wet dream of these weirdo anti-feminist authors. Women that wear no makeup or accessories or do anything with their appearance, like at all, probably don't even wear SPF, but are still very pretty. Wait, isn't this a religious thing? Like this was a TikTok thing not too long ago, American Christian Republican thing of how like you shouldn't wear makeup. So then they don't get taught how to use makeup properly because you shouldn't be attracting attention in the first place. And then when they do put on makeup, it's that awful Republican makeup thing. I think that's what's going on here. Anyway, while she's hauling hay bales, really? This tiny thin girl who barely eats? Sure. She overhears two people having sex in the stable stalls, so she spies on them, and it's Caleb getting a blowy. Sure. Okay. Then we have our first eyebrows pinched together. Penelope, you hack. Eyebrows pinched together shows up at least 10 times in this book, I think. Then he notices Tiernan staring at him through a crack in the door and just pumps himself into the girl's mouth faster while staring Tiernan down. A drop of sweat falls down my stomach under my flannel, and I almost find myself starting to move with him in trance. This is enough to get her humping the air. Absolutely amazing imagery of her standing outside of a barn, dry humping the air like the most pathetic pervert you've ever seen. She groans. He and I stare at each other, and all I see is how he would have moved for me last night if I hadn't stopped him. But then a moan escapes, and I don't realise it came from me until I see the corner of his mouth curl into a smile. I suck in a breath, finally realising what the hell I'm doing. Insane longing for a rapist, my dude. Then she listens to him finish and runs off. He's vile. Jake was right. He and Noah are nothing compared to that. And I'll bet he enjoys himself too, reaping all the benefits of playing the mysterious tortured soul who doesn't speak, but it's just so alluring and sweet because women want to save him. There is literally nothing sweet about a sex offender who lives in the wood covered in bear shit and deer blood. I don't care what happened to him when he was 4. I can't wait for an insane OTT backstory to justify his Nazi behaviour. Guess what? It doesn't. Then Noah invites Tiernan to go motocross riding with his friends, including that Terrence bloke. You know, just make sure you don't wear that torn t-shirt so your 17-year-old boob doesn't pop out. When I turn back round though, I see Caleb strolling out the stables, pulling his shirt on, and the girl he had in the stall following him. The girl from the store yesterday, the one who tried to get in my face. I stare at her. Tight jeans, loose green tank top, long black hair, and a brick sits in my stomach. Don't worry, she's a slut or something, so she doesn't have real feelings or character traits. She's about to get on Noah's bike, but Caleb grabs her and yanks her away. My heart hammers in my chest as he stares down at me, and then he jerks his chin towards the house. He doesn't have to say a word for me to know he's ordering me inside. Away from them, away from him. Caleb, I hear Noah chide, but snickers and snorts break out among the group, and despite the twinges of anger I feel, my eyes start to burn. Away, he looks down at me, jerking his chin again. Away, you're not going. Bet you all a tenner it's because, ironically, Terence is a sex offender as well, and Caleb doesn't want him to have all of the victims. Terence, bad rapist. Caleb, good rapist. Let them fight. So like a good little woman, Tiernan goes back into the house and stays in alone for all of 5 seconds before grabbing a backpack and a rifle and goes for a hike. She's definitely going to get lost and attacked by a bear or Terence or Caleb and have to be rescued. It is just that one scene from Bully again. I hope a bear saves her from the sexual assault. I hope she chooses the bear. She goes for a swim in the pond and then Terence appears. Ugh. He's definitely going to try to assault her, but it'll be the bad type, not the good type that Caleb, Jared, Merritt, Maddock, Etek all do. He then gets shirtless immediately, of course, because it's illegal for a bloke to wear a shirt for more than 5 sentences at a time in these books. He reaches down and scoops up some water, splashing it on his face, running it over his hair and down the back of his neck, wetting his chest. Love the tribal tattoos. Wonder which tribe he belongs to. I almost snort. I can't tell if she's being sarcastic because I know Penelope thinks tattoos are the height of class, sophistication, and sexiness. Relax, he tells me. Not everything with a penis is a threat. Not familiar with Penelope's work, are you? It would be great if Terence is actually a good guy and gets her away from the freaky step family, and then they go on a lifelong trip around the world together using her millions and actually get exposure to culture and different experiences, etc. If you go, he says, I don't know if I'll be able to get you alone again. I turn my head, looking at him. They're very protective of their property. Alas, there goes that dream. He's just another pig. Should I write that story instead? About one of these stupid heroines who mistakes body feel good for consent, but actually gets away from the creepy boyfriend, family member, whoever, and doesn't stay shackled in the same small town and actually goes on and has a life? Nah, clearly no one would read that. Hold on. I get a bit of whiplash. Everything on their property is their property. He circles me, the water coming up to both our shoulders. They live by different rules up here, Tiernan. As much as I'd like to argue with him, I think Jake, Caleb, and Noah would agree with him. Jake's warning about the local guys. Caleb sending me back to the house instead of letting me join on the motorcycles. Noah and his possessiveness in town yesterday. What do you want? I ask him, changing the subject. Your Chapel Peak's shiny new toy, he tells me. Just checking you out. I raise my eyebrows. Yeah, that sounded cheesier than I thought it would. He mumbles. Sorry. Why? I reply. Toys are meant to be played with. His mouth drops open. We stare at each other as the loaded words hang between us. And then, as if on cue, we both start laughing at the same time. That had extra cheese, he teases. Yeah, but you seemed a little hopeful there for a second. Neither of us makes a move to get out. We just continue to tread water and circle each other slowly. Penelope, don't you dare tease me with a good time. If he's actually normal and she still chooses / lets herself willingly get kidnapped by Caleb, I'm going to spit. Anyway, he's all, so do you want a boyfriend? The Vanderbergs usually go to town every Friday night. Shall I come to you? And she's into him and sort of wants a one-time fling, which she is allowed to have. By the way, she's a virgin because of course she is. He swims into me, backing me up and walking into me. When I get only waist deep, he wraps an arm around my waist and pulls me in. I plant my hands on his chest. No. His eyes drop and he smiles at what he sees. I look down, noticing my boobs visible through my wet bra. I pull my arms up, covering myself. Unlike last night when I couldn't even summon the will to stop Caleb's mouth. Terence takes my face and pulls me in, but before I can pull away, motorcycles whir from somewhere in the trees and we both jerk our heads towards the sound. The narrative is so annoying because for like 2 pages she's going, oh, there's a deep ache. Why shouldn't I have fun with this guy? And then a sentence later here, she's like, no. And somehow, no means no here, but it doesn't mean no the several times she yelled it at Caleb, even though my body wanted it. Like, that's not even dubious consent. It's just stupid. The whole thing. Put it in the bin. Anyway, Caleb and Noah appear with a shotgun. You're not going to be able to keep her to yourself, he tells Caleb and Noah. She's the prettiest thing we've all seen in a while, and I'm just trying to get in there before all the dogs start barking at your front door for a piece of that sweet little snatch. Right, A. Penelope, what is wrong with you? Who hurt you? Why do all the men in all of your books talk like this about women? B. So it's okay when 40-plus-year-old Jake refers to his by-law niece as new/fresh pussy, But it's not cool when someone unrelated says essentially the same thing, right? Noah drives off with Tiernan. Chapter 8, Tiernan. They go home, so Noah starts manhandling Tiernan for daring to go for a walk, and then Jake starts telling her off too. I turn and head up the stairs, hearing Noah's angry bark behind me. "You're a Vanderberg here," he shouts. "If you give that asshole a piece of ass, I swear to God I'll make sure you don't sit for a week." Yeah, it's totally okay to beat up women if they don't do exactly as you say. She is still the orphan child of her parents who had their own surname, and your weird bro ecosystem in this nowhere place doesn't change that no matter how much you yell at it. She goes to hang out with the horses and thinks about Terrence. Yeah, I was tempted. I can't talk right or say the right things, but maybe I can be soft and sweet and happy in bed. Maybe I could be loving there. I'm not sure loving is what any of these men want in bed. Or deserve. Also, it's so funny to me that the virgins in these books always have this pure view of sex, loving, romantic, at odds with the reality, which is just animals rutting in ways they find most pleasurable. Whereas these men are always complete dogs who claim to like it rough or whatnot, and they will have like body counts of plus 100, but then they get their minds blown by something as simple as doing cowgirl or anything other than missionary. Jared. It is pathetic. It's like these books were written by an actual 14-year-old rather than a grown adult who has a child. Anyway, Caleb has a bloody nose, probably from Terrence, or possibly from refusing to take no as an answer from a woodland creature. And since I won't do what I'm told, I add, send me home. I don't belong here. This is why I'm better alone. This is so contrived. She can actually leave at any time, but hasn't made a proper effort in doing so. So this conflict is fake and attention seeking. Just go live with the caring woman who raised you already. She tells Caleb she doesn't care about his nose, so Jake kicks off and says she doesn't know how to be part of a family. Yeah, no shit. Then Jake says, "You're the kid, I'm the adult. You do as you're told and there's no problem. That system works for us," he towers over me. "Just do as you're told." I'm still waiting to understand what she's actually done wrong so far, apart from go for a walk and then consensually flirt with a boy who isn't in his 40s and who hasn't raised a sex offender. Plus, if she's the kid and you're the adult, then stop lusting after her. I shrink for a second, but then I shake my head, muttering, "You're impossible. And you're spoiled." I drop my head, squeezing my eyes shut against his attack. I've never been yelled at before. Ever. That fact just occurs to me and my hands are shaking. It's degrading. I feel like shit. Huh? "Little miss, my life is so hard no one likes me at school, has never been yelled at before?" Well, this is character building then. "No maids here," he continues. "No butlers." My back hits the wall as I grind my teeth together and anger burns my gut. He goes on. "No assistants to wipe your ass. No easy access to your psychiatrist to get you your pills that you need to dull the pain of how shallow your life is." None of this makes sense in the context of the story. We've seen that Tiernan is pretty self-sufficient. You know, she can fix a refrigerator by herself and has gotten stuck into the housework and chores with little luxuries. So again, this is contrived because it is simply not matching anything we've seen so far. Plus, we've not seen her on pills, just birth control. So that last line makes no sense. And it's also quite anti-science to reduce it to, "Oh, you're lame for needing pills for your mental health. You'd take painkillers if your leg was chopped off." Know what I mean? Same thing with your brain. If your brain's chopped off, get some pills for it. And another thing, he has a friends with benefits who is 23 because he can't commit to someone closer to his age. That is shallow. And I'm going to say it again because it bears repeating. Her parents just died. Even if she didn't like them, don't matter. Like, it would still mess someone up. "Is anything your problem?" he retorts. "Do you give a shit about anyone but yourself? You don't ask us questions about our lives. You barely eat with us. You won't sit with us. You have no interest in who we are." "Because I'm always in the kitchen," I blurt up at him, my chest nearly brushing his. "You're a brat," he breathes out, seething. "A self-absorbed, snobby little brat." "I'm not. I'm just..." Anyway, he yells at her and crowds her and doesn't stop until she has a minor breakdown. Great guy. She manages to say she's not used to people because no one speaks to her, so she doesn't actually know how to communicate with people, and then she runs off. It's meaningless, contrived conflict that wouldn't happen unless Jake actually is a terrible person, because literally anyone else would have more consideration for someone in Tiernan's situation. God, why did I do that? What a basket case. He's going to send me home now because I'm emotional and too much work. And? Would going home be that bad, or would you prefer to stay in this house of abusers? The whiplash from the thing she wanted a few scenes ago now being used as punishment. Pick a lane. I shouldn't have done that. I never fight with anyone, but I would fight before I'd ever cry. It's a weak person's tactic to end an argument. It's not a fair fight when someone starts blubbering. Well, you did cry, so I guess you're just weak then. You can't say, "Oh, I would never do that," because you did. She remembers a time when her mother got nominated for an Oscar. I'm evil for this. I admit I'm evil for this next bit. She's a little kid in this scene. I wanted to hug my mum and congratulate her. I wanted her to know I was proud of her. My genuine reaction, I am evil. I'm chaotic evil, okay? And I accept that and I'm fine with it. So I'm better than a Penelope Douglas character. My genuine reaction to reading this was, you're a little kid who gives a shit about who you're proud of. I'm so rotten. How condescending. Imagine being a grown adult being nominated for an Oscar and then like an 8-year-old. It's like, I'm so proud of you. You've barely been around. Shut up. God, I'd be such a good parent. Anyway, they completely ignore Tiernan and wander off and the memory ends. She wakes up to a bag of sweets on her bedside table with a note saying, your parents never gave you anything sweet, that's why you're not. Way to rub it in. I look over my bedroom door, noticing it's opened a crack. I'd closed and locked it when I went to bed. Thoughts wash over me, but my heart isn't beating fast. I should be mad. Someone came in here while I was asleep. Of course she ignores this giant red flag. By the way, the person who keeps sneaking us into her room is Caleb. She chucks away the sweets again as well. She sucks. All of that stuff about how burning plastic is bad for the environment, which it is, but she chucks away an entire bag of sweets. Wasteful. She gets up, makes coffee, and they're sweets. They're not going to go off. Like, you can space it out. You could eat like one a day, you know? She gets up, makes coffee. Jake's there and isn't mad. She says she wants to go home, but he says she is home, as if, and then gives her a big hug and she cries. It's meant to be a nice moment and it's ruined. His whisper tickles my scalp. Everyone's going through shit, Tiernan. He pauses as the steady rise and fall of his chest lulls me. You're not alone. Do you understand that? He tips my chin up and I look up at him, nearly losing my breath at his warm eyes that stare right through me. Everyone's going through shit, which is why we've made no effort to accommodate you after the death of your parents. If the boys want to grab you a little bit, don't be so prickly. You're not alone, he whispers again. My eyes drop to his lips and for a moment I'm with him, breathing with him, my blood coursing hot under my skin as I take in his tanned face, his smooth mouth and the rugged scruff along his jaw. I have a sudden urge to wrap my arms around him and hide in his neck, but he runs his thumb over my jaw. The heat under my skin spreads lower and the small smile he had on his lips fades as he stares down at me. Finally he blinks, breaking the spell as he drops his hand. Ridiculous. She bumps into Caleb. He veers for the bathroom, and even though I'm less than 6 feet away, he pretends he doesn't notice me and disappears into the room, slamming the door behind him. He seems like a nice, well-adjusted young gentleman. I sure hope she marries him. She forces herself to make small talk with Jake to try and make amends and work through her parents' mistreatment with her. She obviously needs therapy, not house chores. Give her therapy, Penelope. She decides she will try asking questions too, so of course she asks why doesn't Caleb talk. She skips straight past the small talk phase. Look, looks like it might rain later. Does your son usually rape a lot? He says the boy's mother is in prison, serving 10 to 15 years. She asks if he loved her. I dove into her, he explains instead, because I couldn't stop loving someone else. Filthy. I need to hear about all that. Jake says he met Flora, who wasn't the mother, she was the lady before, when he was 18. Anyway, he continues telling his 17-year-old niece how sexy Flora was when she swam in her underwear because she couldn't afford a swimsuit because her family was poor and his family didn't want them dating. Your mother was a rising star and your parents had just started dating, he explains. She took Flora out and got her drunk, and when Flora woke up, she was in bed with another man. He finally looked over at me, pausing in his work. Another man who wasn't me. My mother took her out, got her drunk, and my father, I say, putting the pieces together. Jake nods. Your grandfather knew I wasn't going to let her go, so your parents helped get rid of her. I blinked long and hard. I can't believe I defended them to my uncle. To him. No wonder he hates them. She felt so guilty, thinking she'd had sex with another man, Jake continues, leading me into the stable to tend the horses. It was a piece of cake for the family to convince her our relationship was over unless she wanted me to find out what she'd done. And hey, here's 50 grand to cover moving expenses. Disappear, kid. Don't call him. What shenanigans is this? It's like a bad teen rom-com. Anyway, Flora ends up killing herself because she feels guilty about what she did to Jake. So Jake leaves the family and never goes back. You know, maybe Flora wouldn't have died if she could have just called a therapist like you mocked Tiernan for earlier. I know. Jake actually wants people to have therapy and he's bitter, except Penelope writes these stories in a world where nobody gets help unless it's a shallow punchline, so none of this counts and I win again. It's hard to make sense of though. My mother wasn't so different from Flora. Just as poor, but at least Flora had a family. My mother had been a foster kid with no one. How could she not be on the girl's side? Because all women are cartoon villains apart from the 3 that are okay because they are subservient to men. Notice how she's not giving her own father any grief about this, of course. She has more chores. Caleb is at the other end of the barn, jeans hanging loosely from his hips, no shirt, and the sun shining across his bare chest, which is damp with sweat, as he brings the axe down and chops a log into... Of course he is. Can we please stop with these sweaty, topless, heavy-breathing men? I can hardly walk for the shirtless mouth breathers slipping and slopping about the place. Go grab the first aid kit, Jake tells me as he starts to walk for the driver's side. Caleb needs help. Yeah, professional help, I grumble. It's on the tip of my tongue to tell him about the other night at the shop, about the barn yesterday. But I can't put all the blame on Caleb, I guess. It's best not to bring it up. As terribly written as that scene was from an actual psychological standpoint, the blame is entirely on the man who was doing the assault. Caleb scares me. But Jake turns around and charges right back into me. That guy, he tells me, this is about Terrence, has a clubhouse in town for gangbangs with a scoreboard on the wall rating each girl on a scale of 1 to 10. There are no less than 300 names of all the tail he and his friends have bagged in their short lives. He then points at my face and I rear back a little, scowling. You're lucky Caleb found you and not me, because I wouldn't have waited before you left before I killed him. Consensual gangbangs, I know, bad, but attempted assault? Good. Got it. Clearly, Caleb, Jake and Noah are just upset because nobody invites them to gangbangs. Let people have hobbies. God forbid people have hobbies. Tiernan tries to fix up Caleb. Sit down, I tell him softly, please. His eyes narrow and he doesn't move. I gesture to the tree stump, softening my voice to almost a whisper. Please sit down. He waits a few minutes, staring at me, but then he sits. Bro, dogs learn faster than this. I am not impressed. She cleans him up and he seems scared of her, but she likes it, and then her insides feel like a warm puddle, and then she leaves with Noah to get lunch because she shouldn't be left here alone with Caleb. Every scene with this guy feels like bestiality. Chapter 9, Noah. Oh, great. Then we get this absolute made-up fever dream nonsense. Shit. The girl on top of me leans down, grabs the headboard, and rolls her hips up and down on me. Come on. The hard flesh pulses with heat and I can't seem to get there. I grip her hips, guiding her faster and faster. Am I hotter? She gasps. Yeah. And my boobs? She cradles back my neck, shoving her boobs in my face. You like them better? I manage half an eye roll. She does have nicer boobs than Rory, but at least Rory knew what playing was. This chick wants to jump on my bits at 6 in the morning. Self-centered. Sorry, guys. Read the screen if you really want to know. I'm just self-centering the naughty words. At 6 in the morning, and expected it to be immediately standing at attention is just downright offensive. Luckily, I was able to conjure a sordid memory from high school to get me ready. Didn't happen. None of this happened. Also, why high school? Okay. But yeah, it's offensive when the bitches, nay, toys, don't consider the feelings of men. Loud in the morning reminds everyone I'm late for work because I'm screwing my ex's 18-year-old sister. Yeah, right. He's banging his ex's little sister who is insistent that she is hotter with nicer boobs than her sister. Absolutely get lost, Douglas. Anyway, he bangs her. It's very graphic. He's not even into it, but does it anyway. Is he like a public service within the community? Oh, and Penelope is doing that thing where you can tell it's a bloke talking because he swears too much. Anyway, he pretends to orgasm and she's like, whoa, I love how your swimmers feel inside me. And he thinks I'm wearing a condom and didn't finish, you idiot. And like, it doesn't work this way round, Penelope. We can tell. We can always tell. Unlike men who cannot tell. Ha! Women are idiots. Penelope. If I can't finish even once, that's unacceptable. I'm good in bed, goddammit. Women leave my room happy. Not like the boulevard of broken dreams that's my father's bed, when they realise he only wants sex and not a relationship, or Skid Row upstairs in Caleb's room where women are lucky to leave alive. I, on the other hand, am really good at this. No, you're not. You're 20. He also immediately has a beer at 5 in the morning. I know Penelope thinks this is the height of masculinity, a dude with an infinite roster who drinks upon waking, but ew. Extra points if he's drinking on the phone, though. He spots Tiernan. My snort almost escapes, but I keep quiet. She hasn't noticed me yet, and I don't want her to. She's too damn funny, and I like watching her get angry. My only little ray of sunshine in this big old shithole. Of course, he is literally just Maddox. So that's Jared, Maddox, Jake, and now Noah. Write a different man, Penelope. Caleb doesn't count because he's like if the witch accidentally turned a brain-damaged dog into the beast instead of the prince. Oh, and Jax. Can't forget Freezer Boy. Anyway, they have a play wrestle. I'm not sure I've ever played with a woman I wasn't worried about screwing. That's nice. I chuckle. It's like hanging a little sister. Maybe the day won't wind up so badly after all. What are the odds that he tries to bang her? Then Remy, the girl, appears, so Noah and Tiernan hide in the bathroom. Remy's sweat feels like it's sitting on my lungs with the thousands of mornings of waking up to faces just like hers. I'm nothing, and the longer I'm not drunk, the longer I have to face that fact. I take a swig of the beer. Thousands. Really? Behave. Also, how is he drunk off of one beer? Man makes same mistake literally 1,000 times, fails to remedy it in a remotely healthy way. More at 11. Anyway, they fall and hide in the running shower together. This is like a cross between porn and anime. I wonder if that exists anywhere. Let me just check the internet. Oh God. Why don't you want to smile? I ask her. Tells me everything I need to know about this chump. She looks over at me. The water spills around us and I spot drops streaming down her face and catching between her lips. Lips that are full and pink and look like gum, soft and chewable. But I barely blink, unable to stop looking at her, her wet legs, the water gliding down the sliver of chest visible because of that lost button on my shirt. She wears his shirts. The whole little sister nonsense didn't even last 2 pages, by the way. Hopefully Remy is on her way too. I used to feel bad about trying to get girls out of my house after we were done, but I can't muster the effort to care. What a gentleman. He just needs a good woman, not an easy slut, to come in his life and fix his behaviour for him so he doesn't have to do any hard work himself. I love the beach, she finally murmurs. I shoot my eyes up to her. In LA, she clarifies, not looking at me. It was my only favourite thing, I think. Oh right. I asked her about her life in California. She glanced at me, a smile peeking out. I can see you there, she muses. Damn right you can. I fit in everywhere. Oh, to have the confidence of a completely dogshit man. She tells him a memory about going to the beach once, and I guess it's nice. Oh, wait. No. It's actually about the time she walked into the water with the intention of you-know-whatting herself, but ultimately saved herself from it. They share the beer and chat, and it's a vaguely nice moment. I guess I can't wait for it to be ruined. Anyway, then he strips off and showers while she stays in the shower facing the other direction. Take a drink every time something this contrived happens, and you'll be as wine drunk as Coho in no time. She needs a lot, and all of them are things you can't buy. She needs to laugh and get drunk. She needs to be tickled and cuddled and carried and teased. I don't want to see her cry, but if she does, I want her to know there's comfort. I guess it's better than Jared getting off to Tate's tears, I suppose. Approaching, I stand just behind her, enjoying her nervousness. She's barely breathing. And then a thought of what else a young woman might need occurs to me, and my smile falls. How does she feel when she's getting carried away? I take her braid, rubbing the hair between my fingers as I suddenly lick my dry lips. Never mind. Anyway, nothing happens. He turns to leave, but I dart my eyes up, squeezing the door handle as the shape of her through the white shower curtain moves. Jean shorts fall next, and I look away, still gripping the handle. My body warms. I can already hear it. The winter winds that will blow through the attic in a couple short months. The smell of the snow that will come this winter. Months of a quiet house and darkness and rooms with her in them. Moments, showers, corners, silent nights. And for once, I might be excited to be here for it. Without thinking, I twist the lock again and look over at her through the curtain. I can almost see her underwear sticking to her body, remembering the toned calves and thighs. What if she likes me? What if it's just once? A secret? Something my father never has to know? Tell me more about the life figure of this 17-year-old as she showers. Jesus Christ, that's not what she needs. And another notch on my belt is not what I need. I need my head examined. The poor kid just lost her parents. Oh, the humanity. But they are aware that she's an orphan. I was beginning to think there was some kind of comical mix-up where they thought they were accommodating a human punching bag. Later on, they all go out to the lake for family bonding. I look over at Tiernan, liking that view better. Bro, stop, he says to Caleb. She's definitely a reason to stay, isn't she? I call up to him a few feet above. I like having her around. Caleb keeps going, crawling up the incline to the top of the waterfall. Nod once if you're thinking the things I'm thinking, I say. Finally, he glances down at me, his dark eyes dead as usual as he pauses his climb. But I keep going. I know you are, I tease. You were going at her so hard the other night, she couldn't get a word out. Going at her, is that what we're calling it now? Ha! That Caleb and his assaults. What a character. Anyway, Tiernan gets into a bikini and her breasts are almost too big for her top. Oh no, my titties are accidentally spilling out of my bikini. How could this have happened? How unexpected and titillating. What does she feel like? I ask. But when I turn around, Caleb's climbing again, sweat making his black hair stick to his neck and temples. Caleb, I grab a pebble and throw it at his legs. What was it like? I wonder what she feels like when she's happy, I tell him, when she gives herself to someone and lets herself want it. I'd love to see what she looks like when she's alive. Bless. Penelope really tries to romanticize sex, huh? What is all this rubbish? He tells Caleb if she stays, he will too. I think that's a threat. Chapter 10. Tiernan. Tiernan is fishing with Jake. Caleb's jump off the top of the waterfall made my stomach drop even more than it already had during my interaction with Noah this morning. I hadn't wanted him to leave the shower. I waited for him to touch me. I like to think that Noah's comments in the previous chapter about Tiernan happened well within her hearing, and he's just casually discussing her while climbing a rock 6 feet away from her. You don't like help, do you? Jake asks me. Her and every other FMC in all of these books ever with a misplaced sense of pride. It reminds me of all the stories that I would try to write when I was 12 years old. What a beautiful stock phrase after he lambasted her earlier for being a useless valley girl who needs therapy with her iced coffee or parents aren't cold enough. Your arse now. He says, and look, that reminds me of, what was that show? The League of Gentlemen? Where it's like, you're my wife now. I never saw it, but I just remember that one little clip. You're ours now, he says, and looks down to meet my eyes. Ours now. When you're here, you're a Vanderberg, Noah said. Right, except she's a Vanderberg they'd like to They're essentially a pack of horny dogs. Just scent mark her already. I look away, suddenly aware he's half dressed. Since when isn't he? I feel like whenever a character is mentioned in this trash, they're announced as being shirtless a few weeks before a heavy snowfall. His smell surrounds me. A mixture of grass, coffee, and something else I can't place. Probably dried. Anyway, she wants to hold his hand and everything is very loaded and sexual tensiony and blah blah blah, and then he tells her about a cave behind the waterfall where teenagers do bad things. If a guy takes you there, he tells me, now you'll know what he's after. Then maybe you should take me. He stops spinning the reel and I stop breathing. That sounded, oh my god. I'll be safer with you, I rush to add. For God's sake. This makes Jake look like he's not breathing. And I'm sorry, why is a grown man getting this breathless over a teenager? She wouldn't even know what to do with Jake, even if she had one. Maybe he's into that though, because those types of freaks usually are. They fish and it's like the movies when a dude tries to help a woman work on a golf stance. Do you know what I mean? We haven't had a woman living in the house since their mother, he tells me. I don't have a great track record with taking care of women. I look over his shoulder and up at him. He shakes his head, whispering, no matter how hard I try. His brow is etched with pain as he focuses on the stream. Oh my god, he is so emo. He's tragic and brooding like Batman, except shit in every single way. His hands, his rough hands, heat pools low in my belly and I feel embarrassment rising to my cheeks. I'm not reading it. You guys can read it in your own time. She quickly jumps off into the lake to cool off. Oh my god, what was that? Did he know what I was thinking? Could he tell? He's spilling his guts and I'm standing there getting turned on. Kind of based, not gonna lie. I charge for the pond, the boys nowhere in sight. Dropping my shorts and peeling off my shoes, I wade into the water a few feet and dive, the cool fresh water covering my body and caressing my scalp. My pores open up, releasing more heat. Cold water doesn't cause pores to open up. Love the way she says it though. She's like some kind of mechanical amphibian. Jake must think I'm such a girl. Emotional. Erratic. Yeah, okay, Penelope. Reject a man sometime and tell me he doesn't get emotional or erratic. She goes into the cave behind the waterfall to chill out. I shouldn't have been having those thoughts about Noah in the shower. I should have stopped Caleb the moment he started. Caleb tried to assault you. She then fantasizes about Jake and gets herself off to the thought of him, and it is graphic. I don't need to be reading about a teenager doing this, and I'm not showing the screenshots because I want to keep this video monetized. But thank God Penelope is here to constantly fantasize about underage teens doing that. And then before she can finish, she hears a woman yelling, stop. It's Cece, the girl from the pharmacy who I think Caleb had a thing with. I think he was in the barn with her, and she has blood running down one nostril, and then Caleb appears. What was she arguing with him about? He didn't do that to her, did he? And how the hell do you argue with someone who doesn't speak? How does that work? I don't know, and I don't care. It's probably some lame misunderstanding that'll come out later when we're supposed to think he hit her. Anyway, they all go to a pop-up race, spare me. I look over at Caleb again, his jeans now mostly dry and his black t-shirt on. He pulls off his helmet and hangs it on the handlebar, ignoring the people calling to him and walking over to take a beer from the cooler. Caleb isn't just mute. He doesn't do sign language. He refuses to communicate with anyone and everything. He never acknowledges other people's existence. He doesn't even nod when Noah, his own brother, asks him a question. He point blank acts as though no one else exists, and I don't care how hot he is. There is not a conceivable universe in which people would be falling over themselves to fawn over him. So they make a pop-up tent with posters and gear and stuff to sell. Noah. Seeing me, he pauses and grins. He sets the helmet back down and comes up behind me, reaches around my waist, pulls up my shirt and ties the two flaps high up. He knots it right under my breasts, my stomach bare, and then winks at me with his cocky blue eyes. I scowl. If you bear it, they will come. I think Jesus said something like that. No, isn't it? Oh, it's Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And only because in Peep Show, Mark was like, that's where you're getting your advice from, Jeremy. Field of Dreams, where he builds a baseball court for a ghost, something like that. Not Jesus. Jesus didn't say that. The race is a motorbike race, and of course, and Noah is racing, and I'm skipping past it because I suffered enough of all that rubbish about the loop in the previous bloody books. And anyway, the scene is inferior because it's motorbikes, so they can't listen to symbolic butt rock whilst racing. I'm kind of jealous he's so good at something like this. I've never been good at anything. You literally fixed a refrigerator first try the other day. Shut up, you loser. Walking over, I'm about to set my foot down and go back to handing out decals, but a crowd heads our way, people swarming Noah. I watch as he pulls off his shirt and throws it on the table, tossing me a cocky smile as he grabs my nachos away from me. He swipes up some cheese, dabs it on my nose, then dives in, sucking it off as I growl, bro, what? At this point, I was kind of having more fun with it, and I was like, it's just so ridiculous and so silly. Penelope, you diva, kind of love it. I was like, at this point, and then by the end, I was back to just like pure hatred. But at this point, I was like, I think Penelope is my favorite problematic author, actually, because Penelope is just so weird. I kind of love it. I just know that Penelope is a little bit freaky in bed. No one wants to be a racer on TV. Well, actually, maybe not. Considering the men get amazed by like cowgirl positions, maybe not. Noah wants to be a racer on TV, but Jake doesn't want him to get injured and paralyzed. I guess Jake and I are very different in that way, I suppose. He looks over at me, giving me a sad smile. He might not want Noah to be hurt like he was, but if Jake knows anything, it's that our parents don't always know what's best. I mean, who's to say Flora would have been a happily ever after for him? But he would have run with her anyway, because we want what we want. Noah will do the same. Unrealistically wise from a 17-year-old. Then Cece talks to Tiernan and makes her dance. I shake my head. No. But she grabs my hand anyway and drags me over to the bonfire. I stumble to keep up, trying to pull her out of her hand. Stop. Hey, I bark. I don't dance well. Turning around, she takes my waist and pulls me in, and I shove her off, but she's too quick. So I guess no one respects the FMC's autonomy. I shake my head clear. I'm not letting Caleb pop my cherry in a threesome. I'm not letting Caleb do anything ever again, in fact. That's good to know, champ. Big talk, but unfortunately, you're an FMC in a Penelope Douglas book, so what you think you want counts for nothing compared to a man's desire. Cece accuses Tiernan of being jealous of her and Caleb, so Tiernan is all, no, I was there first in the water. In that cave, touching myself, actually. And then she's all, anyway, I'm going to be locked away on a peak for months. With him. I don't say out loud, but the words hang in the air. I want it to sound like a threat, even if it's an empty one. She doesn't need to know Caleb scares me or treats me worse than the animals he hunts. At least they're of value to him. What a sad little life, Tiernan. Then Jake breaks up on the girl-on-girl action and threatens to spank Tiernan. That's the second time I've gotten yelled at for drawing attention I didn't ask for. This possessive obsession with protecting my innocence is ridiculous. Just because they're experienced doesn't mean they're any more mature or wise. I would even debate they're less so. That's been pretty clear since I arrived. Wait, she's right. Laughter goes off outside the truck as the tailgate closes, and I look over, seeing a woman climbing in beside me. A whiff of her perfume hits me, and she looks up, smiling at me as she closes the door. Hi. Hey. More giggles sound off behind me, and as Jake and Noah hop into the front seat, I close my eyes, my anger so hot I clench my fists. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I don't turn around to see how many are in the truck. I just shoot my uncle a glare in the rearview mirror. Why is everyone in these books unfathomably horny all of the time? Take me over your knee, I repeat, looking at Jake's eyes in the rearview mirror. I've never been spanked in my life. He looks up, meeting my gaze. If you want to be, keep it up. The girl next to me shifts in her seat, and the tension in the cab suddenly rises a couple notches. Asshole. You'll hit me because I do things you don't like. It's called correction, he retorts, staring at the back road. And I'll do it because I care about you. Yeah, like how well did that work with Noah and Caleb? Noah glances over his shoulder at me and then looks over at his father, whispering, what's going on? Jake shakes his head once, blowing him off. You can't stop me from being with someone or having sex if I want to, I inform him. It's called a double standard, Jake. You guys get to be with women. Why can't I enjoy someone's company? We can be with women because no one has laid claim to us. No one has laid claim to me. You're a young woman in my house, he fires back. We claim you until you're old enough. This is basically one werewolf away from being one of those shitty paranormal alpha, beta, omega wolfpack dynamic romances that for some reason I keep getting adverts for on Facebook despite never buying one. Your logic is flawed, you know, I tell him, staring at him through the mirror. If a woman claims you, then she'll also do for you what other women do. But if you're all claiming me, you're not doing for me what other men would do. I'm tired, but this made no sense to me. I think the implicit statement here is that they all ought to bang her like a tribal drum until the snow thaws. Anyway, everyone then reacts to this. Chapter 11, Tiernan. Okay, let's try and get through as much of this crap as we can today. I've got my cup of tea. I'm ready. Let's go for it. Chapter 11, Tiernan. More night terrors, including the smell of soapy candles. Don't really know why. Caleb. His room is above mine. A piece of furniture shifts across the floor, another creak here and a stomp there, but then I hear a cry behind me and feel something hit the wall. Noah's next to me. and I rest the back of my hand against the wall by my head, feeling his headboard hitting the other side again and again, the thuds speeding up. I drop my hand, listening to their panting and moaning. Yeah, right. What is this? A frat house, but with even more predatory men? I stand up and lean my forehead into the wall, listening to the boys make love to the girls and the ache filling me up because I'm alone in here, forgotten and jealous. Why am I jealous? Tiernan, you beautiful tropical fish. They are not making love. Now, you guys can't tell because you're watching / listening to a video, but sex scenes make up about 60% of the girth of this book. She walks around. The cool air hits my bare legs, but it's a welcome relief as it eases my muscles. I should put a robe on, but I don't give a shit. Wow, you're so tough, babe. I stare out the window above the sink. In a matter of weeks, snow will cover the ground. The house will be quiet. No women for miles or months. She's going to become their live-in fleshlight, and it's really grim when you think about it for even 1 second. 3 grown men cut off from civilization with 1 teenage girl. Penelope, is this some sort of fantasy of yours? We listen and we don't judge. Yes, we fucking do judge. Anyway, in the kitchen... like those little weasels that are like, no guys, we can't kink shame even if the kink is a man pretending to be a paedophile and a girl pretending to be a 5-year-old. Why can't we kink shame the feet people and whatever the hell this is? Anyway, actually I do what I want, so I do kink shame. Anyway, in the kitchen, Jake is... and I'm not a prude, I kink shame the vanillas as well. Get better sex... I'm joking. I'm not even joking. Anyway, in the kitchen, Jake is topless, of course. So Tiernan gets all hot over it and starts trying to tempt him. My light pink silk panties hug my ass, the bikini straps sitting just below my hips and leaving 2 inches of skin between them and my grey cami exposed. I reach up, putting the spices away as the muscles in my legs and ass flex, wanting him to see it. The hours that I waste doing these videos is really remarkable. No wonder I'm depressed. His chest covers my back and I smell him like I did today when we fished. Warm skin touching mine and tingles spreading down my arms and thighs. Only now, I don't think I'll run away. I want to feel this. Right, sure. Well, as the adult and guardian, Jake should say no. It's not going to happen though, is it? He leans down close to my ear. Have you ever been kissed? I nod. On places other than your mouth? Heat pools. No, Uncle Jake. He is the worst guardian ever. Where is Mirai with her shotgun? We have some dogs to put down behind the shed. We're going to old yeller these guys. They won't be locked up here without a woman this year. They'll have one.
I'm in danger.
Jake tells her to leave because, you know, she's in danger from these horny men. And she's like, wow, you said this was my home. Why did my father give me to you? I whisper, staring out the window and seeing my uncle's reflection from behind me. They knew what they were going to do. They could have waited a few weeks until I was 18. They could have given me to Mirai. I guess it's more like Mirai, isn't it? I lean back into him more, savouring his warmth and his eyes on my body. Maybe they didn't think about it, I murmur. Or maybe they knew it was the only good thing they could do for me. The only good thing would be if they had left you with Mirai, not done this. Do you feel this? He growls over my lips as he pushes me into the sink. That happens. I groan. This is what you're doing to me, Tiernan. It's not right. Instead of pile driving, good grief, the boobs and butt I came home with. I'm sitting down here trying to talk myself out of going into your room and giving the teenage piece of butt living in my house a really long good night kiss. That is a 40-year-old man lusting after an underage girl he's essentially trapped in his house. He is just a pervy old man because in 10 years he'll be the same, just older, but the girls he looks at will be the same age. They kiss and start doing stuff. I'm sparing you the grisly details. I've never touched a man before. I breathe out, I want to touch you. Well, who better to have this learning experience with than your step-uncle, huh? She begs to be taken to bed by him, but he stops. This isn't happening, he growls. I'm your uncle. I'm your uncle. You were never my uncle, I grit out, spinning around. You're a no-relation stranger my parents sent me to live with, which is crazy work. His face is flushed, like mine, I'm sure, and sweat glistens on his... Like, her parents wouldn't do this. They would... Like, they forgot she existed all the time. She wouldn't be in the will at all. Or the... You know, whatever the hell this is. Got a nice cup of tea. Go get yourselves a nice cup of tea, guys. His face is flushed, like mine, I'm sure, and sweat glistens on his tan temples. You're my responsibility, he tells me. But it felt good. Pain hits his eyes, and I know he felt it too. It felt good tonight, he says, but it'll feel like shit in the morning. I shake my head, not caring. I don't care. I'm lonely and an emotionally stunted child, and you're the first woman What? I'm lonely and an emotionally stunted child, and you're the first woman I've been around with long enough to get connected to in the past 20 years. You're not an emotionally stunted child. You're a 40-plus-year-old man with 2 grown adult sons. What? Did Penelope get this bit wrong? Was Tiernan meant to say that? Because I don't believe it otherwise. He stands up straight, running a hand for his hair, and you're just a neglected orphan, desperate for attention. That's all this is. This dialogue nearly broke my nose, but why were we expecting anything else here? Then he really starts laying into her, and not in the way that she wants. He's just closer again, speaking low. You threw away your candy, he says. You don't accept Noah's invitations to the track when he goes to practice. You don't engage Caleb when he's fighting you. Caleb is a rapist. You still barely join us for meals or in front of the TV at night. You don't laugh or play or want anyone or have passion for anything, he goes on. You have no hobbies, no interests, no boyfriends at home, ever. Am I right? You never smile, he says quietly, as the music and noise rage in the faraway recesses of the house. You never feel joy. No dreams for the future. No plans. You have no fight in you. You're barely alive, Tiernan. Low-key true, but there is a time and a place for this. Not a single character in this story behaves like a real person. You are beautiful, he tells me, and pulling my body away from yours was the most pain I've ever been in, but I did it because it was the right thing to do. All right, Immanuel Kant. All right, categorical imperative. Yeah, right, the right thing to do. The most pain I've ever been in. What was that about girls being overly emotional and erratic again? Loser in his 40s forces himself not to sleep with a child. I guess that's a kind of anguish if you suck. Then he tells her off more for throwing the candy away and says it's because she denies herself any chance to be happy, which we already have this scene with Noah. So Penelope, you're just repeating yourself. This is why this book is like 500 pages long. And then he projects his own misery onto her, being like, you'll regret so much and have kids who hate you. Okay, but the memory of our vacation to Fiji when I was 11 pops into my head, and how they only took me because the press had caught on that I was rarely ever with my parents, and how one morning I woke up in the suite alone and waited for them for 2 days because they took an overnight trip around all the islands and forgot about me. As if, but kind of also hilarious. It reminds me of there's an infamous Reddit story about Kevin. If you just Google Reddit Kevin, it comes up, and it's about this teacher and the dumbest kid that he's ever met. And he met the parents and he realized, he said that they were like a evolutionary misstep, and it was amazing that these people were just alive. And one time he and his parents went on holiday and they forgot their luggage. They just left all of their luggage at home and got on the plane and left. True story. Remind me of that. Then she cries about how her parents didn't even leave her a note, and she cries into him like a little girl would do to her father. If he didn't have a raging boner while she cried about her dead parents and leaned on him like he's her dad, Penelope is a coward, and there is no point to any of this. I calm after a while, the pain fading, because I know the truth. My parents didn't love me. And that wasn't my fault. But they did one thing right, I think, as I hang onto my uncle and he holds onto me. Penelope, you're insane. I love it. I just know that Penelope was cackling wine drunk as they wrote this. Sometimes family is pressing your junk into a child until they cry and hug you. I can't find that printed on any greeting cards, but I'm pretty sure it's still true. And maybe I was scared too, he tells me, giving me a cocky little smile. Everyone will want you, and it's our time with you. A flutter hits my belly. I like it when they say stuff like that. You okay with that? He asks. I nod. Having a family is nice. Yeah, this isn't real family, babe. Real families don't try and bone their teenage niece. Our time with you also is so threatening, given everything these men have said and done since she arrived. I give a weak smile and feel his touch again as he tries to put my strap over my shoulder. That's her bra. But it just falls back over my breast. And you probably shouldn't walk around dressed like this, he says, his voice quiet again. I look up, meeting his eyes. He cocks his head. Especially this winter. Insane. Penelope, your talent is so wasted outside of the porn industry. I don't know why you're bothering with these dark romance books, because A, there's no romance. B, it's not dark, it's just weird, right? Go into writing pornos like me. New one's coming soon. Delicious tea. Anyway. Also, wait, I thought Terence was evil for having gangbangs. So what's all this about? Chapter 12, Tiernan. She's horse riding with Jake and being lovey-dovey with him, cuddling him, kissing his cheek, and he's allowing it. Sure, who cares? She goes with Noah and Caleb to get burgers in town. About Jake. He's a pain in the ass, Noah continues. Seriously, don't let him get to you. I'm continually surprised he ever got hard enough to make us. Then he laughs, shifting into a higher gear as the truck cruises down the road and the wind breezes through the cab. A smile pulls up my lips and I put my head down, trying to hide it. He didn't have any trouble last night. Girl, you're nasty. The green leaves of the deciduous trees mixed among the conifer show yellow tinges, not tingles, not there yet, that will soon turn to oranges and reds before the violent winds of winter. Oh no, winds of winter, I'm triggered. George R. R. Martin, how could you? Joking, don't care, don't give a shit. Rip them free. That little passage seems incredibly out of place in between all of the uncle boning. I didn't say boning. Then it reminded me of Terence and Philip, you know. Shut your bloody face, Uncle Banger. Anyway, I'm sure this little passage is symbolic. The young green trees with their supple limbs will, in only a few short weeks, be absolutely ravaged by old man winter. They break suddenly, and Caleb immediately puts his arm out to protect Tiernan, and I don't care, it's no Edward Cullen backflipping against a crazed minivan for Bella, is it now? It's the most Caleb has not acknowledged someone else's existence too, in between all of the assaulting, of course. It is because he doesn't want anything else ramming into her but himself. She attempts to talk to Caleb more, but he ignores her. Hi, Caleb, someone says. A pretty girl with a shoulder-length shaggy cut and bangs peers at us through the window. Her blue and white striped uniform adorned with a name tag that says Marnie. Caleb doesn't acknowledge her as Noah pays her. She opens the window again to give him his change. You know the office still stands, she says, looking at Caleb as she hands Noah the bags of food. Sure you don't want to tuck me away up on the peak with the rest of the necessities you need for winter? I could keep you warm. I can tell she's only teasing, trying to play. Yeah, no way any girl is into this dude. It's not possible. It's impossible. I don't believe it. This is how I imagine a conversation between Penelope and whoever goes. So, Penelope, any sexy men in your new book? There sure are. Why don't you tell us about him? Dish. Well, he's mute, totally inconsiderate of others' needs and feelings. He's often covered in blood and animal hair, and the only way to stop him from rutting you is to hit him hard enough to draw blood. He's also allowed to operate a motorcycle and gun for some reason. But Noah laughs, taking the milkshakes and passing them to me. I hold them on my lap. Yeah, only if he puts you back into the pantry the 23 hours of the day he's not using you. Ha! These Vanderbergs, I can see why the women all fall for them. But the chick is way ahead of me. Damn, Tiernan is cool. She calls other girls chicks. Anyway, the girl throws Coke at Noah. I laugh, barely noticing Caleb lifting me up and moving me over out of the mess. How would you barely notice being picked up? Shut up. Caleb wipes my arm down with a napkin, and I stop laughing, realising I'm sitting in his lap. I look down on the red seat, seeing a dark pool of Coke where I was sitting. He throws the wet napkin down and picks up another, pressing it to my thigh to soak up the mess on my jeans. My breath catches, and I put my hand on his to stop him. He looks up at me, and the last time he was this close was when he had me on the hood of the car. I try to move off him, but he stops me, not taking his eyes off his phone as he pats the seat to remind me it's wet. Continuing to scroll, he keeps his arm firmly in place, and my pulse races. As we drive home, all I'm aware of is him. Noah's not in the car. There's no music. Despite the breeze, the truck is hot inside. At some point, I look over at him, and he raises his eyes, holding mine again. And I know then that I was wrong. I'm on his radar. That is not a good thing. Every time he's in a scene, I get chills because he's introduced as a bestial rapist, and Penelope hasn't done anything to discourage us from thinking of him that way. So it's like constantly putting someone in a room with a crocodile and expecting us to be relaxed about it. Later, Jake is teaching her self-defense, which I'm sure is just another excuse to grab at her, and of course it immediately becomes sexual. His eyebrows pinch together. What is this? He murmurs, and I feel his fingers do that. He follows the fabric over my hip where it sticks out of my jeans all the way to the back where there's almost nothing. He knows what kind of panties I'm wearing, and his breathing turns laboured. No, I'm laboured having to read this. I didn't mean to unnerve him. It's not about sex. I just like feeling different and buying something Tiernan DeHaas would never buy. This is what comes with raising a teenage girl, Jake. He'll see them in the laundry at some point. He is not raising you. He's trying to hump you. Why is he touching this orphan child beneath her underwear? Thankfully, they get interrupted by Mirai calling her about her parents' funeral. So she organises to go, but doesn't know when she's going to come back. So, of course, everyone's shitting a brick over possibly not having their toy snowed in for the winter. They haven't even buried her parents yet, and they're passing her around like a dirty magazine with the pages stuck together. Penelope, what's up? Chapter 13, Tiernan. She's home for the funeral and is fretting that she has nothing genuine to say for her eulogy. Tell everyone about the time they forgot you in Fiji. I spoke to him on the phone while you were there, Mirai tells me. Your uncle, I mean. I was afraid he'd be a jerk. She laughs a little. He had a real attitude. I smile to myself, looking out the window. Yeah, he does, I whisper, but I'm full of pride. I like him that way. Okay, pick me. My breathing turns ragged as I think about what time it is there and what they're probably doing right now. Noah would be off doing his test runs, wasting way more time than he was allowed, and Jake will yell at him when he gets back before ordering him inside to help me with lunch. But no, I drop my eyes. I'm not in the kitchen. Noah will make lunch himself. They survived just fine for like 17 years without you making them lunch. You have been with them for a week. They're gonna be just fine. Remember all those sweet moments where they objectify her and insult her and yell at her for not being around them at all, even though she's now thinking of all the time they spent together? Whatever. None of these Penelope books stand up to logic. I wonder if he's got that stain off the seat. Knowing Noah, he just left it. He's so lazy about some things. It is the forced familiarity for me. Christ. Then Mirai starts waxing lyrical about people needing homes and how Tiernan doesn't have night terrors when she feels loved and whatever. Then the funeral starts and Tiernan doesn't want to lie and realizes she hates them both and monologues in her head about how much she hates them and how she hates that she never told them this or put up a fight. Chapter 14, Noah. They remind me of the werewolves in Twilight because they were always shirtless and eating as well. Noah decides that he's going to run away because no one's talking to him and he doesn't want to stay for the winter. Which this might actually hit if he wasn't such a pile of garbage, but I don't care where this used bin bag spends his winter. I miss her. We all miss her. Even Caleb, I think. He came home 24 hours ago with some waterfowl, found her gone, and left again soon after, disappearing into the woods again for another whole damn day. So she is safer away from him. Anyway, just find someone else young enough to be your little sister and watch her in the shower. I'm sure the townsfolk can find someone to offer up to you and your family like a sacrifice for King Kong, you idiot. I miss coming downstairs and seeing lights on. Girls like it warm and cozy. I like that touch she added to the house. This is probably the lowest and most mundane reasoning I've ever seen. Wax lyrical about wanting to watch her undress, you coward, and seeing her outside or in the barn or padding around. Ugh, I hate that word. Like in context of this, padding around barefoot in our kitchen. The house felt good. Even her pissy moods amused me. This is absolute sexist Republican nonsense. She's not an adult, I retort. Her place is here. It's your say, not hers. She's not an adult. Now bring her back here so I can bang her. He frets for all of 2 seconds that Tiernan won't ever want to come back. And then Tiernan appears because she snuck in last night. The whole her leaving for the... Pointless. So pointless. Can someone look at the shift on the tractor, she asks, changing the subject. It's sticking. And the vacuum, it's way, way too loud. She pours a little cream in her coffee and stirs. Just because y'all build motorcycles does not mean everything on this property needs to be rewired to sound like a muscle car. She picks up her cup and starts to walk out the room. I'll handle Bernadette, feed the horses and dogs, and pick all the tomatoes before I get started on breakfast, she tells us. Would someone mind bringing a load of wood up to my room sometime today? It's getting too cold at night. She leaves the room, heading back upstairs, and I stare at my dad, my mouth hanging open a little. I'm not feeding you till the stalls are done and Shawnee's had her workout, she yells as she climbs the stairs. Let's go. More forced familiarity, but also this is just taken from an entirely different book. You can't convince me otherwise. Later on, they have a barbecue and decide to get drunk, which I'm sure can only end well. Caleb could drink my weight in Jack, Jim, and Jose together and still not feel anything. No, he can't. Why is this selective mute assaulter some kind of superhuman? He wants her to get drunk with him, so offers a bet. I'll do your laundry this week, I offer. No one else touches my underwear, thank you. Yeah, that's clear as day. Her eyes bug out and my father breaks into a quiet laugh, he and her sharing a quick glance right before he shuts up. See, it's funny because her uncle does touch her underwear. She wins the bet, first to clear the plate of food wins, by giving the food to the dogs, and then Caleb silently gives her half of his food. He's literally like one of those kids who got raised by wolves. Then somehow they get talking about preventing Tiernan from getting pregnant and married at 18, and she says her mother said no woman should get married and she's had at least 3 lovers. Lust, learn, love. First is a crush. Second is to learn about yourself. Third is love after you've learnt your lesson. Oh, and would you look at that? Noah, Jake, Caleb. Wait, no, the other way around. Jake, Noah, Caleb. How obvious. It isn't actually terrible advice. I'm so glad I didn't marry my first. Or 5th. People learn about themselves through sex. It's true. And sometimes it may take a lot of living to become the person you want to be. I'm happy my future wife won't have to experience the complete idiot I was at 17. I was much worse. Like a lot worse. You are still an awful person, so... I have zero interest in relationship drama, and even if I did, we'll be deep in snow for months very soon. The perfect chastity belt. She walks over to the garage, tossing her empty bottle and reaching into the fridge to grab another. Our eyes follow her. We're barely breathing as we watch her lean over in her $300 jeans to find a new bottle.
Danger! No, Will Robinson!
Penelope writes about this underage girl like a pinup from a men's magazine. She treats underage girls how Michael Bay treated Megan Fox in the first Transformers. I shift in my seat, the sun bulged between my legs swelling. That's a lot. Yeah, I murmur sarcastically as I lift my bottle to my lips, because there's no danger here whatsoever. Choose the bear, Tiernan. Chapter 15, Tiernan. They are making sure they are fully stocked for the winter, and Noah gets Tiernan a birthday present, and he admits his mum sometimes calls him secretly to ask for money in her jail bank account. He steps closer. Would you rather be used than never thought of at all? Would you rather be never thought of at all or used? I throw back at him. Even now, I'm not sure. At least his mother knows he exists and can put on a show of love, even if it's fake. But then, at least my parents didn't lie to me. They didn't toy with me or jerk me around. I always knew where I stood. Who had it worse? Him or me? I'm not sure it has to be a competition. Then he tells her to try the present on, which is a top, and gets all intense and backs her up into a corner in the shop. Did I say they're in a shop? Well, they're in a shop. And so she takes off her top in the empty shop, stands in her bra and puts a new top on. But with my hair hanging in 2 scraggly braids, a baseball hat and dirt under my fingernails for the first time in my life, I've never felt this pretty. How he looks at me, how Jake looks at me, how Caleb refuses to look at me, but I know he's aware of my every move when we're in the same room. Is this a lesson for parents? Don't ignore your kids, or else they will try to bang an entire family tree. The local guys don't talk to you, he orders, in a raspy voice. They don't touch you tonight. Do you understand? I nod, still not meeting his gaze. Is he going to say this and then bang 5 local women in one go while she sits in her room and listens through the walls? Wait, it's her birthday. She's having a birthday dinner. She's finally 18. Who is she going to shag first? Jake, Noah, or Caleb? Put your bets in now. Also, those 2 months went by both quickly and painfully slowly. She's dancing alone in her room and Caleb comes to stare at her like a nonce in a playground. Nothing happens. She gets dressed up. Jake complains. They give her a present of a compound bow with a pink camouflage pattern. Yeah, right. That'll really blend into the trees in the dead of winter. Still not remotely caring about this family dynamic though. Noah set up a target in the barn, he tells me. You can practice before we take it out hunting. I drop my arms to look at him. Hunting? They all stand silent and I gaze around at them as if there was stipulation in my contract for living here that I missed. I don't think I want to do that. I set the bow down the table. I'll cook the meat. I'm not supplying it though. But Noah just laughs and Jake shakes his head. We'll talk about it, he says. Yes, force the girl to kill sentient life, of course. It's funny because I find it completely hypocritical when people eat meat that they couldn't kill themselves. But then I do think it's psycho to murder living beings. So it's a lose-lose for you, win-win for me, because no matter what, I get to hate. The boys don't get why she doesn't do this though, because they're all natural predators. Caleb gives her a homemade leather belt. There are trees, a waterfall, the peak, the view from my bedroom window actually, and something that looks like a braid of hair, a horse and a dream catcher. I swallow. Why would he put a dream catcher on there? I mean, the whole family knows that she has night terrors because they hear her screaming, so I don't know, Sherlock, figure it out. The notches go all the way to the buckle, I point out. I'm flattered, but my waist isn't that small. Noah leans in, whispering, but your wrists are... Cool, it's a creepy thing too, yay! At dinner, it was my fault showing it to Noah in the first place. Last spring, Vanity Fair did an expose on the children of stars and featured me in their collection. Unfortunately, a photo shoot came with the territory. One shot in particular of me in my French braids, a sports bra and some lacrosse gear. I looked sweaty and dirty, but kinda sexy. So this was when she was even younger, but I'm sure it was very, very sexy. She's having fun on her birthday, and Noah already wants to pimp her out for their motocross website by getting her to pose semi-naked on a bike. It'll be snowing by morning, Jake says. No photographers are getting up the mountain. He shoots his eyes to me, and no one's getting down. I pause, a shiver almost running through me as I hold my uncle's eyes. I'm not sure I see a warning or a challenge there in regards to the months ahead, but I raise my glass and cheers, ready for whatever. Why is he being creepy? Everything about this house and family triggers my fight or flight response. Instead, I just tip my chin at my uncle. May I have a non-virgin beer for my birthday? He knows full well I'm taking advantage of the allowance in this state that anyone under 21 can drink on private property as long as they're under parental guidance. Americans are so funny, always needing to justify things like this. If this was England and she was 14, she'd be pissed already from being served underage or from drinking in a park. What's the matter, Miss LA? Too good to throw up over the swings? They go into a bar and of course Tiernan is being eyed up by everyone because she's in a dress. Caleb put in hours of work though. The thought of him in his workroom in the barn, quietly working, work 3 times, head hung over my belt, out there alone all that time, for me. So he doesn't have a job. He lives in the woods for days and kills deer seemingly with his bare hands. I'm not impressed by him making a belt. Then she dances with a random bachelorette party. I've always been awkward with other women. Always. I'm either worried they'll feel they have to hold my hand in social situations or aggravated because they do. I hate being an albatross around their necks or being treated like an ignorant little sister they need to take under their wing. Sort your shit out then. You're 18, a totally grown-up adult woman now. Jake stands paused in the middle of raising his beard to his mouth, watching me at the bar. His lips are parted slightly, and he looks like he isn't breathing. My heart drops into my stomach, and I slow for a minute, taking a mental inventory to make sure he's not mad. I'm not dancing with a local boy. I'm not naked. I came with 3 male relatives, so I'm not unarmed or unprotected. He's not angry, I don't think. He's just watching me. Hilarious that she has this mental checklist to make sure she's not pissed him off over his male entitlement. Also, it must be worrying that he stops breathing all the time. Like, all the time. Anyway, she says, I love their, Noah and Jake's, attention. We know. She has fun with the girls, and then Terrence appears and immediately puts his hands on her waist. Then Cece appears and says, what if I told you Caleb did hit me in the cave and that he's just waiting to make Tiernan bleed? Wait for Penelope to excuse all of this somehow, for this woman to be randomly lying, even though we saw Caleb try to assault Tiernan earlier, so obviously he's capable of physically hurting a woman too. Caleb isn't like that. That took less than 2 sentences. Kind of impressed. He might be a rapist, sure. In fact, he definitely is. But he would never hit anyone. Men, sure, but not women. Because they aren't people. Holcomb, Terrence, shakes his head, smirking. They warned you about me, didn't they? He says, you should have been warned about them. They only wanted you because you're rich and beautiful. Think of what your money will do for Vanderberg Extreme and what your body will do in their beds. I shake my head. No. I mean, he's not wrong, but also why does everyone in this town speak to women like this? Again, chilling that Penelope has a daughter. None of them have touched you then, Cece asks. I clench my teeth, but the wheels turn anyway, remembering Caleb and me on the hood of the car and Jake and me in the kitchen. You haven't felt threatened? Holcomb presses. Not once. If you had been dancing with a man like that in public, I would have taken you over my knee. I breathe hard and shallow, recalling my uncle's threat all those weeks ago. Cece probably heard him when he pulled me away and told Terrence. And now you're 18, Terrence adds. Perfectly legal in all 50 states, just in time for the snow. The antagonists are completely right. What is this? Upside down world? Penelope, this is not how you're meant to write a story. They're only antagonists in the sense that they're trying to stop the main characters. They aren't villains yet. Cece says they will impregnate her to keep her forever, and Terrence offers her to escape and go home with him. It's so funny because this could have been a good horror story instead, like think The Shining or something. I mean, it still is a horror, but not in the way that Penelope intended. And it's still not too late for Mirai and her shotgun assist. Caleb yanks her free, kisses her forehead, dries her tears. That is the most attention he has given anyone ever. Then he beats up Terrence and everyone starts fighting. So Jake, Caleb and Noah and Tiernan escape. Caleb drives over everyone's dirt bikes as he leaves. And then the cops and bikers chase after them, but they give up because it's snowing. Like Caleb, Noah, etc. really are the villains of this piece. Anyway, now the snow has started. It won't stop until April, so they are going to get away with it scot-free. That is not how the law works. It's not how any of this works. Chapter 16, Tiernan. The snowstorm rages on and Tiernan obsesses over the belt Caleb made and she imagines him doing bondage with some girl. Then she goes downstairs to the fireplace and finds Caleb there holding a shotgun drinking beer. I know you understand me, I say. I know you can nod or write or something. Why don't you want to talk to me? The light makes his eyes glow as he watches me and I frown. He acts like an animal. He just eats and sleeps and this is the dude all these women want to bang apparently. Noah is also up with a shotgun, keeping guard just in case. Holcomb and his cronies know that we're safe from them up here during the winter, he points out. But also, whatever and whoever is in town is safe from us too. He grabs the beer on the end table and twists it off the top, tossing it next to the lamp. If the snow isn't as thick as we want, I won't put it past him to ambush us tonight and try to take you back down the mountain before we woke up and lost our chance to follow you in the weather. Yeah, that's right. Terrence would kidnap Tiernan. It seems like a joke at first, but it's actually being treated as a physical reality that they're going to be tearing at this valley girl like she's a rag doll. They watch a film together starring Tom Cruise and Tiernan complains that it's dumb and the comedy is subpar. Huge shots being fired from an author as celebrated as Penelope Douglas, by the way. Tom Cruise's cult compound is more welcoming than this house of incest and male mediocrity. This was similar to how I lost my virginity, Noah offers, taking a swig of his beer. I cock an eyebrow and look over at him. A prostitute? An older woman who wanted only one thing, your money. I hear a breathy laugh, and I look over, seeing Caleb's chest and stomach shake a little. Did he just? Oh my God, he laughed at my joke. Wow, forget everything. He must be the one. Well, I'm sorry things didn't go better for both of you tonight. What do you mean? Last chance for overnight visitors. I tease. Nothing to play with this winter. Noah sits there a moment, looking like he's contemplating something. Maybe, he says. For goodness sake. Then Tiernan starts saying, yeah, there must be more mountain men up here being, quote, gay for the stay. Well, if it keeps them from banging their cousins, then sure. Then Noah and Tiernan wrestle, and he grabs her and puts porn on the TV. It's a boy and girl in the film. Teenagers. Penelope, are you okay? Teenagers? Quick, describe every inch of their genitalia for us. You might think I'm kidding, but I've excluded the gratuitous descriptions of the stars, the adult stars' boobs bouncing around. So in the porno, cops appear. Apparently, the loser has a couple warrants for unpaid tickets and expired insurance. They want to take him to jail. But then, of course, they flash their lights inside the car and get a good look at his little girlfriend. Cop number 1 cocks his head and offers the idiot a get-out-of-jail-free card. I watch as the 2 uniformed officers pull the girl out the car and coerce her into compliance. Tiernan is being held on Noah's lap throughout all of this, and you can guess what she feels rubbing against her. And he says she should leave, but Tiernan is getting turned on watching the adult film. And Noah stares at her whilst touching himself. Ugh. A grin plays in his mouth, but the humour he always has is gone. He's hot right now. His muscles are tense, his eyes are on fire, and he knows we're about to cross a line. So then he takes out his you-know-what and starts you-know-whatting. All the while, Caleb is just sitting in a corner watching them. I feel like I can smell this story. On the adult film, the girl is being used so hard. Yeah, I think I know what Penelope's fetish is. And yep, Caleb is sitting there, hard as well. What is this? What brothers do this together? Then Tiernan starts you-know-whatting as well. Noah and Tiernan play with themselves whilst Caleb watches. Wait, no. Now Caleb joins in. This is the only first night of the winter as well, as already descended into this incestuous anarchy. Then Caleb and Noah watch Tiernan play with herself. Caleb moves over to the sofa, sitting behind my head, and I look up at him, meeting his eyes. He pushes a lock of my hair off my forehead as Noah leaves sweet light kisses around my face. What is going on? I feel his fingers slip under the waistband of my shorts as he starts to pull them down. I look at him, pleading. No. Yes. He pulls my shorts down. Noah's lips dip to my stomach, trailing down, and on reflex I go to push him away with my other hand, or maybe hold him to me, I don't know. But Caleb grips my wrist and pulls my hand back. Looks like we might have a little something to play with this winter after all, Noah tells his brother. I twist my lips into a snarl, about to protest, but Noah kisses me quiet. Shh, he whispers. You should have just let Terrence kidnap you. Jesus, man, he tells Caleb. Look at her. You ever seen anything that pretty? I'll bet she's the tightest thing, too. Now make Noah and Caleb kiss Penelope, you coward. I'm ignoring the more graphic parts, as you might imagine. The prettiest one was under our roof the whole time, Noah groans, grinding onto me. You're ours. He presses his forehead to mine. Our sweet little one. All ours. Do you understand? He kisses my forehead, my nose, and I move my hand away, liking the feel of him more. Our piece of ass. Ours. No, step cousin, what are you doing? It is quite sweet, though, how they view her entirely as an object. We seem to be on the same page because he throws his brother a warning. Don't bruise her, at least until she's used to us. I get your cherry, Noah whispers over my mouth, grinning. As long as I promise not to touch her ass. He'll want that. Clearly, the brothers were taught to share. Then, luckily, Jake comes in to break it up and sends Caleb and Noah to bed. Then he starts telling Tiernan off, demanding to know what she wanted to happen. He holds me, squeezing my arms and seething. His fists clench, his fingers digging into my skin, and I whimper, Jake, it hurts. Lovely. Then he starts spanking her, and she likes it. Come here, he instructs. Over my lap, princess. Penelope, you are crazy. I love it. Do you know this book has 500,000 Goodreads ratings, 130,000 Amazon ratings? This book has made bank if all those ratings are legitimate purchases. And also, it's only like 1 in every so many people who leave reviews. So you can assume if like those 500,000 purchases on Goodreads are legitimate, so many more people actually bought this book. This book made Penelope millions of dollars. People really do love porn with extra steps. He slaps me again and I wince even as my butt arches up to meet it. No what, he whispers. No, Uncle Jake, I answer properly. He then spanks her into submission and doesn't let her release, and she's left upset because of the denial. Chapter 17. Jake. Tiernan is giving him the silent treatment. He's patting himself on the back for not letting her lose her virginity in a threesome to boys who don't love her. Quote, God, she's nice to look at. Can you not? Anyway, there's more general stuff about him being horny for her. And they've taken her hunting and they are making her kill animals. Yay! She refuses to do it and Jake basically forces her. You want to know what that meat you buy nicely packaged in the grocery store went through before it came there? I growl at her. These animals have a hell of a lot of better life than the meat you buy, girl. So wise up and feed your goddamn family. He's right. I'm saying this as a vegan. He's right. But he's also only making her kill as a weird power play, so he's still a weird psycho. I wipe a tear from her cheek. If something happens to me or the boys, I need to know you can survive up here. I speak softly, swiping my thumb into her eye to catch another tear before it falls. What we have in the pantry will only last so long. I need to teach you this, okay? I'm sure one person can live off the tins of beans you have in the pantry long enough to get into town over the snow, you dramatic dime store hawk eye looking ass. She does it, congrats I guess, and then she punches Jake for it. Nice. Shoot him next too, babe, then your freezer will be nicely stocked for the winter. She says she hates him. I snarl, trying to catch her flailing fists. You little bitch. What did bro expect? She is a teenage girl. Maybe, I bite out, cutting her off. Maybe they felt bad about what they took from me, so they gave me you. I grip the back of her scalp and pull her up to my mouth. A payment on their debt. That's what you are, Tiernan. A payment.
I'm in danger.
Then they start making out. I literally cannot continue, and yet I must, and we are only 52% of the way through the book. I have no mouth, and I must scream. Then she starts jacking him off. Luckily, Noah yells something, so they stop and get in the truck, and then Jake feels bad because Tiernan should be one of theirs, as in Noah or Caleb. Oh, bless you. No, Tiernan isn't so much a character as she is a male orgasm delivery system. Noah and Caleb leave, taking the deer home, so Jake and Tiernan can rot in the back of the truck together. He gets her naked, and she's wearing long white socks and has her hair in pigtails. Anyway, Jake has a moment of conscience and is like, please, Tiernan, we shouldn't do this. So she starts goading him and calling him weak. Okay, dominatrix. Okay, girl boss. Gaslight. Then he goes down on her. That's right. I want that piece of crap to hear his little girl scream my name wherever the hell he is. Dude, stop thinking of her dad during sex. In fact, stop thinking of doing sex stuff with your dead stepbrother's child. Anyway, then he denies her again. Jake, she says, looking like she's about to cry. Charming. Uncle Jake, she moans. Don't stop. Please don't stop. I was crying. This is absolute cinema. Penelope is the reincarnation of Tolstoy. Rising up, I stare down at her as I reach into the center console, pulling out a condom. No, she whimpers, rising up and looking at me. Bear, please. I want to feel all of it my first time. Idiot. So he says that he's always used protection apart from with his wife 16 years ago and she's on the pill. Whatever. I'm not going to care that much about it. Anyway, they have sex. I kiss her deep, licking her sweat, reveling in the heat inside the cab and tasting my life all those years ago when I would have died happy doing this to someone for the rest of my life. I look down at Tiernan, her body taking everything I'm giving, and I swear I want to swallow her whole. I'd forgotten what this felt like, to actually want to make someone happy. Well, I feel bad for all those millions of women who kept queuing up to have sex with him at nighttime. They do it, and then she immediately wants to do it again. Chapter 18, Jake. Her jeans are still open, her shirt barely buttoned, and mine's not buttoned at all. It's too hot right now. We get to the door, and I heft her up higher, looking up into her eyes. You feeling bad about any of this yet? I don't mean physically. I don't know. I'm too old. She's too young. This was a mistake. But I know damn well I'd make it again, given half the chance. It hasn't been that good for me in a long time. Well, I guess it's okay then. Anyway, she's all, no, I'm glad it's you. You made it so special. It felt so good. And part of what she says eases my nerves a bit. People like Holcomb wouldn't have cared to make sure she enjoyed it, or someone her age wouldn't have had the experience to know how to make sure she enjoyed it. I certainly didn't at 18. At least I could give her that. He's really swinging for the fences with those justifications of his. You have to respect that. He banged the teenager he's related to via marriage due to altruism. What a martyr. He says it can't happen again because she can't fall in love with him as she's going to college. We released some pent-up frustration, and hopefully I gave you a worthy coming-of-age experience, I say. But that's it. It stops now. Gotcha, bitch. Apparently Penelope has a daughter. I've said this a few times. I don't know. I would just find it alarming if my only experience of men was of these vulgar, predatory sexists to then have to bring up a daughter around these same men. I'm just assuming. They walk into the house, Caleb and Noah are there, and they clearly realise what's happened, so Tiernan gets sent to her room while Jake faces the music. Noah chucks some stuff about, and then the dick swinging begins. And you're not going to marry her and keep her up here, have babies and all that, he barks. She's leaving in the spring, going to college and moving on with her life. I might leave with her. I flex my jaw and step up to him, his eyes just a hair below mine. I'm not sharing a woman with my sons. How convenient, he spits back. After you took her away from us the other night, we had her first. No, you didn't. The night of the last race when you both were upstairs with who knows who, we were down here in the kitchen. I had to. I look away, shame warming my face. It didn't go far, but something started that night. Caleb had already been on her out here the night when he came home from the cabin weeks ago. Noah retorts, what? I shoot my eyes up to Caleb, his gaze slowly rising to meet mine. You've got to be kidding me. But you got her, Cherry. So, again, Caleb tried to assault her, but who cares? Just tear each other apart. I'm not going to stop myself unless she stops me, he warns me. And what am I supposed to say? She's mine? Back off? You can't take her because... Why? Why can't he have her? Maybe because she's not a thing to have. Jake says she's free to make her own choices, just act right. And it's crazy that they are all going to pass her around like a joint. Then he goes to her bedroom and takes her to his room so they can bang some more. Chapter 19, Tiernan. I assume from here on out it's going to be a lot of graphic sex, so I'm going to try and skim through those bits where possible so as to not get banned from YouTube. Anyway, Tiernan wakes up raw and aching, but happy about her and Jake. But as soon as I step into the bathroom, I see Jake standing in front of the mirror turned to the side with his arm raised, gazing at the tattoo on his hip. My Mexico. He catches my eye in the mirror and I drop mine, backing out of the bathroom. Where are you going? I hear him ask. I stop and step back into the view, but I just want to be gone now, out of the way. I think there's something wrong with my voice. I can hear it. I'm going to try and get through this anyway. I know, Marta. See, it's like vocal frying. I rub my eyes, just giving you privacy, I mutter, and try to escape again. Why? I hesitate, shifting to my feet. Because... You didn't ask me to come in. I don't want to intrude because I know what this is. And I'm not her. Good time for the wank sting to commence. He's not my parents. He's not my parents. He wants me around. It's okay. Is this just Daddy Issues, the novel? Are you thinking about her? I ask. He remains silent. He's dumps out his water and sets the glass down. It's okay if you are. I've never really talked about her, he says in almost a whisper. To anyone but you. You might want to get some therapy for that, mate, instead of trauma dumping on an already traumatized teenager. But I guess she's so special and healing for him. It's okay that he totally abused the trust in him. I grin at the gesture. Was he like this with her? Probably more so. If he's this sweet with me, what was he like with a woman he loved? She's already falling for him. Which, by the way, doesn't go anywhere. I'm going to say it now. If she should have gotten with anyone in this novel, like if she had to pick one of the three, it actually should have been Jake. There was so much build-up in like the first 60 or 70%. So much build-up between them two, and then it just peters out into absolutely nothing. Of course, it's a bad book. What can I say? If this was real life and it was a bunch of men fighting over one woman in a secluded cabin filled with guns, there is only one way that's ending. Holding his eyes, I peel back the curtain and step into the shower, letting the water soak me. His eyes fall down my body as the water trickles down my stomach and thighs, the white shirt and silk panties molding to my skin. Just like she would have looked when they swam together. You are a freaky little skinwalker. God, 3 times in the truck, once in the bed. Bollocks! Jay from In Between Us. They do it again in the shower. Close your eyes, I pant with his thrusting. Make love to her. What on earth? I moan between our kisses, the water in his mouth warm and sweet. I close my eyes too, letting him go back, letting him sink into the fantasy, because I want him to remember how he loved her and know how lucky she was to have him, that it wasn't his fault, that my parents weren't his fault. Again, not an adequate replacement for therapy, but let's see if it works. I love you, he murmurs. But Tiernan uses her nails, and I like that more. Penny, you freak. Then he says, I'm not going to pretend you're someone else. I want you to be happy, Tiernan. And I want you to know that no matter where you go, he tells me between kisses, you'll always be ours. We're your home. I know, I whimper. Forehead to forehead, we hold each other's eyes. And I want you at my table in the morning and in my bed at night. Why is that last line some like Game of Thrones shit? Turns out that idiot did something right. He pulls me back against him, kissing me deep and pinching me. He gave you to us, our little princess, ours, all ours. Maybe don't remind Tiernan of her dead dad whilst you're doing it with her. Also, can you stop saying ours, you insecure little gremlin? They do it, then decide to use condoms just to make sure that she doesn't get pregnant. I turn to leave, then I stop and ask, do I have to still be up for morning chores? He narrows his eyes in confusion. I mean, since mine go later at night now. Incest is funny. She leaves, but is confronted by Caleb smoking, who then stomps out the cigarette with his bare foot. Ooh, you're hard.
Ooh, you're hard.
Then he backs her into a wall, picks up her underwear, she dropped them, obviously, and then she slaps him. I grab for the panties again, but the fabric tears as he pulls his arm away. He balls my underwear, he's balling something, in his hand, his eyes angry and on fire as he slams the fist into the wall by my head. I suck in a breath, cowering on reflex. Wow, not a threat at all. Then he pushes her into her bedroom, pins her onto the bed, and writes something on her forehead. I assume it's slut, we're not told, but we can infer from the context. He's had at least 3 women in his room since I've been here, not counting Cece in the barn that day. But I'm the slut, am I? Would I still have been one if I'd let him and Noah share me that night last week? Spoiler alert, these two are endgame, by the way. The next day, she's normal with Noah and ignoring Caleb, as she should. All work and no play means I get a new toy. He sings songs and slides his chair over to mine, tickling harder. Noah, stop, I protest, but giggle anyway as I squirm in his arms. He's always tickling her. He's such a Jacob Black, I can't explain it. Then Caleb slams some stuff around and milk spills onto Tiernan. He's all over me 1 minute. Can't stand me the next. Pulls me into his lap so I don't get soda on my clothes, then turns around and douses me. Wow, the parallels, the dichotomy of the law. Comment if you understood that reference. Sliding my fingers under my sweater, I hold Caleb's eyes as I pull down my shorts and slip them off my legs. My top hangs just below my butt, and I cock my head, watching his gaze falter as he drops it to my legs for a moment. I'm staying here. He's not making me run or cry. Yeah, strip off, that'll show him. Catering to the male gaze to own the libs. So then Caleb flicks oatmeal at her face and she says it's fine. It's how babies communicate when they can't use their words. Ooh. Like babies who learn sign language to communicate before they can talk. Except Caleb can talk and write and sign. I used to think he just didn't want to communicate, but no, he has no trouble communicating. Can you do that? I ask him, making my voice light and sugary like I'm talking to a child. More. He growls, throws his father off, grabs the table, flips it over. I gasp, watching the table crash to the floor on its side and everything piling up to the tile. Dishes break, the oatmeal in the pot splatters across the refrigerator, and Noah's juice hits Jake's jeans before shattering on the floor. Well, I'm glad he didn't overreact. I'm surprised this hasn't been framed as her fault yet. Then he flounces off into the wilderness. I don't understand him. I wanted to, but he's like an animal. He eats, he mates, he fights. That's it. He can't be jealous. He didn't seem angry when Noah was on top of me the other night. That is a crazy thing to say, by the way. But I am numb to what happens in this shoebox full of hamsters. I'm totally numb. I'm desensitized, so it's fine. Something about this house, these people, lends credence every day to what I already knew I needed. Not sex, not a guy. Just a place, somewhere or someone to feel like home.
Oh boy, I usually only get this excited when they say the title of a movie in the movie.
I'm telling you, these drug dealers represent a clear and present danger to the United States.
He said it! He said it!
Stepping into the stable, I walk toy Shawnee. What's a toy? What does that mean, huh? She feeds the horses, hears a noise, then finds Caleb skinning and whatnot, a dead animal. Caleb notices her, licks blood off his finger and laughs out loud. Oh, people licking their fingers gives me... makes me feel like wooden lollipop sticks. Gives me body shivers. It's like dry, I don't know, dry stuff being lit. Anyway, just got chills. Laughs out loud. Tiernan realizes this is the first time she's heard him or he's let her hear him, and then she finds a bunch of furniture. Chapter 20, Tiernan. So she gets a new project of varnishing and doing up all this old furniture where she found hidden away in the barn. Caleb. Don't you want to know what happened to him? He asks, if he wants to tell me. I am actually interested, but my pride won't allow me to show it. I whip my hands, flinging the excess water before turning off the faucet. He's like our father. Noah twists a wrench, looking up at his work. They don't trust women. Until you, anyway. Trust me how? And what a bet it was one woman who ruined it for all of us. How original. And not at all silly. Sounds sexist. I'm sure it will be. I heard you last night, he says in almost a whisper. Heard me? His tight lips purse, he tightens the bolt. Daddy didn't love you, so you let mine have you, so he will. I stare at him hard as he works, even though his anger rocks me, because this is Noah, and Noah is always my friends. His words don't necessarily hurt. He needs to say something. He goes on. Maybe you've done without for so long, you've confused that sex means love. He hands me a wrench and I take it. Maybe you'll do anything to make sure he never forgets you exist, he nearly whispers, even if it means spreading your pretty legs. Mister, I've banged 100 women, getting awfully jealous about his relative. I wanted to be in there with you, he whispers. What, with your own dad? This is not a serious novel. I was going to make love to you, he repeats, and I finally get it. Not screw, not shag. He was going to make it matter. This gets her going, and they both start being sexual again. There's still snow on the ground, so there's no reason this sordid game of musical chairs can't continue. How far was I going to let him and Caleb go that night? Would I have let them take turns? Or would we have gone to bed? And would I have let them have me at the same time? Crikey, mate. Anyway, she feels most connected with Noah because Jacob is hard on him and Caleb doesn't talk to him. Honestly, Noah and Tiernan feel more like mates than romantic interests, but no one cares about what I think. If only they were brother and sister, it would be less awkward. So she watches him jack off. Open your shirt. I meet his eyes. He won't see, Noah murmurs. Open your shirt for me. I falter, the pulse in my neck throbbing. I want to. He won't find out, Noah says, tossing a look behind me towards the door to the kitchen. What would happen if he did? At any second, that door could open. This is gonna end in a 4-way homicide. She teases him. He keeps asking her for stuff and she keeps saying no, but it's all consensual if anyone cares. Then she runs off before he can finish. Still horny from whatever the hell that was with Noah, she has sex with Jake. Chapter 21, Tiernan. She's sketching alone and Caleb walks in. She messes up her sketch, so Caleb fixes it for her, and then she talks at him for a bit about how she'd draw pictures for her parents and they'd throw them away, so Caleb holds her. Just warmth. He's not in control, and neither am I. And even though my nerves fire under my skin and my blood races, my fingers don't fist and my muscles don't tense anymore, I feel safe. You shouldn't. I pull my face away, out of his hold, and it almost makes me sick because I don't want to lose his touch, but I guess a slut is good enough, I mumble, when you're desperate enough. I wait for him to explode, to spit on me or handle me like he always does, because he throws tantrums when he doesn't get what he wants, but he just leaves, pushes off the table, turns around, and leaves. So this is going to be the man-child she ultimately chooses. Jake is heading off to their other cabin for a few days. Jake doesn't vote because as long as they stay off my peak, we've got no problems, as if tax laws, pollution, or nuclear war will respect his property line. Noah doesn't vote because that seems like work, and I'm pretty sure Caleb just doesn't care. Penelope, they'd all be Trump supporters, voters, and you know it. Jake and Noah don't believe Caleb is a rapist because he's never thrown them over the hood of a car. She's doing her laundry and realizes several pairs of underwear are missing. She searches Jake and Noah's room, finding nothing, then realizes there's one place she hasn't checked. The idea of Caleb wrapping my little red panties around his and then stroking it, I'm warm all of a sudden, but I shake my head. It's still a violation. Reading this revolving door of smut is genuinely depressing. So she sneaks into Caleb's room and it's stuffed with books. Yeah, right, Penelope. She finds her red hair ribbon, one of his pillows, but no panties, and then she's pleased because it means that he thinks about her. I don't think she ever gets to the bottom of where the panties go either. Later at dinner, Noah offers for them to watch adult movies again, but she declines because she has coursework. But as I move around the table to go to my room, Noah slides his chair in front of me, blocking my way. I stop, straightening. His eyes glide down my body, like the oversized sweater and sleep shorts are just what he likes, but really, he's just been without a woman for longer than he wants, and anything looks good at this point. His gaze trails back up, meeting mine again. Come here, he says. Get out of my way. His lips turn tight, his usual Noah humour gone. I said, come here. I glance at Caleb, who looks between his brother and me, tense but not ready to defend me yet. He's not going to help you, Noah tells me as if reading my thoughts. And then he reaches out, grabs my sweater, and pulls me into him, my book falling onto the floor as he pulls my knees around him. I straddle his lap, growling as he wraps an arm around my waist and locks one fist at the back of my scalp. I plant my hands on his chest, trying to push myself away, but he holds my hair tight. Noah, stop, you're drunk. The 4 empty beer bottles on the table clank as I struggle, kicking the leg of the table. No, I'm bored. He inches up towards my mouth. I want to make love to you, Tiernan. I want to make love to my father's little whore. Cool, so he's an abuser as well. Well, we knew that. He's an assaulter as well. I'm getting tired of this. I'm not in the mood anymore. The morning drinker is drunk from 4 beers. That's rookie numbers, dude. Also, what do you mean being without a woman longer than he wants? It's been a matter of days. The guy is just an assaulter and deserves a shotgun to the junk. She slaps him and it turns him on more. You want it too, he continues, looking up at me as he presses his groin into mine. do me like this, right here on this chair. Tell him I made you do it. What the hell? His hot breath on my mouth makes my skin tingle. Tell him I made you do what you're supposed to do for all the men in the house right here on the kitchen table every morning after you serve us our breakfast. But he's friendly sometimes, so it's fine. Who is this being written for? She pushes him away, but he keeps yapping, trying to coerce her, and she's all, actually, I feel things for your father, so there. I'm not some twit who latches on to anyone who shows her attention or soaks up... What? Huh? Didn't she admit that she just likes the attention because she's gone so long without it? Huh? Earlier. Or soaks up affection from anyone who comes along. Jake didn't mark me. I chose. I know how to stop things I don't want, I tell Noah. I know how to say no. So no, I reply. Then he lets her go. This house is unsafe. Chapter 22, Noah. If she would just let me in. I know she wants me. Maybe Caleb can make a belt out of her skin once you're done with her. He fantasizes over her for a little while. Or I should be in there, making it impossible to say no. Ugh. And before she can think twice, I'll be inside of her. You are so creepy. That's it. I'm writing one of these. It's going to be about a straight man getting hounded by huge, unfightable bears who don't take no for an answer. He then hears Tiernan crying, so both he and Caleb go find her having a night terror, and Caleb gets into bed and cuddles her until she stops crying, and apparently he does this every time she has a night terror, and she is none the wiser. Then there's a fire in the barn, so Noah rescues the animals. What happened? Tiernan cries. I look up, seeing her standing in the snow in her boots, but nothing covering her t-shirt and sleep shorts. In the freezing weather, still has to be half-dressed and bangable, like that one scene in Bully where Jared is getting beaten up and then Tate comes out and she's just in like some sleep shorts and a t-shirt and she's pointing a gun at these dudes or something, and then he pops a stiffy over it. Tiernan starts rescuing the horses. The hoses are frozen so they can't put out the fire, and Caleb uses a digger to knock over the water tower onto the barn so the fire is put out. How'd the fire start? She asks, looking over my shoulder. I shake my head. Could have been electrical, could have been the furnace, who knows. I bet it was Terrence and Cece. I start to help her towards the house, but Caleb suddenly appears, sweeping her into his arms and away from me, jerking his chin from me to the barn. I don't have the time to argue before he turns and carries her back to the house, her pained eyes locked only onto him as they go. I don't even buy that Caleb the maniac loves her. It is so random and predictable and yet totally unbelievable. King Kong was a far more wholesome guardian of woman. Chapter 23, Tiernan. Tiernan has a deep cut on her arm from saving the horses, and Caleb sews up her arm while she gets drunk on tequila with Noah. She then tries to get Caleb to stop because it hurts too much, so he slaps her. There's an episode of classic Star Trek where Bones, the ship's chief medical officer, slaps a pregnant woman, and it's still far more forgivable than anything happening in this story. He stands up, and before I can tell what's happening, his hand whips across my face, and my neck twists so hard a tendon nearly snaps. My eyes pop wide, my mouth falls open, and I stop crying, pulling in a breath as I sit there, my ears ringing and body frozen. What the hell? He hit me. He hit me. He plants his fists on the sides of my thighs and leans down in my face, and it takes a moment to get my bearings again because the room is spinning. What the hell? I snarl and turn back around. I raise my hands and slap him back, his head barely jerking with the attack. You hit me, I scream, anger hardening my gut. I shove him in the chest with both hands, hitting him again. All great romances and love stories start with a near assault and a slapping contest. But the anger distracts Tiernan from the pain, allowing Caleb to keep sewing. She even lets Caleb slap her again when the pain gets too much. Then Caleb snogs her. Or maybe it's Noah, I can't really tell, but Noah definitely snogs her as well, so maybe it's Caleb. I think both of them snog her, I don't know. But I love the way Penelope writes the characters into a corner so they have no choice but to treat Tiernan like shit until she learns to love it. The fire in his clothes wafts around me, and the next thing I know, he's burying his face in my neck, not kissing, as he squeezes the front of my throat. Harder, I gasp. He sinks his teeth into my neck, squeezing me, and just as I feel the pinch of Caleb's needle, I grab the back of Noah's head and turn into him, breathing in and out hard against his lips. This happens too. I assume needle is a description of his penis, but okay. Caleb finishes sewing. I set the bottle down and slide off the table. Cece Diggins came out of that cave with you at the waterfall with a bloody nose that day. What? Noah hops off the table too, but Caleb doesn't acknowledge me. I stare at his back as he washes his hands at the sink. His muscles flex and his breathing is slow and methodical, too calm. Doesn't he want to defend himself? She could be telling the truth. I've seen him abusive, throwing things, spitting, not taking no for an answer. He slapped me without any hesitation tonight. But the dogs so stupid. But the dogs love him most, don't they? They follow him, sleep with him, and make him smile when he doesn't think we see. Guess it's fine then. The jury finds the defendant not guilty, Your Honour, but he even admitted to it. Yes, but it was made known to us that the dogs like him, so that's not a legal defence. That's not anything, in fact. Dogs like him, mate. Take it or leave it. I'm a judge. He's guilty, and now so are you. So stupid. So unbelievably stupid. Oh, the dogs like him. Dogs don't understand morality and can't rationalise. Do you know what? Why am I even explaining that to Penelope Douglas? I can't be bothered. Noah is all... Cece is a liar, of course he'd say that. So Tiernan is all, well, she was bleeding and didn't know that I was there. He doesn't hit women, Tiernan. No, he just assaults them instead. And yes, he does. He slapped Tiernan twice. Noah passes me, pulling the ibuprofen out the cabinet, unless they're hysterical and keeping him from saving their lives. He replies, dumping a couple tablets into my hand and meeting my eyes. You told him to do it. I stick the pills in my mouth and swallow them dry, feeling them scratch against my throat. Yeah, I told him to. The second time. I told him to hit me, partly because it dulled the pain and partly because I dropped my eyes. Partly because I liked it. I liked the anger and the desire to hit him back because even though it hurt, I was there. I was in it and I never wanted it to stop. I never wanted the feeling to stop. This is shit for so many reasons, but my least favourite is the angsty teen. I like pain because it stops the pain of thinking about my life, which is terrible because I get sad sometimes. Grow up. You're 18 now. That's basically a pensioner. And don't give me all that shit about being an orphan because absolutely nothing in this narrative has framed that as something anyone would care about. Also, for all this, like, I liked being slapped, never happens again. Never comes up in sex again. But sexual related things anyway. So there, I win, get logicked. Caleb is like that. If nothing else, he reminds me that I'm more than I think I am. But when he held my face after the slap and kissed me so softly, my heart immediately sank to my belly and I forgot everything. Yeah, plenty of blokes punch women, then kiss them afterwards, you massive freak. Terence and Cece need to blow dart her like a lion or an elephant and drag her out of there. Then Noah has a mood swing, but he turns, wiping his hands on a towel. You know, it just occurred to me. His eyes crinkle as he studies me. I'm actually the only man in the house who hasn't hit you, he states, and I'm the one you don't want. What is wrong with you? I narrow my eyes as his words hit. That's not... What? I don't... Maybe if... Oh my God. I forgot that I found a clip. I saw a clip the other day on Instagram of Alan Moore talking about writing and why it's important to read shit books as well as good books. And he says shit books have that, like, evaluating and critically thinking about shit books has its value and its place for writers because it's more inspirational than reading a good book. Because a good book, you might be like, oh my God, this book is so good. I could never write anything like this. But a really shit book, you could read it and be like, wow, this is so shit. And it got published. I can do better than that. And it can inspire you. And I just felt so seen and validated by Alan Moore. I don't know if he would hate me or not, but I felt very validated in a second. Because this is what I'm trying to tell myself. If this absolute bullshit can get published, what's my excuse? What's your excuse if you're a writer listening to this? What's any of our excuses? Just write the thing. Probably ain't going to be as bad as this. Maybe if I take you over my knee, you'll get that too, he asks. Then my face falls. He saw us. He saw his father spanking me that night. My heart thumps in my chest and I watch him shake his head, the first actual sign of disdain I've seen come off Noah, and it's directed at me. He's pissed now. My mind goes back to moments ago. Caleb's lips so gentle and Noah's mouth so warm. Moments ago, he loved me. I love you. You're so ours. We love you. Somehow she turns this into, wow, Noah thinks I don't see him. Better go give him a big hug. So she hugs him, then says a bunch of affirmations to him and says she fantasizes about him too. What are you doing, you idiot? Is this house actually cursed like the Overlook Hotel in The Shining? The Shining, that's a good cabin fever story. And actually, considering they're at this peak for ages, you never get really the sense of them having... Not that I'm critically analysing this, right? Because that's not my place. That's not my function in life. I'm just here to laugh at the people being freaks. But you never get the sense of the cabin fever that... They are really secluded and that it's scary because the whole book is just, oh my God, they're shirtless and I fancy them. So what a waste of time all of this is. Noah then braids her hair into pigtails whilst Caleb watches, and Caleb gets some great descriptors, by the way. Look at this. Caleb started circling me like a shark, feeling Caleb like a threat. So somehow, when all this is going on, she's in a tin tub. I'm not sure how, because I thought they were still in the shop section of I wasn't paying attention. Can you blame me? And Noah takes off her clothes, and then they both start washing her in the tub. Do you mind this, baby Vanderberg? She doesn't need daddy, do you? I can't be bothered. I genuinely think someone needs to start asking some questions, some real questions about Penelope, but I can't be bothered. Right. So the next few scenes are very graphic, so I'll give you the spark notes. They get her to wash herself whilst they watch. It's a bit like that bit in American Psycho. Then Caleb starts doing stuff to her while she snogs Noah, and it will be a miracle if this video makes me any money at all beyond the sponsor. Thank you for Surfshark sponsoring today's video. I don't think they have any idea what video they're being put on. Haha. But thank you, Surfshark. So you guys, if you want to support me and my channel and support me, get a sponsorship again, I'm actually making some money. Use my Surfshark thingies that I put in the beginning. It will be a miracle if this video stays monetized and isn't demonetized after all the work I've put into this one as well, because it took forever. My script is like 130 pages long. It's wild. So I would also, beyond the sponsor, like to remind you all that I do have community members on YouTube, and you can join, and supers are also on, like super chat donations in case you'd like to donate to the bank of Alizee so I can pay for a haircut. Thank you. I want this. I want them. I want him. Well, as long as it's consensual this time. But boy, it's going to be rough for her, you know, when she's too old for them, maybe around age 22 or so, and can't get passed around like a soggy communal towel. Caleb is a bully and a baby, but so am I. Just a baby. And I want him to talk to me, but sometimes I think he already does, and I just don't hear. The tight way his arm is around my waist, how safe I feel with his other hand holding my head in the crook of his neck. The way he smells my hair and pulls me out of harm's way. Even when I think I barely exist to him, he always knows what's happening and where I am. Tears burn at my eyes as I think of the last few months, giving me his meat at dinner, giving me his lap when my seat was wet, taking me away from Cece and Terrence on the dance floor. He's always thinking of me. Yeah, just don't think about the near assault, how violent he gets, how he may have hit Cece, how he just hit you unprompted earlier. Don't think about any of that stuff, and he's basically the perfect guy. So it's all good. Oh yes, and I also have a merchandise site, ayclothing.tmail.com, and I'm pretty sure the festive collection is still up. In fact, I'm 100% sure this festive selection is still up. I keep forgetting to take it down. So you want to cop yourself some merch for Christmas, go check out ayclothing.tmail.com, and the literal like £2 I make per sale all goes to this channel and me doing this crap. Totally worth it. They all go to Caleb's room, and you can guess the rest. Noah goes first and pulls the sheet over them, as if that matters, because Caleb is still in the room watching like a cuck. Like, literally, Noah and Tiernan are doing it in Caleb's bed. He knows I'm not a good girl. I'm a bad one. But I'm their bad one. Why am I reading some author's, like, you know, wet dream? We should all know less about each other, in fact. But then I look up, seeing Caleb. My body stills, but Noah keeps going. Barely noticing. So even though Noah makes her, you know, finish, she stares at Caleb whilst it's happening. So she and Caleb are definitely endgame. This is the foreshadowing for it. Now it's Caleb's turn. Oh, God. She continues doing it with Noah and then does it with Caleb with her mouth. Man, I don't care that their swords ain't touching. This is definite incest between the brothers. Like, how can it not be? I mean, come on, dude. She's also gone from virgin to this sex goddess doing like a I don't know. Just she's doing all these positions. It's just a lot. I can't. Him behind me, between our legs, his fingers pressed into my other place. I tense up. I'm down with a lot, but I don't think this is a good idea. It feels bad, but in all the good ways. Oh yeah, right, sure. And then Caleb put something else in there. No lube, no douching, like none of that. Like no well, actually, she just had, forget that. She was in the tub getting washed, so you know clearly she got douched. But yeah. Caleb puts something else in there, in her back doors, bashes her back doors in, no lube. Liquid fire courses through me, and I suck in air through my teeth as he slides in very slowly. Breath by breath, he sinks deeper inside, and I take it slowly, adjusting and relaxing. Good girl, Noah says. I warned you. I breathe out a weak laugh. Yeah, you did. He told me Caleb wanted it this way. My body accepts them both, and slowly we start to move. No, it didn't. Your body did not do that. You'd be in agony from Caleb. Behave. This is painful to read, let alone actually experience. Again, she's never done anything like that before, and just, jumps straight into it, sure. Caleb thrusts into me, our pace quickly speeding up, and after a moment, the boys are doing all the work. So she's, a virgin still in that capacity, and he just hammers away at her with no lube. She would be bleeding. She would be writhing in agony. This is such rubbish. Unless his thingamajig is so small, she can't feel it anyway. Then she's like, I feel safe. Anyway, it ends and it's as gruesome as you can all imagine. Then they all fall asleep together. Again, this is just as sane as a box of hamsters. Chapter 24, Tiernan. She wakes up alone. She was also drunk last night from the tequila. She drank like a bunch of tequila to deal with, the pain of her arm being sewn up. And then she's just not really referenced as drunk after that. And I don't think she's referenced as being hungover here. So, I don't know. I don't think Penelope knows how alcohol works. Do you think anyone's ever offered Penelope any alcohol? So, Noah was also drinking the tequila as well with her and is a lightweight. So, she was definitely drunk last night, and so was Noah. But Caleb definitely wasn't drunk, especially, considering we got told about how Caleb can drink so much and not feel anything at all. So, I don't know. It's just worth mentioning because it's a bit sus, innit? So she loved what they did together but can't face it yet as well. Caleb then appears. He's like Cullen but a million times worse. I miss you, beautiful redheaded vampire Cullen. But redheaded is crazy as well. He's got brown hair. Well, no, he's a redhead. Anyway, he carries the red tin and comes over, setting it down and pushing my hair back, inspecting my face. My skin warms at his touch, and as he turns my head, caressing my cheek, it takes me a minute to figure out what he's doing. The slap. He's making sure I'm not bruised. How romantic. So, here's the thing. Caleb likes doing butt stuff, but doesn't communicate with anyone, and Noah somehow knows about his preferences. How would Noah know this? There's no way that Caleb doesn't use sign language, so he can't crudely sign it to Noah. He doesn't nod, he doesn't speak, he doesn't write things to Noah. How would Noah know his proclivities for the bum stuff? Unless threesomes with his brother is a regular occurrence. Get logicked again. The only other way I can imagine him putting it together is if every woman Caleb encounters sits on ice packs after spending time with him. Wait, I guess the women could tell Noah, but I guess no one has boundaries in these books. So I think, okay, that's more likely. The women, after having their back doors bashed in by Caleb, go to Noah's room and say, oh my God, your brother loves... No boundary. Makes sense. Forget I said anything. Caleb ignores Tiernan trying to be affectionate, so she frets and gets upset over it. Now he's probably wondering what schedule the slut is on. Who gets me on Thursdays? On Tuesdays? Do we meet in my bed? Or do I come to yours? Don't slut shame yourself over your own terrible, terrible choices and expect me to care, lady. He gives into the affection though, so they cuddle, and then Jake comes back yelling about the barn being wrecked. I look up at him, worry coiling its way through my stomach. You're back early. If he'd shown up 10 minutes ago, he would have found me in Caleb's bed. If he'd come back last night, it's not something I planned on hiding from him. But I don't want him thinking we reveled in his absence either, or that this was planned. What a mess. Shame it doesn't go very far. She tells him something happened with the boys, and he says his lips tighten as he wraps my arm. Were they good to you? Everyone in this book is a freak. Anyway, Jake is cool with it, of course. Should I take voice acting lessons, and should I become one of the narrators on Audible? I don't think anyone would hire me. I'm not even very good at reading the sentences, really. So I think I'm not being self-absorbed in oh my God, I'm so good at doing this and narrating other people's work. I'm so good at it. I should be a voice actor. I'm not saying it in that way. I'm just saying it in I do a lot of this. Is it possible that I could have an extra side hustle doing this as at other work? In case YouTube stops working out for me. Do you know what I mean? Never mind. Actually, if you got this far, let me know in the comment section below what you think. Should Audible hire me, or should I take voice acting lessons? Anyway, so Jake is cool with it, of course. I look up, seeing Jake's eyebrows furrowed as he stares at the door that Noah just left through. What's wrong? Jake blinks, shaking his head. He's helping, he replies. Willingly. He walks to the coffee pot and pours a cup as I drop my head so he can't see my smile. Wow, the house is in order, and all it took was a barely 18-year-old step-cousin for everyone to bang. I told you all, they were the broken plate and she the glue. I don't want you venturing off the property, he tells me, and don't go outside at night, okay? Why? He's trained me how to deal with wild animals, but he tells me the fire started in the loft. There's nothing there that would have caused it. I stare at him. So it wasn't electrical or something the boys did? What? And then it hits me. The fire was set on purpose? God, you're sharp, aren't you? I thought you said no one could get up here, I say. No, he shakes his head. I said the roads were closed. He leaves the room and I gape after him. He's not serious? Someone else could have been here last night. I hope Terrence watched the threesome. But anyway, someone definitely filmed them in that bedroom. Number 2, all of this non-stop drama about how once the snow comes, nobody ever gets in and nobody ever comes out. Like that creepy, crazy dude in the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, just standing outside the factory. All of this nonsense about how once the snow comes, you can't leave the peak. We are trapped here forever, was just threatening bullshit to manipulate her, because apparently it's real easy to get around without roads. And number 3, it's next level crazy if Terrence travelled by foot or bike through all the snow to burn a barn to try to what? Kidnap Tiernan? Because she's just that hot, is she? It's almost December, so she goes outside to cut twigs, and Caleb helps, and she does this thing where she also doesn't make any noise to match Caleb to bond. I don't know. Caleb scares me. Making love to him, it felt like I'd never wake up. I wouldn't call that making love, darling. Then Caleb pushes her into the barn. Don't be gentle. Don't let me forget what I am to you. He pushes me again, and I whip around this time, ready to push back, but he charges into me, pushing me up against the barn. This is how he is. A breeze one minute, a cyclone the next. He does exactly what he wants. So do animals, 3-year-olds, and Piers Morgan. He keeps trying to kiss her, but she refuses and doesn't let him. He grabs me by the jaw, and I clench my teeth as he forces my face up, his lips crashing on mine. His mouth sears in his rage, but I steel myself, keeping my lips closed as I push him away. Ugh, I growl. He stumbles back, and I launch to make my escape, but he grabs me again, one hand on my jacket and the other in my hair, holding me to him as he forces his tongue into my mouth. The heat sends a shockwave through me, and my knees buckle. I want to wrap my arms around him. And she doesn't want to kiss him because she's scared of how much she wants him. So, I assume Penelope wants us to be all, see, it's okay he's ignoring her consent because she's just afraid she likes him too much. But no, dude, still no good. A no for any reason is still a no, but this silly valley girl doesn't understand what she really wants, so let's ignore her no's. You scare me. He stalks towards me and I throw a worried glance at the door behind him, but it shakes as the wind kicks up and howls outside and I feel walled in. We're out here, alone. Romantic. But I don't look up as I stop and he closes the distance between us. Circling my waist, he gently lifts me up and carries me to the wall, settling me down. I shake my head. I don't like him like this. I don't like him gentle. She tells him not to be gentle, but he doesn't want to be rough. Just bend me over. We'll both get off and then I can get out of here. What is he doing? Making love, of course. She keeps trying to speed things up whilst he wants to slow things down and be romantic. He tilts my chin up again, nudging me harder when I don't raise my eyes. And when he dips in, taking my lips, I plant both hands on his chest, trying to keep him away. No! I twist my face to the side and his hand slams against the wall next to my head in anger. That is the second time he's done that. Or the third, but he's done that a few times now. I flinch. He takes my hand again, placing it on his face this time, begging me to touch him, to look at him, to see him, as his lips move across my cheekbones and beg for my mouth. His hot breath desperately searches for mine. Caleb, no. Finally, he shoves away from me. Cold air suddenly rushing between us, and I hear his heavy breathing. I've made him mad. Again. I finally look up. His glare rips through me, and every muscle on him is tight. He doesn't understand. Frankly, I hope winter takes all of you. I look at his father. I look at his brother. I touch them. And last night, I didn't hold back in his bed. I think I'm going to have rice. Yeah, I fancy having some rice and some Korean style fried beef. But, vegan beef. Well, vegan mince. I want white rice, but purple/black rice is really nice too. And it's a lot better for you. Maybe I'll do half and half. Ooh, 2 types of rice. Do you know what? What an excellent use of my free will. Anyway, what? But today, I know I can't go back there again. And he doesn't get it because he's like a child. Everyone has to accept that he doesn't have to explain himself. Now he knows what it feels like. LOL. Grabbing me by the collar, he hauls me over to him, rips my shirt open and sends the buttons flying as he tears it from my body. I bring my arms up to cover myself in my bra, my stomach clenching as I watch him fist Noah's shirt in his two hands and rip it down the middle, the fabric crying out as he makes sure I can never wear it again. Well, I'm very glad he didn't overreact. So then he gets rough, bends her over, etc., etc. And for a second, we're right back and finishing what we started that first night we met, on a car, him taking what he wants and me not protesting fast enough because I don't want him to stop. Sure. Anyway, then he definitely does it bareback with her because I didn't see anything about him using a condom. And I'm pretty sure he did not use a condom when he put it up her butt either. I am like 95% sure. And you know that he's definitely riddled Mr. Bicycle of the Woods. He stares down at me, something he knows his brother wants, something that belongs to his brother and father, even just a little, and knows that out there, I'm not his to keep. In here, though, he can sneak a piece. What is all this piece stuff? Piece of ass, piece this, piece that. It's very dehumanizing. This is what he can have. That stupid little piece of trash he hates but can punish with a hard bang when he wants to remind her what she's good for. This is what we are. I am so numb. Linkin Park. Stick that on your book playlist and smoke it. Instead, I grip his hips and urge him faster. Please, I whisper in his ear, don't be soft. Don't make it hard for me to leave. Soft with Jake is fine. Soft with Noah is fine. I like it soft, but soft with Caleb, it hurts. Tears fill my eyes. Why won't this book end? I am so tired. Anyway, she finally kisses him back and gives in to herself, given in to him. Whatever. They do it romantically. They make love. And then she realizes she wants him the most. Duh. I'm always right. Chapter 25, Tiernan. Noah appears, realizing Caleb and Tiernan had sex. Mirai keeps calling Tiernan, so she finally talks to her and tells her that the media are saying Tiernan's dad was abusive and forced her mother to die with him. This came in 73% of the way through the book. By the way, goes absolutely nowhere. Totally pointless. It was chucked in to break up all of the step-cousins' sex. Tiernan hangs up without hearing more. Good one, idiot. She Googles it. Sources claim my father was controlling, I tell him, skimming an article, domineering, and my mother feared him. He took her with him because he didn't trust her loyalty once he was gone. I mean, he is a bloke in a Penelope Douglas novel, so yeah, probably. So she rings up some lawyers, I assume they're lawyers anyway, to take the papers to court so they'll be forced to account for their sources. I shrug, searching for my words, but I don't know how else to explain it. They're my parents, I tell him. His eyes narrow as they all stare at me. But that's all I say. I turn and continue up the stairs, almost wanting to smile a little. My mum and dad may or may not deserve my loyalty, but standing up feels kind of good. Finally got a backbone, eh? The way your parents failed to raise you led you to this incestuous house of abuse, but sure. She makes a wreath with the twigs she collected, and Noah flirts with her, and Caleb clearly gets jealous. Noah now appreciates his dad a little more. Yeah, he took his 40-plus-year-old dad to shag a barely 18-year-old. What if I never let you leave? He murmurs, his breath tickling my lips. My chin trembles. What if his arm circle my waist and pulls me in tight? What if a lot changed before the summer? I listen. What if? He grabs my bottom lip between his teeth, making me suck in a breath before he releases it. What if we pumped you until you were pregnant? He whispers. Oh my God, now it's Colleen Hoover's wet dream. Imagine the paternity test on that. Would they even be able to work out whose the child was? She's all, oh, I should be with Noah. He's a good guy. Say something sweet to me. Tell me again how you'll all pump me until I'm pregnant. I take his face in my hands, not sure what I want to say. But before I have a chance to speak, a dark form appears behind him. I look over his shoulder, seeing Caleb. Genuinely hilarious. I imagine him appearing in the doorway like Mr. Plow. Incredibly appropriate given their relationship and all the snow outside. Simpsons predicted Penelope.
Mr. Plow, that's my name. That name again is Mr. Plow.
Noah turns and we both see Caleb's gaze on fire as he looks between us. He reaches over and I almost wince, bracing myself for him to grab me or hit Noah. But he simply takes my hand and holds my eyes as he calmly pulls me over to him. Wild that she had to brace. Open my mouth to speak, but I don't know what I want to say. He's young, not kind, and not attentive. He doesn't talk to me and I can't grow with him. Caleb's not good, but he's the one I want. All to myself right now. Noah gives up and leaves, so Caleb takes her to bed, orders her to go to sleep and locks her in her room. At least she's safe from them all now. He bolted my door? There wasn't a bolt on it this morning. When did he put it on? Is he kidding? Oh my God. Can't believe I'm going to say this, but it's probably for the best. Chapter 26. No first person POV, but we are following Caleb in third person, I guess because he doesn't have internal thoughts. Penelope, why do you refuse to do the work? His POV would have been hilarious. Imagine this silverback 2x4 justifying his love of butt stuff through halting broken English. You Tiernan, me Caleb. Using lube, lame. Tiernan is sleeping, so he watches her. He's sick of her slutting around. Sleeping with him today in the barn. Letting his father touch her and kiss her tonight, then about to give it up for his brother when his back is turned. He's sick of seeing her smile when she works on her dumb stuff in the shop, sick of her excited by the snow or happy when she feeds the horses, sick of her hair falling across her cheek as she reads at the dinner table, or how she twists her lips to the side when she's concentrating on an assignment, sick of her cries at night and how pathetic she sounds during her nightmares. Well, how about communicating then, you substandard non-sign language using wannabe orangutan? Sinking his mouth into hers, he kisses her, her whimper disappearing down his throat as her body tenses and then eases. He almost laughs. He could be anyone right now. He'll drop her panties and slip inside her, and she won't even open her eyes to tell her which one it is, because it doesn't really matter. He trails kisses along her cheek, her eyes still closed. She's not awake yet. Oh God. He hovers his lips over her skin, moving his mouth but unable to voice the words. Not reading out loud. He grinds on her once. That's what she is. English people and Australian people and Scottish people like using this word, not saying it out loud. But you know what? Maybe he's onto something. I basically agree with him at this point. She has no personality, agency, wants, or desires beyond wanting to be used by these three guys in any order. She is the shining fleshlight in their lives. Then he drops her shorts as she sleeps and assaults her. Of course, she moans, wakes up and wants it even more. Of course, whatever. She won't stop him because as long as someone is sleeping with her, she doesn't have to remember all the nothing she is. He genuinely hates her. It's funny because he wasn't picking up on her liking him the most. She likes both holes filled because of course she does. Right, so she's a slut for that. But somehow you're not a slut despite being one half of the people who does it to her. Okay, sure. I can imagine him thinking, how dare this bitch enjoy what I'm doing to her. Penelope, my love, take a seat. How are things? Are you well? Do you have enrichment in your life? Why the need for this amount of sexual animosity? Are you okay? Then he denies her finishing. Do you like me? She asks in a small voice. The question gives him pause. At all? And if he weren't looking at a woman's body, he might think a child was speaking to him at how innocent and sweet she sounds. I am numb. And you are all stunted children. Don't you dare try and turn this into something else 80% of the way through. I hate the way you look at me sometimes, she whispers, and he can hear the tears. Like I'm nothing. All the while she says this, he's just getting ready to, sleep with her. And of course she lets him. He doesn't savor anyone like he wants to savor her. Her scent, her sound, her touch, her taste. The feel of her arms around him feels like he thought nothing ever could. He wants to love her. He wants to please her. He wants to trust her and to see her holding his baby someday. A, Mr. Rabid Mountain Man probably shouldn't have a kid because he would eat it. B, she'd be able to tell her child that she also had sex with his grandfather and uncle. Wahey. She is also literally just some girl from LA. If you left the mountains and stopped assaulting, even for a day, you'd meet so many of them and they'd swoon over you because the world makes no sense and screw you for expecting it to. His thrust slow as he wonders how they loved her too. All the words she whispered in their beds. She's not hard to please. As the images of his father and brother with her tonight flash in his mind, he's reminded, women he loves, forget him. You've apparently had sex with hundreds of women somehow. Get a grip. So I love how the boys all think about one another whilst having sex with / molesting their stepcousin. Then he denies her again. Chapter 27, Tiernan. Trigger warning. He ties her up with the belt he made, and we then just read a actual rape scene. Cool. He's not enjoying this. Caleb, stop. He pushes my back down more, making my butt jut out as he releases my hair and reaches around to paw at my, thing and dig his teeth into my neck. Tears hang at the corner of my eyes, and for a moment, all I can do is hang on as he pumps harder and faster. It's too deep. He's taking, screwing me like I'm nothing. It hurts. Caleb, stop. He doesn't hear me though. Yes, he did. His hand landed on my butt with a loud whack and his breath pouring in and out of his lungs. I suck in a cry, the belt digging into my skin. Stop, I scream. I work the belt wider, slipping my wrist out, and then I whip round, hitting him I don't know how many times. I burst into tears, seeing the rage in his face, and scramble off the bed. Naked, I run from the room. He catches me and yanks me back to him, but I slap him with everything I have and bolt into Noah's room, locking the door. He pounds on the wood, and I hear Noah move in the bed. So she goes into Noah's bed, but doesn't tell Noah what happened and instead blames herself. Sure, why not? I can't speak. I just shake my head. I'm the only one who hurts me. I believed it was real. Whatever was happening between us for however long. He hates me. That wasn't love. And she's trapped up in the mountain with this guy for months, except we've established that that's not actually the case and she can get into town pretty easily since Terrence did. Then Noah tells her the big traumatizing thing that happened, which will totally justify Caleb being a violent sex offender. He was with our mum, Noah tells me, breaking the silence. Of course it's a woman's fault. Of course.
Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry that I was not your mother. If I was your mother, you would have been so loved.
I open my eyes, feeling his voice vibrate against his body. It was a rainy spring day, and some guy she'd been running with on the side was with them, Noah goes on. They had gone into the store, or so she had told my dad. Instead, they went to a white house off a dirt road somewhere, and she left Caleb in the car, locked it and said she'd be back in a bit. He pauses, then continues. She went inside, and the brief stop turned into a party. She got high, lost time, fell asleep in the house. This is the only second time Noah has mentioned their mother. He must have been a toddler at the time. He was alone in the car with no one around for miles to hear him call out or cry when the minutes turned into hours and the hours into days. I closed my eyes, not wanting to hear the rest. There was no food in the car, and the only water came from the leak in the roof when it rained. I try not to see it, but an image of a little boy alone, cold and angry, flashes in my mind. Caleb was a child at the time. He was helpless then. At some point, his throat went raw from crying out, Noah explains. But when my father finally found him, he wasn't crying or calling out. Not anymore. Just sitting in the seat with his own filth, staring off and barely even registering when the door finally opened. How much time, I ask. How much time did he lose? It takes a moment for him to answer. 4 days. My face cracks and silent tears fall. Something separated in his head, Noah tells me. What goes through your mind when something like that happens, you know? When one day turns into 2 and 2 into 3. You're 4 years old, you can't get out. You can't figure out what to do to help yourself. You're starving, you're cold, you're alone, you can't stand up. You don't know when help is coming. I turn all around in my head for a moment, trying to imagine how long the hours felt to a 4-year-old. Minutes filled with fear feel like hours, and hours of fear feel like an eternity. It must have felt like he was buried alive, Noah adds. The doctors said he gave up. A wall just sprung up, and over the years, not talking became the one piece of control he had when he had none during those 4 days in that car. His voice was the one thing no one could demand from him. It was his way of punishing everyone, a way to make the world share his pain. Yeah, I don't give a single shit. Get therapy and help. Stop assaulting women. There are 0 points for guessing the utterly contrived nonsense Penelope would try and force upon us, much like Caleb would, to justify this garbage. He may not even know how to talk anymore. It's not like 4-year-olds are enunciating full speeches to begin with. You can't really lose an ability you never had. That's what I said 100 pages ago. I pull my arms off Noah and swing my legs over the bed, sitting up, the weight of my role in all of this sinking in. He acts wrong. He treated me wrong tonight. I'm confused too. I'm making mistakes too. But I don't want to hurt him. All I know for sure is that I can be there. Maybe over time he'll trust me as a friend. Realistically, he should be assaulted and murdered by him within 1 year. Not kidding. Maybe he'll be friends with you. Maybe he'll chew through you like a killer whale through a seal. Either way, I'm sure the narrative will find some way to frame it as you enjoying it and it's somehow not being his fault when he hurts you. Everyone in that house is responsible for what's happening here, and I hope the whole place burns down. The people in the town who don't trust this family are 100% justified. So she finds Caleb, hugs him and says she's not going to do anything with Noah, etc. And then she notices he's holding a piece of wood, and she finds that he destroyed the chest she made / furnished painted. In anger, it's on fire in a bin along with the drawings that she drew, and they drew together. So let's break this down, shall we? He goes into her room, starts feeling her up as she sleeps, wakes her up, ties her up, ignores her saying no, has sex with her. She gets free and runs away, having to physically hit him to make him stop. He runs after her and pounds on the door and then leaves to destroy something she made in fury. Ladies, if a bloke does any of this, call the police and never go near him again. She grabs a steel pipe and instead of breaking his head open, she smashes up the bookcase that she was furnishing to prove he can't hurt her. It's like Caleb caught her smoking and forced her to finish an entire pack of cigarettes to make her sick. But instead of learning anything, she decided to smoke another entire pack to get even more sick. Jake appears to yell a bit, and then Caleb disappears off into the wilderness. Good riddance, go die in a snowstorm. There's never a bear around when you actually need them. Chapter 28, Tiernan. It's been a week, and Tiernan is giving Noah and Jake the silent treatment. Caleb is still missing. Good. And Tiernan is planning to leave in April as soon as she can. By snicker. So what did you think? I asked, still writing. I'd bed hop every night for the rest of my life, as if we weren't all completely insane. I was never going to stay. What did he expect to happen? I'd marry one of them, live in the boonies and have all their babies. Or maybe we'd just go back to being a family. Uncle, cousins, niece. I'd bring my husband here to meet them someday. The poor dude, never knowing I'd screwed everyone in the house. It's crazy work that Penelope clearly considers all of the valid criticisms that they are going to get, but ignores them to plow on ahead and tell the story no one was asking for anyway. Physicists have yet to find a force, physical or otherwise, capable of stopping Penelope from thinking about these scenarios all day and then committing them to paper. We would have backed off, he said. Caleb is in love with you. Caleb, I breathe out a laugh, is an animal. I'd be surprised if you remember the colour of my eyes right now. Like any girl, I only matter as much as his next piece of ass. That's what I'm good for to him. He wasn't right, Jake watches me as Noah sits quietly across from me, and he communicates by losing his temper. He was wrong, yes, but he was hurt. The only woman he ever loved forgot about him, almost killed him. He pauses. He's in love with you, Tiernan. He was jealous. I guess assault is fine as long as he loves you. Tiernan, your parents left you for 2 days in Fiji. That means you can leave shotgun holes in the chests of all these men and let the house burn down because childhood. Actually, she's totally allowed to do that. That's fine. Caleb isn't capable of love. Animals are. Caleb is not. Jake sits in his chair looking at me. When Caleb stopped talking, I tried, should I write a sequel to all of these terrible books? Or like a realistic sequel to each one of what would actually happen? Caleb would murder Tiernan and their future kid. 100%. The guy in Verity who runs off with the woman who I can't remember her name would totally kill her and the baby too. And his own son for good measure. Why not? He's basically a serial killer. He's killed 2 women at this point. That Ben guy in November 9 would also kill Fallon. I think almost all of the stories would end with the guys just murdering the women. Anyway, Jake sits in his chair looking at me. When Caleb stopped talking, I tried to use sign language with him, he tells me. I still remember some of it. He puts his palm to his chest and taps twice, imitating the gesture Caleb made before he left last week. This, he says, means mine. All that means is Caleb is entitled and possessive and not afraid of assaulting what's, quote, his, nor attacking or beating what's his anytime she steps out of line. No. I miss Edward Cullen. I've said this so many times since I deviated from Twilight and started doing these types of books. I miss him so much. Ooh, he was controlling over Bella in an old-fashioned man type of way. Yeah, do you know what? So what? So what? I'm saying it. Weren't perfect, but it was not like any of this, was it? We didn't know how good we had it with Twilight. I'm going to redo every single Twilight video I've ever done and beg Stephanie Meyer for forgiveness. The weather is below freezing and Tiernan idly wonders where he is. Don't care, hope he's frozen in a cabin somewhere. I could actually take the uncle and step cousin, sex better if it wasn't for Caleb. He is the worst, most irredeemable part of the story. He actually makes the plot between Jake and Thingamabobby Tiernan okay. I would be so much more okay with her going off with Jake, the dude twice her age who waited until she turned 18 to have sex with her, than her being endgame with Caleb. Just saying. The frigid air stings my lips. Another minus 12 degrees and frostbite can happen in as few as 15 minutes. Good. Hope Caleb's dead. She goes into Caleb's room to smell his scent. Maybe sit on the bedpost dry as well to really feel like he's there. Why can't Noah's smell do this to me? He'd be so happy to have me in his arms tonight. He's been so good about not being obvious, but I know he wants to hold me. He wants me to look at him. I really feel like Noah is Jacob Black and Caleb is a werewolf Bella's dad reversed over with his truck. I draw it in, not smelling anything at first, but then it's still there. The trees and thistles, wood and leather, and something else. Something you only get when you're buried in his neck. B.O., deer blood and dried, I guess. Anyway, Penelope, great job not overusing the description of heat in the belly to signal arousal. It's only the 9th or 10th time in this book and the 150th time in your career. I'm still angry. If he walked through the door right now and wanted to make amends, I'd probably roll over and lap up any scraps he wanted to offer. He would win. Get a life, Smithy. The townsfolk did try to warn you. She decides she wants to live, whatever that means, and goes downstairs to live her life helping Noah with some crap. Chapter 29, Tiernan. It's now February, and Tiernan is tougher and doesn't need to wear a coat outside. Give it another month and she'll be walking around topless like the rest of the manfolk. Still no Caleb. Caleb is probably out molesting trees and animals, anything not fast or sentient enough to get away. Tiernan's college applications are done, and she's planning to leave when the winter is over. Noah offers to Tiernan for them to have sex in the shower unless she loves Caleb, but she passes up such a lovely offer. Did he even try to sweet talk her by mentioning all the pumping? Mirai calls because Tiernan has been emailing her but ignoring her phone calls. Nice way to treat the woman who basically raised you. You got my present, right? She lets out a laugh. Yes, very generous. You saying I need a vacation? Or an affair, I tease. A raging, hot and mad affair with a man. Or men. Jake turns his head, looking at me over his shoulder. I bought Mirai a trip to Fiji. Her and a +1. What do you know? Mirai laughs again. Is she hot? Jake whispers to me. Knew this was coming. Jake and Mirai are going to get together and he will either keep it a secret that he took Tiernan's V or he will tell Mirai and she'll be fine with it like every other freak in this book. But also, what grown woman with a job and organizational skills would want with this stain in the shape of a man? The newspapers also printed a retraction about Tiernan's parents, which is too convenient for me. That went nowhere. You can cut that. Makes no difference to the story. There's still 7 chapters and an epilogue to go, by the way. I'm going to be sick. Anyway, she's been sleeping alone since Caleb left, and Caleb has never been gone for this long. Jake wants Tiernan to take Noah when she leaves. I don't know if it's a good idea to inflict Noah on normal, respectable society. Anyway, then she almost kisses Jake, but doesn't. I have to say, the will they, won't they drama about a kiss has really been extinguished since that scene where she got, by 2 siblings. It just doesn't hit the same after Caleb. Pun intended. She sneaks into Caleb's room. Caleb has candles. Heh. Okay. I close my eyes, tears hanging at the corner. Mine. He's mine. He should have stayed and fought with me. He would have murdered you and desecrated your corpse, but sure. This family has brutalized this young woman. There's absolutely no way she'll be making good choices after this horror show. Her uni career is screwed. She could have been using her money and connections to make an amazing life, and now she's traumatized in this den of incest, angsting over a feral hog. Anyway, she finds a book, opens it. It's funny how women come to me so easily now. They used to say that I was stupid in school. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I narrow my eyes, making out the scratchy handwriting inside the cover. I am stupid, but they sure like to screw me. A lump lodges in my throat. My breathing turns shallow. Caleb? She then discovers he's been writing in his books and she gets excited. Realistically, this would read like the manifesto of Elliot Rodgers. Not even kidding. Deep. I always wanted to be there. I hate it here. I want to be there. In the valley where the river creeps and the wind rushes me, surrounded by the creeks. It smells like deep. Tastes like deep. I want the world to be smaller. I hate it here. I barely notice the tears spilling as I pull books from the shelves, frantically searching for more. He doesn't read the books. He's writing in them. It is literally the ramblings of a psychopath. So instead of communicating any of your feelings to your family, you just take out your aggression on women. Wow, so sweet, so tortured. Hope you fall into a deep hole. Then there's a editing error. The font gets mixed up. Have a look. I open another text. Saw her smile today. I like having a girl around. I read it 5 more times, searching for more on the pages, but there's nothing else. No dates. Is he talking about me? Or he writes in another. Like, it's bold when it's Caleb's writing, but then that bit where it was clearly Tiernan talking was also accidentally bold. So it ends up just looking as cheap and amateurish as we all know it is. Slut. Why can't I leave? It's time to go in. I've been here too long. That slut. That stupid slut. There is a poet deep inside Caleb because he found one in the forest and ate them. They're such deep sleepers, they don't hear you at night. Just me. When I touched your face, you quieted. When I tried to leave, the nightmare started again. So I stayed. I come in every night. You tuck your cold feet between my legs and I hug you to me, resting my hand on your back and feeling your body calm as it nestles into me. Do I make you feel safe? I like taking care of you. Yeah, you make her feel so safe when you're not throwing things at her, punching walls next to her head, or trying to assault her. Watch her fall for this shit in 3, 2, 4. Lost my concentration for a moment there because I don't give a shit. 1. I know you're scared of me. I know it's my fault. Cece trying to slap me in the cave that day because I didn't want her, and instead falling into my shoulder and bludgeoning her own damn nose ended up being the least of your worries. I did horrible things to you all on my own. I hate that I never did anything to get you to love me. You'll never love me. I don't believe him. It is literally his word versus hers here, and he has attacked Tiernan several times. Also, Cece tripping and falling and bloodying her nose. She's so clumsy. Why isn't she the FMC with such adorable traits? Tiernan decides then to go find Caleb. Chapter 30, Tiernan. She and Noah are trying to find Caleb on snowmobiles before a storm happens. I have to skim because it's taken too long and I hate it. The storm happens, they hide in a cave, they find the cabin, but Caleb's not there. What if a wolf or a bear got to him? What if he's cold and dying? What if I cared? They stay in the cabin until the storm is over. I actually slept well because Noah kept me warm, but I think he insisted we share a bed because he was afraid I'd bolt in the middle of the night to find Caleb. Yeah, I'm sure that was the reason. Then a buck appears and Tiernan tells him to run before Noah sees and shoots him, and then she sees Caleb in a bush like the pervert he is. They have a reunion. They kiss. She's all, Caleb, I love you. Let's not be friends. Let's fight and laugh and make babies someday and go insane because I'm in love with you. Are you talking to me now? Because I do not want to make babies with you. They start to have sex and have locked Noah out in the cold, who starts yelling and complaining. Wait, it's okay for them to do that to Noah when a storm is going to rage on, but it's not okay for Caleb's mum to lock him in a car. Anyway. Chapter 31, Tiernan. Oh, the irony. 6 months ago, I ran from a life of people who wouldn't talk to me and ended up falling for a guy who may never say a word to me. Wow, so you could say you have not progressed at all. All it took to turn her life around for the worse was getting trapped in a house for months with 3 predators, one of whom definitely assaulted her, like, at least twice. Life's funny like that, I guess. The tattoo on Caleb's neck says Credence. Why? Then they start doing sex stuff again whilst Noah sleeps nearby, but Tiernan stops it. Surprised Caleb even listened to her refusal. They go back home, fast forward a few weeks. I wish I could fast forward to the end of this book. Tiernan and Caleb are together and Jake is having mood swings. I hadn't had a chance to talk to him. Caleb and I are always together. Or Caleb makes sure we're always together. Not that I choose to have it any other way. I just hope he trusts that I'm well aware of who I'm in love with and he doesn't need to worry about his father and brother around me. Of course he doesn't need to worry. He is the biggest sex offender out of all 3, in a very literal sense. Jake tells Tiernan not to get pregnant and to go to college and to stop Mirai from calling so much. The best part is, as frustrated as he sounds, he always answers. They fight every time. No one riles him up so much, not even us. According to Penelope Douglas, this is the gold standard of relationships, being wound up like no tomorrow. The next book will be from Mirai's point of view. It's called Calamity, and it's all about how she lets men mistreat her because that's how she deals with the pain of her upbringing, and the person who hurts her the most must mean the most. The man she falls for at the end has a tattoo that says Calamity, but it's a really shitty pun around Cal-amity, and it's got a stupid history around the person loving California because Mirai lives there. That took 4 seconds to come up with because no effort is put into these porn scenarios that are loosely strung together. Noah wants to go to LA in the spring for motocross stuff and asks to stay at Tiernan's house, yada yada. He won't be happy with me if I decide to stay behind. Things have changed though. Yeah, throw your life away, the one you've barely lived, to stay with an emotionally stunted sex offender. Cool, dude. Noah says no way, you have to leave too. I know there's a whole wide world you wouldn't mind seeing now. He's too volatile, too stubborn, and he will never leave this peak, Tiernan. Ever. Bet she doesn't listen. Well, she's sort of forced out actually. Maybe. Maybe I want to see and experience things and have a career and try to make the world better and leave my mark. Or maybe none of that would be worthwhile without someone to share it with. This is a trauma response. Caleb's abuse tactic was successful. Somehow it would be more worthwhile to do none of that and hide away in a mountain forever. Not leave your mark, not experience things, not try and make the world a better place. She hasn't developed at all. Chapter 32, Tiernan. 2 months later, she gets her period and was worried that she had gotten pregnant. Mirai is coming to see them all. I lift up my shirt, envision my belly growing with his kid, and try to ignore the way my body warms at the thought because I shouldn't want that. It's so cliche. Baby makes free and happily ever after. She is 18 and literally still in the honeymoon period with this freak, though I'd argue it'd be more of a nightmare than a honeymoon. Get a grip. Caleb sees her doing this, then tries to throw her birth control pills away, of course. But it's okay because then they have sex again, which we do. We're not actually trying to get pregnant, are we? I haven't dug the pills out yet, but leaving him is the last thing I want to do. It seems nice, the idea of building a family with him. He's almost 22. He seems ready for it all. Where did all this weird shit come into this far into the book and this near the end? Grow up. Also, he would murder his own child and then you. He ain't ready for shit. Not in this lifetime, not in the next. I guess we're technically not making a baby yet. I just started my period and I can't get pregnant for the next several days anyway. I can still go back on my pill. It's going to end with her having a teenage pregnancy and choosing to do nothing with her life after all, isn't it? Imagine her and a future kid. What did you do when you were young, mama? Well, I was abandoned in hotels by my parents as a child, so when they killed themselves, I moved into my distant relative's house and let them pass me around like a shisha pipe, dad and sons included, and then I let the mute one who assaulted me one time, 2 times actually, knock me up and I had you and I never left the peak. That sounds horrific. No, it was sweet. The roads are back open and they go into town. Some giggles go off near me. I look over at the jar of hot tamales to see a couple of young women by the retro candy collection glance at me and whispering. They round the aisle, their eyes dropping down my clothes, and then they laugh to themselves before leaving again. I look down at myself puzzled. I'm not dressed weird, although I am wearing Noah's muddy old work boots and my jeans are a little dirty from chores this morning. I forgot. All other women are evil. Maybe they saw the footage of the family freeway. I look down at my nails, seeing the dirt underneath and the little cuts on my hands with the labour I've been up to over the winter. Okay, I'm not manicured at all anymore. I catch myself in the mirror on the back of a shelf, seeing the loose threads in my dark blue cable knit sweater that also has a black stain from lying too close to a fire. My hair desperately needs a trim, and I'm tan from being outside, my freckles popping like never before. I haven't worn makeup or straightened my hair in months. Mirai won't recognise me. So she looks like this, and then some random dude still asked her out for pizza. Yeah, right. Then they bump into Cece, who is pregnant. Hope it's Caleb's. I just dropped loads of water on my joggers. I'm clumsy. I should be an FMC. I look over my shoulder again to see her saunter up to us. Let me guess, she says. You're going through the math in your head right now? She smirks, looking between us. We'll be in touch, she whispers to Caleb. She walks away and I blink, trying to keep the tears away. Please. I hold my stomach because it hurts. Not this. Cece might be the best character. What a diva. Good for her. Break them up and get your child support payments. She asks if Caleb knew if she was pregnant already. If it's his, Cece will be in our lives forever. She'll have his first child, not me. I'll never have that. This kind of ridiculous self-centered attitude proves she's not mature enough to have kids herself. For better or worse, Caleb and Cece were having sex first. Sometimes kids happen as a result of having sex. Then you got to deal with that. It's just a natural consequence of having sex. But her being like, oh, annoying. Like, let me remind you again, Tiernan could have gone to university and used her inherited wealth to do amazing things. Now she's an unwashed hill person fretting over babies and letting the presence of a man dominate her every moment. Congratulations. You're now a trad wife. He refuses to communicate or stop the truck they are driving now, so she keeps yelling at him. Then she stalls the truck and jumps out, and Caleb still refuses to nod or shake his head or do anything actually proactive, so Noah appears and Tiernan runs off of him. Chapter 33, Tiernan. She avoids Caleb by doing a photo shoot for the motocross website. Why was he in such a hurry to toss my birth control this morning? He didn't even think about it. He didn't hesitate. It was like a light bulb went on. The solution to a problem he'd been facing finally occurred to him. Because he's an abusive freak who wanted to baby trap an 18-year-old? Caleb appears and still does nothing but looks sad. Jake doesn't know what's going on, so he asks if Tiernan is pregnant. No, I shake my head. My sadness turns to anger as I look at Caleb. Thank God, I spit out. Caleb steps in, hovering over me with an edge to his expression. He's mad now. Noah pulls him back. Caleb, back off her. Jake presses a hand to his chest, but Caleb throws them off, growling, and I back up, tears welling up again. As he swoops in, picks me up, holds my face, and forces his mouth on mine. I choke down a sob, the assault of his scent reminding me how happy we were just this morning. Oh look, he gets aggressive. Again, and assaulty. Again, the moment things aren't going his way. What a surprise. She tells the others what's going on, and of course Noah is like, it could be anybody's baby. Shut up, you pick me for your brother. If it's his, I might learn to live with it, even though that means living with her in our lives. If he knew something about it all along, though. Say something, I tell him. Say something to me. Or anything, please. Or write something then. I ask, tell me anything. Tell me you love me. He just stands there though. He is basically completely useless. She's been traumatized into thinking she's in an equal relationship with a feral woodland animal. What a miserable book. Why did Penelope write this? Anyway, she does the photo shoot with Noah. Not too close. Someone tells Juno she's his cousin. Noah snorts and his chest shaking against my back. I clench my teeth. It's not funny. It's hilarious. I roll my eyes. Guess I should laugh too, or cry. The cousins in this house are so much closer than they realise. My hips are the least of what Noah has touched. Brilliant. Caleb is still having a sulk when some people appear. One girl stands next to Caleb and stares at him, looking nervous but smitten. No, she didn't. The photographers make her pose on the bike in a sexual way, and these random new people just start heckling her as if... Ugh. Doesn't that take the cake? Someone says somewhere by the doors. I love women in that position. All she's got to do is hold it like that. Someone chuckles, but I don't know who. I ignore them. She's carrying herself a little hotter than last fall, the same guy says. Wonder what changed. I don't know, but I'm wishing I was locked up here with her all season, the other man adds. On what professional set would this happen while she's surrounded by her stepfamily? Behave. Then again, at least they're saying sweet romantic things in the way Tiernan likes. Then Caleb kicks off and starts beating people up, so the hecklers run away, and why won't this story end? Jake ends the shoot, kicks everyone out, and takes Noah and Caleb out so Tiernan can actually breathe without him for 5 seconds. Whilst everyone's out, she decides finally to pack her suitcase and leave. For God's sake, you should have done that 6 months ago. She leaves him a note basically saying that the highs are great, but the lows are awful, and he's not going to change, so she won't stay. I think you loved me though, and I love you. I was yours that first night when you took me in your arms in the shop and you didn't even know my name. That sure is looking at that night with rose-tinted glasses. She's about to leave, but the dogs and horses are going crazy. Why? Could it be Caleb molesting them? Chapter 34, Tiernan. Terence appears this book. I swear to God, this book. He knows she's alone. I'm actually going to cry. This book is defeating me. Terence tells her Caleb will be charged for the damage he did when he ran over those bikes many months ago, and says he will defend Caleb if she sponsors him with her riches because he lost his sponsors because of his clubhouse. Wait until any sponsors hear about the threesome Noah had with his brother and step-cousin then. He doesn't want to hear no. He came up here when he knew I'd be alone because he'd prepared to coerce me. Does that remind you of anyone? She runs away as Jake rings, and there's more random men in the house, so she proudly proclaims she's a Vanderberg and chucks knives at them. This is so dumb. She runs off again, hides, overhears Terence talk about how he's going to bang her, put Caleb in jail, and hears them admit the fire in the barn was caused by them. This is getting out of hand, the other guys tells him. We almost died trying to get up here and back down last winter. What if that fire had spread? They could have gotten killed. His tone grows harder. There's no help up here if they needed it. I know, Terence chuckles. That's the beauty of it. There are Marvel comic villains less cartoonishly evil than this. She manages to grab her bow somehow. The guys are going to steal the bikes and then set the place on fire. I refuse to take this seriously. Then Tiernan starts firing arrows at them, and she runs away to Caleb's room and hits Terence with an arrow. Then Noah, Caleb, and Jake appear. How lucky for her. It's basically the Hunger Games now, at like 95% of the way through the book. Anyway, Caleb and his family are still responsible for the criminal damage they caused in town, no matter how many months ago it was. Everyone here deserves jail or a shovel to the back of the head. Everyone is super relieved that, everyone's fine. And then, apart from Terence, who's like sitting there with an arrow stuck out of him, like Boromir in Fellowship of the Ring. And then I look up Caleb, but he's not looking at me anymore. He stands a few feet away, looking over at my suitcase by the door. His eyes turn to me suddenly hard. I swallow through the tightness in my throat. Take a fucking day off, mate. The sheriff and ambulance arrive to take Terence away, and she tells them all about the stuff that Terence has been up to. Caleb and Jake come back in. Caleb staring at me the whole time from across the room like he's scared and sorry, but his distance is scarier. Why won't he come over to me? He's so far away all of a sudden. Every once in a while, his eyes go to my suitcase. I cannot believe this entire scene was clearly concocted just so Caleb could catch out Tiernan daring to run away because he refuses to do anything proactive ever about their relationship. Actually, I can believe it. This is exactly the type of shit Penelope thinks is good or compelling, and it's not. Instead, he saw my suitcase and shut down because he thinks I'm like his mother and that I'm abandoning him. He's being betrayed, but what he doesn't realize is it's not abandonment when you're an adult. It's called leaving, and he has it in his power to stop me. Tonight could have gone so much worse. Does he not realize that? He is pathetic, and so are you for enabling him and waiting around for him to stop you from leaving. I'll forgive this entire story and Penelope if they have the courage to subvert our expectations by having Caleb speak for the first time, not saying anything sweet, but just yelling, "See you next Tuesday," at Tiernan as she leaves. Noah tells Tiernan that Cece's baby isn't Caleb's. Boo. I stare at Caleb, a horrible feeling falling over me instead of relief though. He's not going to fight for me. He won't write to me. He won't sign. He'll never talk to me. He'll never communicate with his children if he has any. He loves everyone in this house, but he won't even tell us. Something crushes my heart and tears pool as I gaze at him. We've had this revelation at least 10 times in the last chapter alone. Penelope writes in the same way their men behave in the story. They wear you down with the same shit over and over until you're numb and go along with it. Then Mirai appears and they go to her car, and Tiernan intends to tell her to leave so she can sort this mess out. But then Caleb puts Tiernan's suitcase in Mirai's car, telling her to go. So they leave. Finally. And he didn't even chase her down the road with a chainsaw like at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Chapter 35, Tiernan. She's back in her LA house, miserable because it's so quiet. Right now, the boys would be watching TV, Noah laughing loudly while Jake yelled at him from the kitchen about his damn dishes. There would be music. There is literally nothing stopping you from putting the radio on yourself. What a miserably banal and mediocre life she longs for. Anyway, her parents left her everything in their will, so I guess they didn't totally forget about her. So Tiernan spilled everything to Mirai about her stay at the Peak, and Mirai is fuming. They're my family, I say, my voice gentle. We were forced together and shit happened. I was there, not her. Hey, I was there too. That family sure are a piece of shit. You know you can choose not to force yourself onto your own relatives, yeah? It didn't just happen, you poor, traumatized little orphan idiot. I'll be back later with some clothes. I'm fine, I assure her. Security is here. I don't need a sleepover. But she looks at me level. Just let me care about you, okay? Something in her voice shuts me up, like she's done being nice and done asking. Kind of like Jake. I give her a small smile. The bullshit audacity of her acting like the one person who has truly cared for her for over a decade is being like Jake, rather than maybe Jake, the guy she's known for 6 months, being like Mirai. Screw off. She also has her parents' ashes to bury in the yard. They're sharing one urn. How lovely. She actually does bury the ashes in the garden instead of, I don't know, chucking them in a bin behind a McDonald's or flushing them in an airport toilet in Fiji. What's he doing right now? He wouldn't be going to bed yet, not unless I was. And then he goes where I go. My heart aches. I don't think I expected him to call, but I wasn't sure I expected that he'd just accept us being apart either. But here we are, a day later, and nothing. What good would it be if Caleb did call? He would just sit on FaceTime and stare blankly at her, uncommunicating. Maybe he'd get angry as soon as things didn't go his way and slap the camera or commit a crime. She's been back in California for weeks and talks to Jake a bit, but he's not much of a talker on the phone, adamant that I just need to come home and he'll talk to me there when I do. Now that's a manipulation tactic. She decided to go to college in Seattle. How is the story not finished yet? Then Noah randomly appears as she's eating a burrito, of course. My dad snuck a tracking app onto your phone when you weren't looking after the Holcomb accident in the pond last August. Anyway, Terrence Holcomb is in prison. It should be Caleb in prison. Oh, I hate this bit. I hate this bit. You can't believe the swear words I'm redacting right now. Noah has a sponsor for his motocross. Jared Trent of JT Racing, he tells me. He's an interesting guy, kind of like a cross between my father and Caleb, the final shitty cherry on this shitty dog shit Sunday. Anyway, I thought Jared was on his way to becoming the most decorated Special Forces superhero there ever was. Anyway, yeah, Jared is exactly like a cross between the two. He's an emotionally stunted man-child, incapable of growth, and is definitely a predator. Nothing about him is interesting though, except his sexy dad. Noah is out in LA and Caleb is living in the fishing cabin alone. Also, Noah is over the Tiernan thing, so hurrah. Chapter 36, Tiernan. Tiernan moves Noah in with her, but at home, Mirai is screaming at Jake and tells him he should be shot because Jake is suddenly there. Leave, she says. No. I'll call the police. TMZ will be here before they are. I like how it's played off as a joke, but to Mirai and the rest of the audience who have an inkling or common sense, Jake is a predator who screwed a minor in his care who was related to him via marriage the moment she turned 18. Like, come on. It didn't happen like you think it happened, he explains. We're her home. We'd kill to protect her. Only because you don't want any other blokes going near her. That has nothing to do with Tiernan. You would kill over your farm tools as well. Tiernan is, essentially, a walking seed bin. I'm calling security, I hear her warn him. I'm not leaving, he taunts. I'll be here all night if I have to. How did they even get in? They have security. I'll be here all night if I have to, waiting with you. Nope, you won't. Close to you, he continues. Shut up, watching you. Ew, just you and me, he teases. There's a pause, and then, ow, Jake bellows. That hurts. My nose is bleeding. Jesus, why is she not shooting him dead? She's in America. Isn't that her God-given right whilst he's trespassing on her property? Pathetic. But again, it's played off for comic relief because Penelope Douglas does not care about minors. Actually, that's not true. I'm sorry. Penelope does care a lot about the bra sizes of minors. I'll leave him and Mirai alone for now, though. They need to spend some time together and sort their shit out. Whether or not she approves of what happened, he's not going anywhere. If she wants to keep him being here for me, she'll have to deal with him. You are an idiotic, ungrateful piece of shit. Then Caleb is in the garden and he fixed the tire swing that Mirai cut down at the beginning of the book, but I never bothered mentioning because I didn't care then, and I sure as hell don't care now. Also, as if Caleb would leave his hut for Tiernan. So she's happy and he swings her on the tire swing for the first time in her life because her parents never played with her. So I guess the lesson here is be nice to your kids, otherwise they will make terrible decisions and end up with a Caleb. Then he speaks. I'm so over this. I can't believe you're actually here, I tell him just above a whisper. You actually left Colorado. It was time, he says. I suck in a breath, his words hitting me like a truck. What? Walking around the tire, he steps towards me. My home is where you are, he says quietly. Go to hell. I shake my head and I'm not sure if I just don't believe I'm hearing this finally or if I can't believe I can't remember why the hell I was so angry in the first place. It's like everything is washing away and those words were all I needed to hear. Hey men, totally cool if you abuse both physically, sexually and mentally the woman you apparently love. Just say a few sentences afterwards and all be forgiven. Has the bar ever been this low? He's been practicing talking out loud by himself for a few weeks by reading, okay? I would love to settle back in Chapel Peak, or better yet, at that cabin someday, albeit with some renovations and expansions, but I have things to do first. Is he coming into the world with me? He stops and looks down in my eyes. I won't be happy without you, he states. I know that. And that's all I need to know. As long as we're together, we're home. Doesn't matter where. The bar is so low for these types of books that I'm somewhat satisfied that at least she won't be locked up in a mountain and gasp might even leave America and experience the world and still go to college. Crazy, I know. Anyway, they love each other at the end. Epilogue. Caleb. 5 years later. Oh look, they're having sex. Surprise, surprise. But this time in a tent. Wild stuff. I never want to let you go. I breathe out, not even to piss. I am so glad he found his voice again. I'm going to bash my head in with a rock. They have a son. Of course they do. She had to get up the duff before the age of 22, naturally. Griffin is 18 months. And even though it was hard for Tiernan to finish her degree as a new mum, she did it. Bollocks, she did. What did she even do the degree in? Does it matter? Probably not. She's now a mother, and for Coho, Douglas, etc., it's all Tiernan will ever be. Tiernan wants to feed the toddler avocado and tofu, so of course this is ridiculed because who needs health when the kid is going to be raised on fatty ribs and have a heart attack by the age of 35? So Jake lives in California, whereas Tiernan and the others have moved back to Chapel Peak. So goodbye culture and having a rich life full of various experiences. It's time for Tiernan to be locked up in the tower and pop out babies and be forced to pump mother's milk like those women in Mad Max Fury Road for the next 20 years until her body gives up and she dies. What? Also, Noah and Caleb's mum died. R.I.P. You were a real one. Best thing you ever did was leave Caleb in that car. Also, should have left him in for longer. No, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. You people are weak. It's like, would you go back in time? I mean biscuits. Would you go back in time and kill baby dictator? Like insert dictator here. Oh no, I couldn't because they're a baby. What? I'm going to stop myself from talking right now before I get in trouble. I'm messing around. I'm almost at the end. Leave me alone. Jake is also in this scene. I didn't notice him before. He reels the line back into the spool. If you want to have a few more kids, I won't balk, he says. It's nice to have a kid running around again. I can be better with him than I was with you two. Nothing Jake has said or done over the course of this book suggests he's remotely capable of raising a child. If they have a daughter, I'm saying it, soon as she turns 18... Man, keep her away from great uncle. Wait, great-granddad Jake. Wait, wouldn't he both be the kid's grandfather and step-great-uncle? Okay. Caleb no longer cares that his dad took his partner's virginity. One day, that poor baby is going to grow up and discover that his mum shagged his dad, his uncle, and his grandfather. And he's going to find out because I will track him down and tell him every gory detail. Because if I had to read it, that baby has to as well. And then I turn to him. You want to have a few more? I wouldn't mind a sister. He chuckles and I cast a glance at the blue tent, knowing who he has tucked inside, even though she continues to try to conceal what we all know has been going on for years now. She's 37 and has no kids. Maybe she wants one. It's Mirai. Jake is sleeping with Mirai, who probably doesn't want kids actually. And anyway, she'd be a shit parent too, considering she knows Jake took Tiernan's virginity and has still decided to hook up with him. Also, I would not trust Caleb with a little sister who would probably murder her. Anyway, with Mirai, what does it matter what she does or doesn't want anyway? If the feral hogs want kids, they'll pump her all winter. Caleb, Tiernan and Griffin the baby go to the same waterfall where Tiernan was masturbating to the thought of Jake and also thought Caleb was abusing Cece. Ah, memories. It's like having a romantic kiss at a mass grave. I love it. You scare easily, I joke. I don't. You were intense. Were? I ask, feigning insult. She knows I'm intense where it counts now. Someone protect Griffin the baby. I should have brought you here then, I tell her, or stayed with you in here that day. What makes you think I wouldn't have run? Because I made your thighs quiver. She snorts. You didn't. That wasn't you moaning on top of the car the first night we met. I told you to stop. I'm sorry, I say sweetly. I couldn't hear you over the sound of all your panting. Yes, please continue to joke about trying to assault your girlfriend whilst you hold your baby. Seriously, someone call the police on this guy. It's moments like this that make it impossible to take any of the moralizing in these stories seriously. Penelope paid lip service to No Meaning No earlier, writing it out like they copied it out of a pamphlet. But this moment between them here is how they actually feel about sexual assault. Anyway, they make a vague threat about having sex in the waterfall that night. The end. The end. There's a bit at the end, a snippet of her of Book Birthday Girl, where she promises forbidden age gap love stories, and I'm not reading it. I can't be arsed. I'm done. I hate all of this. Goodbye. I bet it's a 40-something-year-old man finding his soulmate in a 15-year-old. Acknowledgements. To all the bloggers and bookstagrammers, there are two made to name, but I know who you are. I see the posts and the tags and all the hard work you do. Babe, you have to respect the grind I put into these videos, mate. It was hard work reading your book. You spend your free time reading, reviewing, and promoting. You do it for free. If you're good at something, never do it for free. You are the lifeblood of the book world, and who knows what we would do without you. Thank you for your tireless efforts. You do it out of passion, which makes it all the more incredible. You are welcome, Penelope. Please reimburse me for my time wasted. The bloggers and bookstagrammers Penelope is talking about in question are also all responsible for dragging the collective intellect of society down the mud because these books are an insult to the written word and Penelope has some gall calling themselves an author. To every author and aspiring author, thank you for the stories you've shared, many of which have made me a happy reader in search of a wonderful escape and a better writer, trying to live up to your standards. Write and create and don't ever stop. Your voice is important. As long as it all comes from your heart, it is right and good. Absolutely horrifying that these are the results of Penelope writing from the heart and that they consider all the rape right and good. Maybe I'll write a book about you, Penelope, then we'll see if you change your tune. I think my final thoughts on the book are, if Tiernan had to be with anyone, she should have been with her step-uncle. The end. That's all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for getting through it with me. Good God, this was a tough one. Make sure you check out Surfshark and use the special link in my description. Remember to go to www.surfshark.com/Alizee, spelt ALIZE, or use code ALIZE at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. If you like these videos, check out my sponsor. Check out my own book, The Prime Minister's Porky Mistress, and Piers Morgan's Vegan Lover. My 2 books, actually. Check out I've just been yapping for 4 hours straight. I have to do this plug-in, dude. Check out ayclothing.tmall.com to get yourself to merch. I remember my community members are on and supers are on if you fancy it. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Thank you. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of this book. Honestly. Maybe we're all wrong and it's a work of art. Who knows? Thank you so much for listening, watching, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.